guide passersby and make them think in a bad way. For example, the post from the marketing account that Sun Jing is reading now. The title of the post is, "I wonder why there is no blessing from Brother Wan on Feng Zi's birthday." This marketing account said at the beginning that it is a die-hard fan of the Quan Suo couple. I also believe that Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan are definitely true love. But it's a little strange why on such an important day as Shen Feng's birthday, even netizens sent their blessings, but Zhang Wanwan didn't post a blessing on Weibo. At the same time, the marketing account also wrote in the post very suggestive words such as, "They can't be just hype, right? I believe they are not the kind of couple that is created by characters. It must be true love, maybe something delayed them. Or they forgot." At first glance, it seemed as if he was really speaking for Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, but netizens will definitely follow his guiding words to expand their thinking. This is indeed the case. Just below this post, many passersby, especially the black fans of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, have made comments. Is this blogger stupid? Does he really believe that couples in the entertainment industry are in true love? It must be all for the popularity. How could I forget to wish you a happy birthday? Besides, Shen Feng's birthday was trending yesterday. I, a hater of Shen Feng, saw it, but Zhang Wanwan didn't see it. She saw it but didn't send a blessing. What? The reason? I can only say that I understand. Indeed, and I have long felt that they are hyped. Otherwise how can one debut so popular? My brother works so hard. And he has been debuting for more than a year, but he is not even half as popular as Shen Feng. This is too fake. Although Huang Zikuming and Abao are divorced now, they still sent birthday wishes to each other before. But Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan didn't even send birthday wishes. Did they earn enough traffic and plan to divorce? Many black fans speak without thinking and even bring up things like divorce. Sun Jing was very satisfied. This was the effect she wanted. She also arranged some internet trolls to stir up trouble in the super chats of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. Because Shen Sheng lets his fans do whatever they want and the management of the super topic is a competition among the fans themselves. He doesn't have much ability or prestige. As soon as these internet trolls started to set the pace, the managers of the super topic started to lose their composure. Soon, the super topic became chaotic and filled with smoke. Originally, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan were planning to do a live broadcast today. They plan to broadcast a game called It Takes to Live in the Afternoon. This game is almost designed for couples to play. The show effect is also good and it is quite suitable for lit broadcast. The live broadcast will start at night now. Shen Feng is still helping Zhang Wanwan get used to the operation of the handle, so as to prevent Zhang Wanwan from being unable to operate it during the live broadcast at night and embarrassing herself in front of fans. As a result, the two of them didn't even get through a level before they received a call from Sister Lin. Sister Lin's tone was very anxious, and she said, "Xiao Shen, Wanwan, have you offended anyone again?" "We have offended a lot of people." "How can I know if you ask me this, Sister Lin?" Zhang Wanwan said casually. Sister Lin. Sister Lin was probably speechless for a moment. And she adjusted her mood and continued, "You guys go to Weibo and take a look. Someone must have spent a lot of money to hire a group of internet users to make a fuss about the fact that you didn't send a birthday greeting Weibo to Shen Feng, suggesting that you might not be in a good relationship. This person must be quite good at using the internet troll army. Now he has controlled the internet troll army to occupy your super topic. Although I have contacted the Weibo management staff and our internet troll army, this matter has become quite a big deal now, and it will be difficult to calm down for a while." Zhang Wanwan was also speechless after hearing this. Didn't you just not send a blessing microblog? How could such a small matter lead to a relationship rift? So even though she had been running around preparing gifts for Shen Feng these past 2 days, and had taken great pains to present a surprise for Shen Feng yesterday, her true love confession to Shen Feng was not as valuable as a blessing Weibo post. What a joke! From now on, don't send gifts on birthdays. Just send blessings on Weibo. Although Zhang Wanwan also knew that celebrity couples in the entertainment industry did send each other blessings to establish their image, she did not expect that someone would hire internet trolls to discredit them because of such a trivial matter. "That's why I asked if you had offended anyone." Sister Lin sighed. "You and Shen Sheng are both quite casual on Weibo. Shen Feng didn't hold any activities for his birthday this year, so it's fine to just briefly mention this ordinary birthday. But now the internet trolls hired by the other site have been posting negative articles about you all over Weibo. And this matter is almost known to everyone, even if you and Feng Zi don't take it to heart. Netizens do. It's too late for me to send a birthday greeting now." Zhang Wanwan rubbed his forehead and said, "Even if I go and repost it now, those trolls will definitely say that I am trying to cover up something. Well, the solution I can think of now is that you and Xiaochen should make a video later. The content is probably about you celebrating Xiaoxin's birthday. and then posted on Weibo as yesterday's vlog, telling fans and netizens that you were so busy celebrating Xiaochun's birthday yesterday that you forgot to send a blessing. As for why yesterday's vlog was posted today, you can say that editing took time or something like that. But the video is evidence, at least most netizens will believe you. It doesn't matter whether the haters believe you or not. As for the internet trolls, I have already asked Weibo to help suppress them. Sister Lin's idea is actually quite good. Zhang Wanwan also thought it was feasible after hearing it. She is the best at acting, so it is easy for her to act out the scene of celebrating Xin Feng's birthday. But Zhang Wanwan feels that this is only a temporary solution and not a fundamental solution. If we don't find a way to find the source of the water army and find out who is blackmailing them, similar situations will definitely happen again in the future. After hearing what Zhang Wanwan said, Sister Lin said helplessly, "Wanwan, how could I not know what you said, but it is too difficult to trace the source and find out who slandered you. Originally, the two people most likely to slander you were Fuyan and Shang Biaihua. But now one of them is dead and the other has been sentenced to death. We can't even guess the approximate range of the enemy right now, let alone track down the source. If it were easy to find out who the boss behind the online troll army is, how could online trolls still be so rampant now? No one would dare to buy them long ago." Sister Lin sighed and said with great melancholy, "I heard that Fu Yan was attacked by a group of trolls. Fu Yan hired several hackers to investigate the trolls, but they couldn't find out who was behind him. So it's very difficult to find out who is behind this. It's Sun Jing." Sister Lin had just finished speaking. Shen Feng then spoke. Sister Lin, what did you guess?" Shen Feng smiled and said, "I used some tricks to find out. You? A little bit." Sister Lin, she hasn't asked anything yet. Chapter 379. Have you eaten? Sun Jing is in such a good mood today. It was getting dark now and the day was almost over. The naval offensive she launched against Shen Sheng and Zhang Wanwan that day was a complete victory. Originally, Sun Jing thought that after she asked the internet army to discredit Xin Feng and Zhang Wanwan, these two people would soon come out to clarify the rumors and show their affection in order to appease the hearts of some fans. But what surprised Sun Jing was that Xin Feng and Zhang Wanwan didn't react at all today. Not only did he not come out to refute the rumor, he didn't even say a word. Moreover, the agents of Xin Feng and Zhang Wanwan didn't seem to care too much about the water army. They just contacted the official Weibo and imposed some simple restrictions. But the effect was not very good. This kind of laissez-faire attitude has allowed the internet trolls and black fans to set the pace. Many passers-by or fans who are not that close to these two saw the overwhelming comments about relationship discord on Weibo. Some of them didn't even know what specifically happened, but they were led astray and thought that Xin Feng and Zhang Wanwan really had a conflict. Many people also went to Xin Feng and Zhang Wanwan's Weibo and posted short essays of several hundred words, saying how much they liked the two of them and begging them not to divorce or break up. Even Sun Jing herself didn't expect that this wave of rhythm could be so successful. That loser Ji Kangqing praised Shen Feng to such a high standard. But this is the result? In her room, Sun Jing leaned comfortably on the bed, browsing Weibo and sneering disdainfully. And she opened WeChat and sent a message to Ji Kangqing. "Sun Jing, have you read the Weibo? Shen Feng hasn't done anything even though things are so chaotic. Is this the kind of garbage you're afraid of?" Ji Kangqing might have difficulty typing, and it took him a long time to reply with 3 words to Sun Jing. "Ji Kangqing, wait. TSK, you're such a tough guy." Sun Jing sighed, feeling that her good mood was instantly dampened. "Wait? Just wait, I've been in the entertainment industry for so many years. How could I be defeated by a little brat who has just debuted for half a year?" After she finished speaking, she turned off her phone, threw it on the bed, and wanted to go eat something. As a result, before I even walked out of the room, I heard the sound of a WeChat message coming from my phone. Originally, Sun Jing thought that Ji Kangqing had sent some message again, but when she walked back and picked up her phone, she looked at it. But what I received was a reminder to add a friend. The person who added her as a friend was named, and didn't leave any remarks. So Sun Jing felt that he was also unfamiliar. However, she still clicked to agree, intending to ask who the other person was. If she didn't know him, she would just delete him as a friend. But before Sun Jing could ask the question, the stranger who had just been added as a friend had already sent a message. "Hello, have you eaten?" Sun Jing frowned. What's wrong with this person? Why is he so familiar? "Sun Jing, who are you?" "Yang. Have you eaten?" "Sun Jing, answer my question first. Who are you?" "Yang, have you eaten?" "Sun Jing, who gave you my WeChat ID? Or are you a fake account of someone I know?" "Yang, have you eaten?" "Sun Jing, don't play such a prank on me, who are you?" "Yang, have you eaten?" "Sun Jing, no." "Yang, That's great. I ordered a takeaway for you, it should be at your door. Go get it. Sun Jing frowned. Order takeout? And put it at her doorstep. Sun Jing felt that the person who knew where she lived must be someone she knew closely. A man was kind enough to order takeout for her. Who is it? Could it be that guy Ji Kang Cheng? Sun Jing felt that it was not impossible. Ji Kang Cheng was so scared by Shen Feng before that he wanted to run away on a train. Now Shen Feng was suppressed by her navy and couldn't even say a word. Ji Kang Cheng must have regretted his decision to run away when he saw this. Previously on WeChat, Ji Kang Cheng told her to wait. Probably he was just being stubborn at the moment, but now he regretted it and added her with a secondary account to try to please her. But on second thought, Sun Jing felt that something was not right. She had just finished chatting with Ji Kang Cheng. If Ji Kang Cheng ordered takeout for her after the chat, how could it arrive so quickly? While I was thinking, Sun Jing had already opened the door and walked out. I actually saw a takeout box at my doorstep. A takeaway box was quite big. Like a small box. Sun Jing brought the takeaway box back into the house. Opened it, and found it was a large family bucket meal of kaifeng dishes. Although Sun Jing usually doesn't eat this kind of greasy fried food. But today is a happy occasion, so she doesn't mind indulging herself. She picked up a fried chicken leg and started eating. While eating, she also sent a message back to that. Sun Jing, I got the takeaway you bought quite a lot. You are Ji Kang Cheng, right? Yang, no. No, Sun Jing raised an eyebrow. Sun Jing, really? Then you are a dear. Yang, no. Sun Jing. Li Lei, Mi Emi, Li Huo. Yang, by the time you've almost finished eating your takeout, you should know who I am. Sun Jing was very surprised. What do you mean by you know who the takeout is just by tasting it? Is there something about this person in this takeaway? Thinking of this, Sun Jing took the buckets out of the takeaway box. Sure enough, at the bottom of the takeout box, a pressed file bag was found. Sun Jing smiled. It's still too naive to play this kind of little surprise on her. Let her see which little cutie she knows prepared this feast for her. Thinking of this, Sun Jing opened the file bag with a smile and took out a stack of documents from it. Only, after she took a look at the documents inside, the smile on her face froze. Her expression began to become serious and solemn. Especially after she looked through the next few documents. She slumped down in her chair. Her hands holding the documents began to tremble. Written on these thin A4 papers are all the dirty things Sun Jing has done in the past in order to get a role in a play. Some of them were collaborating with Ji Kang Cheng to harm others. And some of them were her alone, seducing the director and climbing into the producer's bed. Moreover, on the last piece of A4 paper, it was clearly printed that she hired internet trolls to discredit Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. There are even screenshots of her transfer records to the Water Army and some chat records when communicating details. Let alone anything else, just this last piece of A4 paper. Once it is exposed, she will definitely be crushed to pieces by the fans of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. Who got these things? The first person Sun Jing thought of was Ji Kang Cheng. Because only Ji Kang Cheng knew all of her dark history. And only Ji Kang Cheng knew that it was she who hired the internet army to deal with Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. Especially when thinking about Ji Kang Cheng's words, just wait. Sun Jing felt that this was most likely Ji Kang Cheng's doing. But even if it was Ji Kang Cheng, he shouldn't know the transfer records and chat records between her and the Water Army. Sun Jing picked up the phone in a hurry, and now her hand holding the phone was unsteady. She didn't even bother to send a message to this, and directly called him via WeChat. The phone rang, but no one answered. Sun Jing's heart also trembled continuously with the noisy ringing sound. It was not until nearly half a minute later that the WeChat call was finally connected. The voice coming from the other end of the phone was a man's voice. Hello? Who the hell are you? As soon as Sun Jing saw the call was connected, she immediately asked anxiously, where did you get these things? Tell me. TSK, I thought you were smart and would guess who I am after reading this. Even if you can't guess, Ji Kang Cheng should be able to guess it. Right? Well no, if Ji Kang Cheng saw these documents, he would immediately know who I am, but you don't know now. Which means Ji Kang Cheng hasn't seen them, or in other words, Ji Kang Cheng is not by your side at all. The man on the other end of the phone analyzed calmly like Sherlock Holmes. I guess Ji Kang Cheng left your house directly after knowing that you hired a group of internet trolls in order to avoid suspicion. Right? Who on earth are you? Sun Jing gritted her teeth and asked again. Haven't you guessed it yet? The man on the other end of the phone seemed to be starting to feel helpless. Even if you can recognize my voice and haven't learned reasoning, you should at least know the process of elimination. Right? You list all the people you've offended, and then eliminate them one by one. Can't you guess who I am? Those who have offended. Sun Jing's gaze moved to the last piece of A4 paper. Her pupils suddenly contracted and she uttered the name trembling lie. Shen Feng. Chapter 380 True Love has magic super big chapter. A clock in the evening. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan started the live broadcast. And today, due to the influence of the rhythm of the online water army, as soon as Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan started broadcasting, nearly 100,000 fans and passersby, including black fans, crowded into the live broadcast room. These people are almost going crazy. Such a big event today, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan didn't post a single explanatory post on Weibo, which made fans wonder if these two really had some kind of disagreement or problem. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan can be said to be the first celebrity CP that many people followed. They also made many people so sweet that their teeth fell out. These fans certainly don't want the couple they followed to have such a bad ending. But when these fans who were worried about Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan rushed into the live broadcast room with great anxiety in their hearts, however, they found that the people involved in the incident, the entire network was talking about the circle-locking couple who had a big conflict. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, playing rock paper scissors in front of the camera. Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. How come I lost again? Zhang Wanwan slapped her thigh in anger. Then, perhaps because he felt that patting his own thigh was too painful, he patted Shen Feng's thigh again. Shen Feng looked at Zhang Wanwan lovingly and helplessly, and said, "If you want to play the male role, I'll give it to you. There's no need to decide the winner by playing rock paper scissors. That won't do. I, Zhang Wanwan, have never been inferior to anyone in my life. Why do I need you to give in? Stop talking nonsense. Let's play best of 3. Zhang Wanwan started playing rock paper scissors with Shen Feng again. I've been worried all day. My Weibo is almost broken. How come these two heartless people are acting like nothing happened? Damn, they said they were going to divorce because of their relationship problems? It's an act. It must be an act. Feng Ziwanwan, what on earth is going on with you guys? Can't you explain it to us?" Shen Cheng saw this comment. Then he explained, "Wanwan and I are going to play It Takes Till Later. This game has 2 protagonists, a man and a woman. Wanwan said rock paper scissors, and whoever wins gets to play the male protagonist. In the end, she kept losing, but she definitely wanted to play the male lead. So we kept playing rock paper scissors here." "Oh, thank you for explaining. Who asked you this? Who cares why you guys are playing rock paper scissors? That's right, don't tell me you two didn't know about this big Weibo thing. Okay. Stop pretending. Stop pretending if there is a real conflict. Break up. Stop marketing your husband and wife persona. Hurry up and give the top spot to my brother. Although, Feng Zi, can't you give Wanwan a break? Is it difficult to let her win?" This barrage made Shen Feng feel a little melancholy. To be honest, it's really difficult. Tonight, Zhang Wanwan didn't know whether Jie Adnan was possessed. You can't win this game of rock paper scissors no matter what. Shen Feng has been trying his best to analyze Zhang Wanwan's punch from the perspectives of psychology, physiology, mathematics, and philosophy, combined with his 800 years of understanding of Zhang Wanwan. But what's outrageous is, Zhang Wanwan's punches never matched his predictions. Shen Feng had to admit that his younger brother's thinking was indeed quite unconventional, especially after pregnancy became stupid. It was even more unpredictable. Seeing that he would play rock paper scissors with Zhang Wanwan all night, Shen Feng silently took out his cell phone and sent a message to Jie Adnan. "Shen Feng, rock, paper, scissors, choose one. Dayatnam. Let's do it." Shen Feng looked at Zhang Wanwan and took out the cloth. "This time, I finally lost." Shen Cheng breathed a sigh of relief. No matter how frivolous Zhang Wanwan is, she cannot withstand the blow of the weapon of causality. Although I didn't see what Shen Feng was doing with his phone just now, I guess that he had invited Xiao Jia as an external aid. Indeed. But is this the point? Can you please stop paying attention to their rock paper scissors game? Rhythm, rhythm, can't you explain the rhythm on the internet? No, do I need to explain this? Even a blind person can see that these two people have a very good relationship now, right? If this is the state where they are in conflict, and I hope they are in conflict every day, can't it be acting? Don't you know Zhang Wanwan's acting skills? If they are acting, and no matter what they explain, you will think they are acting. In other words, since you are a hater of Shen Feng and Wanwan, get out of their live broadcast room and stop complaining in front of us real fans. Okay, there are already fans of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. Now it can be seen that both of them are in very good condition and there is no problem at all. But just because old fans can see it doesn't mean that passersby, haters, and new fans can see it. Seeing that there were still many people in the live broadcast room, asking Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan to give an explanation, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan selected their characters and entered the game, saying, "Wanwan and I are not unaware of the rhythm on the internet. Our agent also wanted us to post a Weibo response, but I don't think it's necessary, because I think true love is magical and can touch people's hearts. As long as Wan and I love each other enough, I can influence the person who hired trolls to slander me and make her come out and admit her mistake. Shen Feng spoke in a serious and solemn manner. The fans who heard this explanation basically had the same expression. Has Fengzi drunk too much? I believed your lies. You really love magic, are you guys the rainbow ponies? Seeing Fengzi being so serious, I almost believed it. Handsome guy. Stop being funny, can you please respond seriously? This is such a serious matter. You shouldn't joke about it. That's right, you said you can influence the people who bought the internet trolls. You must be kidding, they have already hired internet trolls to smear you. How can they stand up and admit their mistakes? Are you mentally disabled? If someone really admits his mistake, I will do a handstand and have diarrhea. Shen Feng smiled without saying anything, and entered the game with Zhang Wanwan. 1 minute later. Weibo. Sun Jing, I am very sorry that my impulsive behavior has brought such a great impact to Mr. Shen Feng and Ms. Zhang Wanwan. I have withdrawn all the water armies I purchased and am willing to compensate Mr. Shen Feng and Ms. Zhang Wanwan for their losses. When the audience in the live broadcast room saw this Weibo post, they basically all had this expression. What's going on? Someone actually came out and admitted it. Isn't this just to attract attention? Are you an idiot who dares to take advantage of this kind of popularity? Besides, this is Sun Jing, whose fame is only slightly less than that of Feng Ziyiwanwan now. Is it necessary for her to take advantage of this kind of popularity? Damn, True Love really has magic. I am really touched. Feng Zi, are you a star or a holy monk? I don't care about anything else. I just want to ask, what about the one who had diarrhea while doing a handstand? Sun Jing's Weibo post can be said to explain the whole rhythm. Although many people couldn't figure out how the magic of True Love influenced Sun Jing, the atmosphere among fans in the live broadcast room obviously became much more lively. At this time, Sun Jing was curled up in her dark room, clutching her cell phone tightly. From the moment she posted that Weibo, she knew that she was about to say goodbye to the entertainment industry. But it was all she could do. Shen Cheng asked her to do this. If she didn't obey, what would await her would not be just quitting the circle. The cell phone rang and Sun Jing answered it. Ji Kang Cheng's voice was heard on the phone. Do you understand now? Ji Kang Cheng did not mock her as Sun Jing had imagined, but just smiled bitterly. Sun Jing sighed. No. But it's too late. Valentine's Day special drama, unrelated to the main storyline. Liuya has always been rather contemptuous of Valentine's Day. She thinks that celebrating Valentine's Day is a waste of money and unnecessary. Even if she finds a boyfriend in the future, she will never let him accompany her to celebrate such a meaningless foreign holiday. Zhang Qianming is also very obedient. I didn't prepare any gift for Liuya on Valentine's Day. Even the whole day seemed no different from usual. Liuya was very satisfied with Zhang Qianming's rational behavior of not wasting money. But I also felt a little sorry for Zhang Qianming. After all her friends in the circle of friends are showing off their love. But Zhang Qianming can't show off with her. As compensation, Liuya cooked a delicious meal for Zhang Qianming today. The cooking skills are not as good as Shen Feng's, but it is also very delicious. At 12 o'clock in the evening, Liuya and Zhang Qianming finished applying the last handful of pesticides, and Zhang Qianming suddenly pulled her to the window. Then he pointed out the window and said, Yuya, do you think the stars outside are beautiful? Liuya looked up. What a cloudy day. But she had just finished speaking. Brilliant fireworks suddenly bloomed in the night sky. Liuya was stunned for a moment. Zhang Qianming gently hugged Liuya and said to her, Yuya, I am very obedient. If you say we won't celebrate Valentine's Day, then we won't celebrate it. So happy second day of Valentine's Day. Having said that, Zhang Qianming kissed her. The fireworks are brilliant. Li Tingting sat in the lounge area of the cinema, looking at the time from time to time. This was the first time she and Jay Atna went out to watch a movie on Valentine's Day. I have to admit, there are so many people. Jay Atnam said he wanted to buy some popcorn, but the cinema was sold out. Li Tingting originally said that it was okay not to eat, but Jay Atnan said that without eating popcorn, there would be no feeling of watching a movie. Then he asked Li Tingting to wait, and he ran out to the supermarket to buy popcorn in the temperature of -10 degrees Celsius outside. Then Li Tingting waited for almost 20 minutes. Seeing that the movie theater had already started to check tickets, but Jay Atnan had not arrived yet, Li Tingting became a little restless. She sent a message to Jay Atnam, but Jay Atnam didn't reply. And she called him, but he didn't answer. A few minutes later, the movie officially started, but Jay Atnam had not arrived yet. Li Tingting looked at the couples who went in to watch the movie with a bit of disappointment, sighed, and walked out of the cinema silently. Just as she was feeling the cold wind, wondering what Jay Atnam was doing, then I saw Jay Atnan limping over with 2 big bags in his arms. You, what's wrong with you? Looking at the somewhat embarrassed Jay at Nan, Li Ting was suddenly shocked. Don't mention it. I went to buy popcorn, but the supermarkets nearby didn't sell it. I asked around and heard there was a stall selling old-fashioned popcorn at the night market nearby. I was walking in that direction and saw a thief trying to rob someone. I helped catch the thief, but I fell while running and my phone fell into the sewer. When I saw I couldn't get my phone back, I thought I'd just give up and continue to the night market. But there was a strong wind on the road and a plastic bag flew over my head. I couldn't see clearly and bumped into a guy next to me. That guy was a boxer and wanted to hit me. Luckily, he was a fan of Feng Zi and recognized me in the end. When I went to the night market to buy popcorn, the old man selling popcorn had his stove exploded again. But luckily, I bought the last 2 bags, so today not so unlucky. Jay Yatnan said, smiling as he handed the popcorn to Li Ting. Silly, if it's so troublesome don't buy it. Li Ting did not take the popcorn, but hugged Jay Yatnan. Jay Yatnan put down the popcorn, hugged Li Ting, and comforted him. It's okay, it's okay. And didn't you say a long time ago that you particularly like the feeling of eating popcorn while watching a movie? Today is Valentine's Day, so I must let you have some. Listen, happy Valentine's Day. Well, happy Valentine's Day. Xiaozu doesn't take Valentine's Day very seriously. She didn't expect Sitiu, a fool, to celebrate the holiday with her. She asked Sitiu yesterday if he knew about Valentine's Day. Sitiu said he didn't know, but he knew that lover meant mistress. He also asked Xiaozu why the mistress was celebrating the festival. So Xiaozu doesn't plan to celebrate Valentine's Day. However, this afternoon Sitiu went off alone and no one knew where he was. This made Xiaozu feel a little uncomfortable. In the evening, Xiao Zilong told Xiaozu and Sitiu that he had found a very romantic Western restaurant and asked them to go there for dinner. Xiaozu went there, but Sitiu still didn't come. Until Xiaozu heard a noisy sound outside the Western restaurant. Sorry, we don't accept flyers here. If you want to distribute flyers, please go somewhere else. I'm not handing out flyers. No? Then what do you do? Why are you dressed like that? I'm here to eat. Eating? You're eating like this? Are you filming TikTok? Sorry, please don't disturb the other customers. Please go out. I'm really not. I'm here to have dinner with my girlfriend. Since you insist on saying that, do you have a reservation? Yes, it should be. Yes. It's table 36. Xiaozu suddenly spoke. After saying that, she walked towards the door of the restaurant. After glancing at the waiter, he turned his gaze to the opposite side of the waiter. On that bear. Or rather, a person wearing a big-headed bear puppet costume. Zhu, Sister Zhu. Sitiu's voice came from the big-head little bear. Just like a child who has made a mistake, he is probably blaming himself for screwing up again. I looked up the meaning of Valentine's Day. It said on the internet that couples like to spend this day meaningfully. I think this dress is especially meaningful to me, so I went to look for this dress. I didn't know the restaurant wouldn't let me in. Hi, you're not allowed into the restaurant? Who said that? Xiaozu suddenly snorted coldly and looked at the waiter. The waiter hurriedly said, Madam, how can you eat Western food dressed like this? This is not appropriate. Whoever said it's not suitable? I said it's suitable. But we have rules in our store. This is Xiao Zilong's phone number. Ask your boss to call him and ask him what the rules are. The waiter took the business card handed over by Xiaozu and left. While waiting for the waiter, Sitiu seemed to remember something. He reached out clumsily and took out a few roses from his clothes pocket with his not very flexible bare paw covered with gloves. It's a pity that these roses have been somewhat deformed by the pressure. Sitiu, who wanted to hand the rose to Xiaozu, suddenly wilted and wanted to hide the rose, but Xiaozu snatched the roses away and said with a smile, Silly boy, I received your Valentine's Day gift. Now, here's my gift for you. As she spoke, she pulled off Sitiu's hood and pressed him against the door of the restaurant. Ignoring the gazes of the diners around him, he kissed her directly. Sitiu's face turned red all of a sudden. Feng Ziwan. The day is Valentine's Day, don't you have any ideas? Sister Lin asked this question before being picked up by King. Chen Feng and Jiang Wanwan both shook their heads. I think we are already sweet enough. If we are any sweeter, our readers will get diabetes, Jiang Wanwan said. Yeah. After all, those who stay at home and read books during the holidays are probably single people. Chen Feng also laughed. They really don't care much about this holiday. Because for them, every day with each other is more meaningful than Valentine's Day. Chapter 381, Fire Sister Lin? After the Sun Jing incident, basically no one in the entertainment industry dared to mess with Shen Feng and Jiang Wanwan anymore. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that if Sun Jing had not been threatened, she would never have apologized on her own initiative. There is a rumor circulating in the circle now that there is a powerful force behind Shen Sheng. Not only was Sun Jing no match for Shen Feng, But even Fu Yan's previous death was planned by the forces behind Shen Feng. In the domestic entertainment industry, no one can shake the status of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. Regarding this statement, someone asked Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan in a subsequent live broadcast. In response, Shen Feng said in a very sincere and serious tone, "It's pure nonsense. Everyone should know my family background. What power can I have?" Sun Jing apologized because she saw the power of true love between Wanwan and me. "I feel sorry for Fu Yan's death, but it was Shang Bie who did it. It really has nothing to do with me." Shen Feng looked innocent. "I'm just an ordinary person, what can I do? Can I force Sun Jing to apologize at the cost of quitting the circle? And force Shang Bie to kill Fu Yan? How is this possible? I hope everyone can be more rational and not believe or spread rumors. We can believe your explanation, but if you say you are an ordinary person, we won't believe it even if you kill us." Redefining ordinary people. Although Feng Zi is very sincere now, I always feel that he is talking nonsense. These fans were skeptical about Shen Feng's explanation. But people in the entertainment industry don't believe it at all. Many young idols have issued orders to their fans, asking them not to provoke Shen Feng, Zhang Wanwan and their fans easily in the future to avoid getting into trouble. This was undoubtedly a good thing for Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, and they both felt relieved. For the next 6 months, they basically lived a life of being together every day, occasionally doing live broadcasts to feed their fans some dog food. Half a year later, when the due date was approaching, Zhang Wanwan was admitted to the hospital early. Lying on the hospital bed, Zhang Wanwan touched her belly inside. "Luckily there's baby food in there instead of fat. Otherwise Sister Lin would have chased me with a kitchen knife and forced me to lose weight. How can I be so violent?" Just as Zhang Wanwan finished speaking, Sister Lin's voice came from outside the house. Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng turned around and saw King and Sister Lin coming in together. In the past 6 months or so, Sister Lin has finally had some free time. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan have both become stay-at-home moms, and no one on the internet dares to cause trouble for them. What else does Sister Lin, as their agent, have to do? She even transformed herself from Zhang Wanwan's agent to King's secretary, helping King deal with some company matters, of course. The most important thing was that the two of them could stay together openly all day long. Although Sister Lin has never been a secretary before, her efficiency as an agent is absolutely top-notch. After the transformation, I was able to get used to the new job very quickly. Originally, King asked Sister Lin to be her secretary just to take advantage of her during working hours, and she didn't expect Sister Lin to be able to help her much. But I didn't expect Sister Lin's work efficiency to be so high, which directly lead to King's work efficiency increasing. Sister Lin would even urge King on, just like she had urged Zhang Wanwan before. Sometimes when King wanted to slack off at work, he would be severely reprimanded by Sister Lin. Not to mention eating tofu. Fortunately, after get off work, Sister Lin would return to her soft girl. Soft dance stayed in front of King, otherwise King would feel that she, as the boss, would become a social animal. Sister Lin. "President Qin, why are you here?" Zhang Wanwan looked at the two of them and said with a smile. She was trying to cover up the embarrassment of secretly saying bad things about Sister Lin just now. Sister Lin didn't pursue the matter, but just gave Zhang Wanwan a cold look. Then she said, "You're about to give birth to a baby. Can I come over to see you?" "Well, the company happens to be less busy recently, so Alan and I came over to see you." "Wanwan, how is your health now?" King asked. "I've been having trouble eating lately, but it's okay. I'm definitely not feeling as good as usual. Do you need me to stay and take care of you?" Sister Lin asked. No, I have Feng Zi." Zhang Wanwan patted Shen Feng beside her. Sister Lin looked at Shen Feng with a look of emotion on her face. She sighed, then smiled and said, "To be honest, I still feel quite unexpected now. At the time, I just wanted you to avoid the company's liquidated damages. So I agreed to you and Xiaoshen filming a dating variety show. I didn't expect that it would actually produce to big stars. And Xiaoshen really knows everything. Wanwan, you are so lucky to meet him." Shen Feng spread his hands. "Sister Lin, what you said is true. It is my blessing to meet Wanwan. The skills you acquire are meant to be used by the ones you love. If you can't meet someone you like, what's the point of knowing so much? At such a young age, you are quite good at talking." Sister Lin said. "Then King and I will stay in Zhonghe City for a few days. We will leave after your baby is born. If you need anything, just call us." "Well, thank you, Sister Lin." Watching Sister Lin and King leave, Zhang Wanwan said in a strange voice, "Feng Zi, I just felt like Mr. I wanted to say something to me. I wonder if it was my illusion." Shen Feng smiled and said, "It's not your illusion. She really has something to tell you." As he spoke, Shen Feng pointed to the shoulder bag on the table beside him. "That is King's bag. Hey, MRQN's bag is not here yet. Feng Zi, why don't you give it to her? Zhang Wanwan wanted Shen Feng to return the bag. But Shen Feng said helplessly, little fool, can you see that Mr. In wants to tell you something, but can't you see why Mr. In put down the bag? Zhang Wanwan fell into deep thought. But she didn't ponder for long. Because Qin King had already walked back to the ward. She nodded to the two of them apologetically and said, I'm sorry, I forgot my bag here just now, I came back to get it. By the way Wanwan, I have something else I want to discuss with you. Zhang Wanwan blinked her eyes, what did you say? Alan has been working for me for the past 6 months. To be honest, I'm a little used to it. Qin King gathered her hair together, her voice sounding negotiating. You will definitely have to resume your normal work after you give birth to the baby. By then, Arlene will most likely choose to return to your job as your agent. After all, she is a very serious and particular person. But to be honest, I can't bear to let her leave me again. So Wanwan, can you fire Alan and let her work in our company with peace of mind? After Qin King said this, Zhang Wanwan felt embarrassed. Sister Lin is very important to Qin King, but she is also very important to Zhang Wanwan. Even after Shen Feng's help, most of her and Shen Feng's announcements, business collaborations, and some issues on Weibo were handled by Sister Lin. Take the days when Zhang Wanwan was pregnant while working for Qin King. Sister Lin did not forget to take 2 advertisements for Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng. Moreover, these 2 advertisements only used previous photos of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. It can be said that Zhang Wanwan made a lot of advertising fees without even moving a muscle. This is when Sister Lin is on half vacation. If Sister Lin is working normally, she will have more daily affairs to deal with. If Sister Lin didn't help them in the future, Zhang Wanwan felt that the pressure on her and Feng Zi would definitely increase by a lot. No, we must not let Sister Lin go. Zhang Wanwan was determined in her heart. She looked at Qin King and said, Boss Qin, I know how you feel about Sister Lin, but I still hope that Sister Lin can stay with us. This is a card with 1 million in it. As a red envelope for the child if you don't mind, let the child call me godmother in the future. Okay? Qin King smiled and handed a card to Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan sighed, Boss Qin, maybe I usually act like I love money, but Sister Lin is really. Oh, I forgot you were pregnant with twins. I'll give you another one. Boss Qin, Here's another card with 2 million. It's not for the child, but for you and Feng Zi. Thank you. MRQ and Sister Lin is yours. I won't hire her if she applies for a job again. Don't worry. Zhang Wanwan said in a decisive tone after taking the 3 cards. At this time, in the car outside the hospital, Sister Lin, who was sitting in the passenger seat waiting for Qin King, sneezed several times in a row. Chapter 382, Light Rain and Clear Sky. Let's go on with the rest of our lives. Because Zhang Wanwan is about to give birth. Many acquaintances have come to the hospital to see her these days. Qin King and Sister Lin are just one of the couples. People like Liu Ya and Zhang Qianming, Li Tingting and Jia Tenan, as well as Director Chen, Shang Wei, Meng An, Xiaoqian Shu, etc., all of whom have been free recently, have come to visit Zhang Wanwan. In addition, when Director Chen came, he also brought some movie news to Zhang Wanwan. The title of Song Xian's film has actually always been undecided. Because Wan Shan Xuan wanted to give the naming rights to Song Xian's widow. It was not until recently that Song Xian's widow gave the name after watching a similar film sample. Red Butterfly. The production of Red Butterfly is now nearing completion, but the promotion and publicity has not yet officially started. One reason is that Wan Shun Xuan and Shang Yin are both very rigorous and strive for perfection. I don't want to release the film to the public until it is polished to the best of its ability. Secondly, I was also waiting for Zhang Wanwan to give birth to the baby. Whether it is the film's premiere or roadshow, including various press conferences, the main creative staff must be present. As the male and female protagonists, it is somewhat unreasonable for Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan not to appear at the press conference. Zhang Wanwan originally had some prenatal anxiety. Although she is usually heartless, she has become much more cautious now that she is about to become a mother. Now that so many people came to visit her, Zhang Wanwan felt that her anxiety was relieved a lot. I chat with different acquaintances every day about what's happening outside. And it's even quite fun. How's it going, Brother Wan? Have you been feeling better these days? At night, Shen Fei sat beside Zhang Wanwan's bed, playing a movie for her on his mobile phone, and asked. Zhang Wanwan nodded. It must be much better. But how come so many people knew that I gave birth these days and came directly to the hospital to see me? Zhang Wanwan was a little confused. Although she had told some good friends that her due date was approaching, she didn't seem to have told so many people. Even her college roommates came to visit her. She hadn't even told them that she was in the hospital giving birth. Suddenly, Zhang Wanwan looked at Shen Feng. But it be. Chen Feng smiled slightly. Guessed it? It seems that his younger brother's IQ has improved recently. Is there a paparazzi in the hospital who revealed my whereabouts? Chen Feng. Well, just pretend he didn't say it. 10 months of pregnancy. In late summer and early autumn of 2022, Zhang Wanwan, who was 10 months pregnant, gave birth to 2 babies. A boy and a girl. The boy is the older brother and the girl is the younger sister. When naming the child, Zhang Wanwan did not use the name Shen Crystal that she had thought of before. She originally wanted Shen Feng or her parents to come up with a more reliable name. But Shen Feng told her to name the child herself. Aren't you afraid that I'll name the child Shen Niubi? Lying on the hospital bed, Zhang Wanwan ate the food Shen Feng fed her while pouting her lips. Shen Feng smiled and said, if you don't mind your son being called Shen Niubi, then I have no objection. And I think this is pretty good. Because in the future when we meet people we can say, my son is awesome, right? Zhang Wanwan rolled her eyes. Although she just thought so. And she just thought a little more than Shen Feng. That is, if her son has children in the future, her grandchildren will be able to proudly say, my dad is awesome. When her grandchildren have children in the future, they can still proudly say, my grandpa is awesome. How nice. But in the end, Zhang Wanwan couldn't bear to torture her child and gave up the name Shen Niubi. These 2 children are of great significance to Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. After all, this is the fruit of their love that they have been waiting for 2 lifetimes. Shen Feng asked Zhang Wanwan to choose the names because he felt that his brother had suffered a lot for these 2 children. Especially in recent months, his older brother's sleep has become more and more irregular. He eats less and less, and he often feels nauseous and wants to vomit. I suffered a lot. So Zhang Wanwan spent most of the day thinking about what name to give the child. After lunch, it started to drizzle outside. The sound of the rain is pattering, which is quite pleasant to hear. Zhang Wanwan was lying on the bed and Shen Cheng was sitting beside the bed. The 2 of us, you look at me and I look at you. Suddenly, Zhang Wanwan patted Shen Feng's thigh and said, how about I call you Shen Yu? What about my sister? Shen Cheng rubbed his thigh and then asked. There was a sound of wind outside. Zhang Wanwan. Shen Feng? Shen Feng. Shen Feng, I don't mind it too much. But do you think the name Shen Feng is suitable for your daughter? Zhang Wanwan shook her head and fell into deep thought again. Another half hour passed. Recently, the weather in Zhonghai city changes faster than that in Sichuan and Shu. In the past half hour, the drizzle outside has stopped. The sunshine after the rain seemed very bright, shining into the warden also onto Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan opened her lips slightly, hesitated for a moment. Looked at Shen Cheng and said softly, Shen Yu Shen King. No, it's a bit too popular, how about? She turned her head again and looked at Zhang Ziyiqi and Su Yan. And Shen Xiaoqi Yuo and Tang Ping, who were walking in with their 2 children. Looking at her children in their arms, Zhang Wanwan's eyes gradually softened. She smiled and looked at Shen Feng. Feng Zi, I have thought of a name for the child. Tell me about it. Chen Wei Yu, Shen Yu King. Zhang Ziyiqi heard the name his daughter gave to his grandson and granddaughter. Frowned and said, Wanwan, this name is quite nice, but does it have any meaning? Zhang Wanwan glared. Then my name is Zhang Wanwan. Was there any meaning when you named me? Well, your name was given by your grandfather. Not by me. Zhang Ziyiqi said hesitantly. Seeing Zhang Ziyiqi's expression, Chen Feng smiled and said, Dad. What's wrong? Chen Xiaoji Yuo looked up. Shen Feng, father-in-law, Wanwan is very particular about naming her child. This is an excerpt from an ancient book of poetry, but it is relatively uncommon. The original text should be, the autumn wind suddenly rises. The rain turns to clear. I am glad to see you, and I will go on with the rest of my life. After Shen Sheng said this, Zhang Ziyiqi smacked his lips and finally nodded in compromise. Well, this sounds quite cultured. Okay, let's call it this. Come on, Shiwo, Xiaoqing, let grandpa hug you. Hey. Slow down, don't let the child fall. Zhang Ziyiqi and Su Yan were vying to hold the baby, while Zhang Wanwan secretly tugged at Shen Feng and asked in a low voice, Feng Zi, is there really such a poem? Shen Feng pinched her nose. Of course I made it up. Zhang Wanwan burst out laughing, then covered her mouth to prevent Zhang Ziyiqi from noticing her laughter. She looked at Shen Feng with curved eyes. Aren't you afraid that my dad will go online to Beidou later? No. Shen Feng smiled and said, anyway, this isn't the first time that our father-in-law has been tricked by us, so he should be used to it. But the lines you composed just now really seemed like something from the Book of Songs. The autumn wind suddenly blows, the rain clears up, what's next? Zhang Wanwan began to recall with great effort. Shen Sheng moved closer to Zhang Wanwan and whispered to her face to face. The second half of the sentence is, I am glad to see you, and I will go on with the rest of my life. Chapter 383 The Three Little Pigs. What is it like to have a child? Zhang Wanwan said. No experience. Because all the responsibility of taking care of the children has been taken away by the children's grandparents. Both Su Yan and Tang Ping had been idle at home with nothing to do, just waiting to take care of their grandchildren and great-grandchildren to relieve their boredom. After Zhang Wanwan was discharged from the hospital and returned home, Su Yan and Tang Ping came to the villa almost every day to help look after the child, and they took care of her meticulously. They even gave the good name of helping Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan share the pressure so that they could have more time to work. Zhang Wanwan was left in a state of confusion, as she had just finished her confinement, and where could she go to work? Only at night. The child will be left to Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan to take care of. At first, Su Yan and Tang Ping were worried, wondering if the child's crying at night would disturb Zhang Wanwan's rest. But Zhang Wanwan said that the two children were very sensible and behaved very well at night, and did not cry or make a fuss at all. Su Yan and Tang Ping are quite strange. What kind of child can sleep at night without crying or making a fuss? Isn't it too magical to expect a baby who is just over a month old to be sensible? The two of them found out after they asked Shen Feng. It's not that Shen Weiyu and Shen Yuqing are sensible, nor is it that they don't cry or make a fuss. The main reason was that Zhang Wanwan slept like a dead pig at night, and the child's crying could not wake her up at all. As an all-around dad, Shen Feng reacts quickly. He gets up to comfort the child as soon as he starts crying. Before the child wakes Zhang Wanwan up, Shen Feng coaxes her to sleep. After hearing this, Su Yan and Tang Ping both said that Shen Feng was a good father and much better than Zhang Wanwan as a mother. When Wan Ji heard this, he was dissatisfied. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat next to the crib and stared at the two babies. And the two babies stared at her. The three of them looked at each other for a long time. Zhang Wanwan was almost sleepy, but the two babies still showed no intention of going to sleep. Wan Ji, can I come and coax them? Shen Cheng made the bed and saw Zhang Wanwan still sitting next to the crib, reading the two babies' fortunes, so he started to ask. No, just leave it to me. Zhang Wanwan said that she wanted to be a qualified mother. She searched online for how to get her child to sleep. Seeing that some netizens suggested that they could tell bedtime stories to their children, Zhang Wanwan enthusiastically told the two children the story of the three little pigs. Once upon a time, there were three little pigs. Chen Cheng glanced at the mother and her two children. I think they are really the three little pigs. Especially this mother pig. The premise of telling bedtime stories to babies is that the baby can understand the bedtime stories. Do you think our baby is so talented that he can understand fairy tales at 1 month old? Shen Cheng said helplessly. When Zhang Wanwan heard this, she examined her two children, Shen Weiyu and Shen Yuqing. Zhang Wanwan, okay, maybe they don't understand. So I'll tell them the story in a different way. After saying that, Zhang Wanwan cleared her throat. Then, Shen Feng. If someone else did this, Shen Feng would definitely think it was stupid. But the one doing this now is Wan Ji. Shen Feng still felt stupid. But you know what? Zhang Wanwan's trick was surprisingly effective. After Zhang Wanwan fiddled with the crib for a while, the two children actually fell asleep. Seeing this scene, Zhang Wanwan showed a smug expression on her face and looked at Shen Feng. How about it? Am I very strong? Before Shen Sheng had the chance to praise Zhang Wanwan, Zhang Wanwan's words woke up the two babies who had not yet fallen asleep. The two babies suddenly started crying in unison, making Zhang Wanwan panic. She coaxed this one and hugged that one, becoming more and more flustered. Thus when she was too busy, Shen Feng hugged Shen Weiyu, held him in his arms and coaxed him softly. Now Zhang Wanwan only had to coax one person. So she wasn't so busy. She imitated Shen Feng's behavior and comforted Shen Yuqing softly. The two children soon fell asleep again, and this time, Zhang Wanwan didn't dare to speak loudly. Chen Sheng walked to Zhang Wanwan, hugged Zhang Wanwan and returned to the bed, and whispered in her ear. Brother Wan, leave the babysitting to me. You just need to have a good rest. Boyu, can you please stop exhaling when you talk? It's so itchy. Zhang Wanwan responded slightly at first, and then she felt her ears itchy from the breath of Shen Feng when he spoke. Shen Feng smiled, then suddenly leaned over, exhaled gently on Zhang Wanwan's neck, and asked in a low voice, does it itch here? Itchy. Itchy damn Fengzi. I almost laughed, just now. What if I disturb the baby again? Zhang Wanwan couldn't help but shiver and glared at Shen Feng Okathasly. Shen Cheng lay on the bed with his arms around Zhang Wanwan and got into the quilt, while he put his fingers into Zhang Wanwan's clothes and gently tickled her. At the same time, he squinted his eyes and chuckled. Yeah, it would be bad if it disturbed the baby. So you have to hold it in and don't make any noise. Feeling Shen Feng's hands moving up and down her body, Zhang Wanwan felt as if ants were crawling on her body and was extremely itchy. But when she thought of how embarrassed she was when she was coaxing the two babies just now, Zhang Wanwan didn't dare to wake them up again, so she had to hold back and keep silent. But her pretty face was already flushed, and her hand was constantly fighting a tug of war with Shen Feng's hand in the quilt. She wanted to stop Shen Feng's hands from doing evil, but Shen Feng's movements were extremely agile. He always managed to sneak attack when Zhang Wanwan had a gap in her defense, causing Zhang Wanwan to glare at Shen Feng several times. This damn Feng Zi is really becoming more and more bad. Since blindly defending only resulted in Shen Feng's further advances, Zhang Wanwan decided to turn from defense to offense. She also reached out and slapped Shen Feng twice on his weak spot, his buttocks, with moderate force. Now, Shen Feng finally behaved a little more obediently. A smug smile appeared on Zhang Wanwan's rosy face again. She put her head close to Shen Feng and said in a low voice, "See if you dare to be naughty again." Shen Cheng looked at Zhang Wanwan, who was very close to him, with a smile, and whispered, "Zhang Wanwan, how does it feel?" "Well, it's okay." Zhang Wanwan gave her evaluation. "Now that you've touched me, isn't it my turn?" Shen Cheng said this and reached out his hand into the quilt again. Zhang Wanwan actually nodded in a cooperative manner and said to Shen Feng, "You are right, I have finished touching, it is your turn now." As she spoke, Zhang Wanwan grabbed Shen Feng's hand that was trying to steal something and pressed it on Shen Feng's buttocks. "Okay, now feel yourself comfortable." Shen Feng, seeing Zhang Wanwan smirk like a kitten who had successfully done something naughty, Shen Cheng turned over and pressed Zhang Wanwan under him. Chapter 384, Let's start dating abroad today. As the old saying goes, people always have to work. Shen Weiyu and Shen Chen Yu King are 2 months old, and Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan are finally ready to go to work. In fact, as long as Zhang Wanwan wanted, Shen Feng had plenty of ways to make her have more money than she could spend in her lifetime. Of course, it is hard to say whether the source of this money is legitimate or not. However, Zhang Wanwan herself didn't want to sit around and do nothing at such a young age. In fact, the two of them originally wanted to hold the wedding first and then slowly get their work on track. But there are 2 important things waiting for them right now. One was an invitation to the 2nd season of Let's Start Dating Today, and the other was the press conference of Red Butterfly. The program Let's Start Dating Today has extraordinary significance for Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. Although neither of them is currently interested in variety shows, nor do they plan to participate in the entire 2nd season of Date, it is still appropriate for them to make guest appearances at the beginning of the recording of the 2nd season. There is also the press conference for Red Butterfly. This is the first movie that Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan filmed together. It is also the posthumous work of the great screenwriter Song Xian. And it also has the participation of heavyweight directors like Shang Yan. Since the movie was officially released a few days ago, it can be said that it has attracted the attention of the audience. Every day, viewers post comments like, "I would die without Red Butterfly," on the official Weibo account of Red Butterfly. As to very important creative staff members of this movie, it would certainly be inappropriate for Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan not to attend the press conference. In addition to these 2 programs, there seem to be many other companies that want to work with us. There is even a parent-child variety show that has invited us, Shen Feng said as he looked at the business cooperation emails he had received these days. Zhang Wanwan's eyes widened. "Huh? Which show is so stupid? Our Shuo and Xiaoqing are only 2 months old. What kind of parent-child variety show can they participate in?" The producer said they wanted to book our schedule in advance with the child, saying that he would participate in his variety show when he is 5 or 6 years old. When Zhang Wanwan heard this, she muttered, "This producer is really confident. Aren't they afraid that their show won't last for 5 or 6 years? Which company owns this show? Is there something wrong with the boss brain?" From Mingle Eye Entertainment, Shen Feng said, Zhang Wanwan, Boss Lei has a long-term vision and foresight. He is really amazing." Shen Feng smiled and started dealing with other cooperation emails. Looking at Shen Feng wearing glasses and handling his work, Zhang Wanwan suddenly sighed. If only Sister Lin were still here, she would have arranged all this work long ago, and you wouldn't have to go through so much trouble. You said that as if Sister Lin is gone. Shen Feng pushed up his glasses and said, "Besides, we just rested for too long before, and there are too many emails accumulated that we haven't dealt with. It's a little troublesome, but after dealing with this wave, it will be easier in the future. Besides, we will definitely have to hire an agent in the future, so we can hand over these tasks to the new agent when the time comes." When Zhang Wanwan heard this, she sighed again. It's not easy to find an agent, especially one as good as Sister Lin. As far as I know, Sister Lin has only taught 1 disciple in all these years. It would be great if she could come to help, but unfortunately she can't. Shen Feng raised his eyebrows. "Why?" "Because I'm not as rich as her husband. Please don't move," Zhang Wanwan said helplessly. "What's the name of this disciple you're talking about?" "Liu Ya." "Really?" Shen Feng rubbed his forehead. But what Wan Ji said is right. Liu Ya can indeed be considered to have been taught by Sister Lin. Now Liu Ya has absolutely no problem handling some big and small matters in the studio. But Zhang Qianming dotes on Liu Ya to the sky, and it is not realistic to want to break up this person and bring Liu Ya back to be his agent. Chen Feng and Zhang Wanwan could only post an advertisement for recruiting an agent online. Before they found an agent, they boarded a plane to Japan. Because the second season of Let's Start Dating Today was filmed in Japan. Director Chen's family has become more wealthy since he finished filming Date. In order to make the second season of Date more exciting, he spent a lot of money and changed the shooting location to a foreign country in order to add more novelty. Chen Chang Zhang Wanwan and the program crew went to Japan together on the same flight. When Director Chen and everyone else got off the plane and heard the airport staff say, Ugio Usou and Kong Ni Jiwa, one after another, Director Chen suddenly remembered a very serious problem. Damn it, I forgot to bring my translator. Director Chen had found a translator before coming to Japan. But when he was counting the number of people, he forgot to include this non-staff member. Director Chen could only quickly contact the translator and ask him to find a way to fly here. The translator wants to buy another plane ticket and come here, which will take at least a day and a half. How to survive in Japan, a place with no familiarity, became Director Chen's top priority in the next day and a half. Director Chen looked at the team behind him and asked seriously, "Are there any of you who can speak a little Japanese? Raise your hands." Many people in Director Chen's team raised their hands. Yain Tai doesn't count, Director Chen said again. At that time, these people put their hands down again. Director Chen. Thus when Director Chen was speechless, he suddenly saw a Japanese man chatting with Shen Feng Zhang Wanwan. Shen Feng communicated with his Japanese friend in fluent Japanese. Judging from the excited expression of the Japanese friend, he seems to be a fan of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. Finally, Shen Feng signed an autograph for this Japanese friend. Director Chen then remembered that besides being particularly good at cheating people, Shen Feng also had many advantages. For example, I know many foreign languages. Director Chen immediately ran to Shen Feng and said with a flattering smile, "Xiaoshan, can I trouble you with something?" "No time." Shen Feng refused, straightforwardly. Director Chen. Director Chen rubbed his hands and smiled again. "Xiaoshan, please listen to me first. Our translator hasn't arrived yet. And we're in need of someone who knows Japanese. Can you be our translator for a day? Are there any wages?" Zhang Wanwan leaned her head out and asked. "We are so familiar with each other, you still want salary?" Director Chen shook his head vigorously. "We are all brothers. Don't be so snobbish." Zhang Wanwan pouted, secretly pulled Shen Feng's sleeve, and gave Shen Feng a wink. Shen Feng touched his chin, and looked at Director Chen and said, "It's okay if you don't want to pay me. But the translation I give you will be a little more crude." It's okay to keep it simple. I'll only need you for one day anyway." Compared to Zhang Wanwan's love of money, Director Chen is definitely even more stingy. Chen Feng didn't say much and left the airport with Director Chen and the others. As soon as they left the airport, a man in security uniform stopped them and talked for nearly a minute. That little mouth kept chattering without stopping. Because there was no Yain Dai in the film, Director Chen didn't understand a single word. He could only look at Shen Feng and said, "Xiao Shen, what does this brother mean after talking for so long?" "Shen Feng," he said. "Hello." "Director Chen. This is too crude." Chapter 385. People in the car. The car drove away. Director Chen finally said with tears in his eyes that he was willing to pay Shen Feng to be a serious translator. "How much do you want?" Director Chen asked. Before Shen Feng could speak, Zhang Wanwan came up and said, "Comrade Shen Feng is my employee, so I will be the one to negotiate the price." As she spoke, Zhang Wanwan looked at Shen Feng and asked, "Feng Zi, how much does a translator earn per day now?" "It depends on the level. Some professional simultaneous interpreters in companies can earn tens of thousands of yuan a day." Director Chen quickly waved his hand and said, "No need to be so professional. Thus daily communication will be fine. That's usually around 500 to 1. Jaro for Director Chen, a friendship price of 500 is actually fine." Shen Feng said. Zhang Wanwan nodded. Then he turned to look at Director Chen and said, "Then just give me 1,000. Director Chen. "Director Chen, do you think I'm deaf? Xiao Chen just said 500. 500. Zhang Wanwan glared and said, "Do you understand what it means for a middleman to make a profit from the price difference?" Director Chen is speechless. "Middleman. I think you are a medium-sized profiteer. A super profiteer." But Director Chen paid the money in the end. Shen Feng then translated for Director Chen what the young man had just said. A general idea was, seeing that we brought so many things, he asked if we needed a car to get around. "Why do I feel like your translation is still a crude version? I just summarized the main idea. Do you want to listen to his nonsense version?" That will cost extra. Forget it. Director Chen shook his head quickly, then said with some emotion, I didn't expect that there would be such drivers soliciting passengers outside Japanese airports. But it's just right we don't have to look for a car. Let's just take this brother's car. The group got directly into the Japanese friend's car. This is a van with quite a large capacity. Because Shen Cheng could speak Japanese, he sat in the copilot seat. After getting in the car, Director Chen told Shen Feng the booked hotel and asked Shen Feng to pass it on to the driver. The driver nodded after hearing this, and the car started soon. Sitting in the car, Zhang Wanwan, feeling pain, transferred 1,000 yuan to Director Chen. At the same time, he did not forget to post a Weibo and sent out a screenshot of the transfer, showing off his sympathy. Director Chen, I was cheated out of $1,000 just after arriving in Japan. Chen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, you are so heartless. Ever since hearing that the second season of Date was going to start filming, fans of the show have been looking forward to the show's broadcast. Especially since Director Chen said a few days ago that there would be mysterious guests participating. Fans were guessing whether it was possible to invite Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan again. I saw this Weibo post by Director Chen today, which completely confirmed that Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan will participate in the second season of Date. This made fans as happy as if it were Chinese New Year. The fans of Date are mostly CP fans of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. In addition, since filming Red Butterfly, these two have basically not had any other announcements except for daily live broadcasts. And the fans are almost getting tired of waiting. Zhang Wanwan saw the crazy comments from fans after Director Chen posted a Weibo post, and couldn't help but say, Great Director Chen, your marketing skills are getting better and better now. After this Weibo post was published, it directly used us as an advertisement. It seems that I will be short of the 1,000 yuan. Director Chen was about to cry. What kind of marketing trick is this? Do you think I'm posting these for the audience to see? I'm posting them for my wife to see. I came to Japan, and my wife said she would control my every expense to prevent me from spending money on anything improper. Now I've spent $1,000, can I not prove my innocence? Zhang Wanwan, why don't you just take a screenshot and send it to Sister Wang on WeChat? Why post it on Weibo? If I report every bill via WeChat, it would make me look like a henpecked husband if I posted on Weibo for everyone to see. It would make it seem like I didn't explain it to her on purpose. So I can save some face. Director Chen said shyly. If you want to save face, just don't post anything and be a tough man. And I guess there are two possible outcomes. One is that she kills me after I return home. Zhang Wanwan raised her eyebrows. What about the second one? She flew over and killed me. Director Chen finished speaking inside. The car drove for about 20 minutes and stopped on the side of a road that looked a little remote. This place was obviously quite far from the hotel that Director Chen and his friends were going to. Director Chen asked Shen Cheng as soon as he saw it. Xiaoshan, what happened? Why did you stop the car? Shen Feng glanced at the driver next to him. The driver chuckled, then said a few words to Shen Feng. What did he say? He said he would pay the fare first and then take us to the hotel. Why is it still like this? How much money does he want? Director Chen asked. 500,000. Director Chen, Japanese yen? I have converted it into RMB. Shen Feng said. Oh, my god, robbery. Director Chen glared at the driver at that moment. And I saw the driver took out a dagger from somewhere and licked it. Director Chen. Okay, it's really a robbery. Director Chen could only look to Shen Feng for help. He didn't expect to encounter such a thing just after getting off the plane. Shen Cheng glanced at the driver twice. Suddenly he took out his cell phone and handed it to the driver. The driver was stunned, as if he didn't understand what Shen Feng meant. But he still took it with confusion. Shen Cheng took advantage of this time, snatched the dagger from the driver's hand, and put it against the driver's neck. The driver was so scared that he raised his hands. He looked at Shen Feng trembling eye and said, Japanese brother. Brother, don't use the knife, let's talk it over. Well, let's talk it over. Shen Feng also responded to the driver in Japanese. And then said with a smile, if you bring me 500,000 yuan, I will let you go, how about that? The driver looked at Shen Feng with a bitter face. Brother, I rob because I am a robber, this is my job. You are all decent people, it is not appropriate to rob. Shen Feng looked kind. Who told you that we are serious people? Driver, well, how about this? That little house over there is my home. I'll go get the money for you, okay? Shen Cheng nodded and signaled the driver to go back quickly. After the driver got out of the car and left, Director Chen said to Shen Feng, Xiaoshan, you are too awesome, aren't you afraid of being robbed? What are you afraid of? Shen Cheng pointed at Director Chen and his team. There are so many of us and he is alone even if he has a knife. And he fight 5 alone? After Shen Feng finished speaking, he sat in the driver's seat and started the car. Director Chen asked again. Chao Chen, what are you doing? Run away. Why are you running? There are so many of us and he's just one person. Are you still afraid of him? Can he fight 5 alone? Director Chen repeated what Shen Feng had just said. Shen Feng said helplessly, the hut over there should be their base. These black cars are organized and planned otherwise. Why do you think he stopped here and asked us for money? He's going back to call for help. Who knows how many people will come out later. What, you still want to fight 5 alone? Director Chen quickly shook his head and signaled Shen Feng to drive faster. On the other side, the driver returned to the hut on the side of the road and hurriedly called the brothers in the house out. There were more than a dozen people in the room, all of them smoking cigarettes and with tattoos on their bodies. Looking extremely tough. The leader frowned at the driver and asked in Japanese, "Why are you here? Have you finished the job?" "Brother, something happened. I ran into a tough guy. Not only did I fail to rob him, but I was robbed by him instead," the driver said. "He also asked me to give him money. So I came to you for help in the name of getting money." "Damn it, you idiot, let's go and see who is so bold as to pull this trick on you." The eldest brother cursed, then picked up his weapon and walked out of the house. Then, they saw the empty street in front of them. A gust of wind blew and rolled up a plastic bag. The eldest brother looked at the driver. "Where are the people?" A driver was stunned for a long time, and finally said, People are in the car." "What about the car?" "The car," the driver stuttered for a long time. "Well, it seems to have been driven away." The eldest brother looked at the driver for a long time as if he was a mentally retarded person. Finally he yelled angrily, "Everyone, get ready to work. Find those people for me." Chapter 300 Itixis animation is all lies. Kawakami Hotel. After Shen Feng drove to the hotel, he signaled Director Chen and the others to go to the room first while he took care of the car. As a result, after Shen Feng parked the car in a conspicuous location on the roadside, Director Chen and others were still standing at the entrance of the hotel. Shen Feng walked over and said, "Director Chen, you don't have to be so polite. You guys are carrying a lot of bags. Why are you standing here waiting for me? If we could speak Japanese, we wouldn't be standing here waiting for you." Director Chen wiped his face helplessly. The front desk staff at this kind of hotel usually speaks English. "Can't you communicate in English?" "I don't even know English." Shen Feng nodded. This is the price of not studying hard at school. After entering the hotel, Director Chen and other members of the team were basically crowded in a large room, while Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan stayed in one room. Although Director Chen is a bit stingy, he is still very attentive in filming the show. The hotel we chose not only has a Japanese style, but also has a sweet and warm decoration, making it suitable for couples. Take the room where Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan live. For example, it not only has Japanese tatami mats and Japanese-style paper-pasted wooden shoji doors, but also Japanese attire such as kimonos and gete are specially prepared in the room. Zhang Wanwan looked at the kimono on the bed and suddenly remembered an anime plot that she had seen from somewhere. It seems that the heroine is wearing a kimono, and the hero is pulling the straps of the kimono on the heroine, and the heroine is spinning like a top. It's quite fun. Zhang Wanwan immediately told Shen Feng about this idea, and said with anticipation, "Fengzi, how about we try it too?" There was something a little strange in Shen Feng's eyes. His eldest brother wears a kimono. If you think about it, it should be cute. Chen Chang was still thinking. Zhang Wanwan picked up the women's kimono and said to Shen Feng, "Fengzi, don't just stand there, put it on quickly." Shen Feng, isn't it you who wants to wear it?" Zhang Wanwan blinked her eyes. "How can I wear it? How can I experience the feeling of pulling the straps and being spun in circles if I wear it?" "So you want to be the cool one? Otherwise, what's the point of being the one being dragged?" She said it with confidence. But Shen Feng didn't wear it in the end. It's not that he doesn't listen to Zhang Wanwan, but mainly because he has important things to do. The driver knows that our destination is Kawakami Hotel, so he will definitely bring people here soon. I have to deal with these people first. Zhang Wanwan looked at Shen Feng with a worried look on her face. "Nothing will happen, right?" "Don't worry, nothing will happen to me." Shen Feng smiled. "I mean, those robbers won't get into trouble because of you, right?" Shen Feng. Seeing Shen Feng narrow his eyes, Zhang Wanwan immediately smiled sweetly again, hugged Shen Feng and kissed him. "Be good, I was just kidding. But you'd better be careful. After all, you are in a foreign country and you are unfamiliar with the place." Shen Cheng rubbed Zhang Wanwan's hair and then left the room. He walked to the entrance of the hotel and looked at the car he had just parked in a very conspicuous position on the roadside. As he expected, there were several people with unfriendly looks hanging around the car. Among them was the driver who had previously taken Shen Sheng and Zhang Wanwan to the hospital. Shen Feng pressed the unlock button on the car key, and the car immediately made a beep sound. These people were so frightened that they trembled. One of them slipped and almost fell down. When these people came to their senses, they immediately looked around. The driver soon spotted Shen Feng standing at the door of the hotel, and immediately shouted and rushed towards Shen Feng with his men. Shen Feng didn't run away, and walked towards them. Then he asked the driver in Japanese, "Where's the money I asked for? Did you get it? Your life might not be saved today, and you still dare to ask for money." The driver was already furious after what Shen Feng had done to him, and was about to swing the iron rod in his hand towards Shen Feng. Shen Feng threw the car keys to the driver, who sneered, "Did you think I would be fooled like before, taking the keys and letting you take away my weapons? Naive, the same trick can only be used once against gangsters." He had just finished speaking. Shen Feng kicked the driver's calf and knocked him down. "It's not like I can't beat you unless I take your weapon." Shen Feng said this and looked at the other people behind the driver. Finally, he fixed his sights on the eldest brother. You can tell at first glance that this big brother's temperament is different from that of the other little brothers. At least he is much heavier than the other little brothers. The eldest brother also looked at Shen Feng, took a cigarette and said, "Boy, you are quite capable. No wonder you dared to rob our car. But you should be able to see that you are only one person and we have more than a dozen people. If you want to fight us, you are still far behind. How about this? We don't ask for more money from you, just 500,000, if you hand over the money. I will let you go if you don't." The eldest brother sneered and walked towards Shen Feng with his weapon in hand. However, before he could do anything to Shen Feng, from the other end of the street, the sound of a police car was heard. Soon, several police cars stopped at the entrance of the hotel, and more than a dozen policemen got out and surrounded the big brother and others. The eldest brother stared at Shen Feng. "Did you call the police?" "Yes." "Do you have any respect for the rules of the underworld? How can you call the police? I'm not from the underworld. What rules do I have to follow?" Seeing the police coming to arrest him, the eldest brother hurriedly said, "Comrade, wait a minute. Don't get me wrong, you shouldn't arrest us but him." The eldest brother pointed at Shen Feng and said, "He was the one who tried to blackmail us first and stole our car. We chased him here to get our car back. We are the victims, and he is the villain who filed the complaint first." Although the eldest brother felt that his use of the phrase, "the wicked are the first to complain," was somewhat ironic towards himself, but he thought he was telling the truth. If Shen Feng hadn't driven their car away, would they have chased them here? The police listened to the eldest brother. First, I looked at the big brother and the younger brothers who were carrying their weapons. He looked at the unarmed Shen Feng again. Finally, they surrounded the eldest brother again. "No, I'm telling the truth. The truth, he was the one who robbed us first. Hey, can you please be reasonable? If you keep doing this, be careful or we'll attack you." Seeing the police approaching, the eldest brother raised his weapon and said fiercely, "We have just as many people as you do. If you don't want to fight to the death, get out of here." The police saw this, pulled out the gun. The eldest brother immediately put down his weapon and squatted on the spot with his hands on his head. "Brother, I'm sorry, I offended you." After dealing with the eldest brother and his gang, Shen Feng returned to the hotel. As soon as I opened the door of the hotel room, I saw Zhang Wanwan rolling on the bed in a kimono. It looks like a rolled sushi. Shen Feng suppressed his smile and asked Zhang Wanwan, "Brother Wan, what are you doing?" "I want to try on this kimono, but the straps are too hard to tie, so I can only try to roll it onto my body on the bed." Zhang Wanwan probably felt that her previous actions were a bit silly, and said with a red face. Shen Feng walked to Zhang Wanwan with a smile and tied the straps for her one by one. After tying it, Zhang Wanwan excitedly said to Shen Feng, all right, pull it quickly and see if you can make me spin in circles." Shen Feng pulled hard. Zhang Wanwan, who was almost strangled, spat out a mouthful of blood. It turns out, the animations are all lies. Chapter 387 Retired Soldier King. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan came to Japan with director Chen, and were considered the first group of guests in the program crew to arrive in Japan. The other guests arrived in Japan 3 or 5 days later, after the program crew had made general preparations for the filming of the first episode. Like the first season of Date, this season's regular guests are still 8 people, or 4 pairs of couples, and one of the couples was an acquaintance of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, Xiaozu, Sidiyu. Since these two hugged each other at the final performance of Youth Group, and made their relationship public, they have gained a lot of CP fans. Xiaozu gave up the opportunity to go on stage for Sidiyu, and Sidiyu performed a stunning dance for Xiaozu. The perfect performance of Shiki on Qyu fully brought out the CP feeling between the two. Among the new generation of stars apart from Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, and Li Tingting and Jia Tenan, the more popular ones are Sidiyu and Xiaozu. Of course, we have to invite them to the second season of Date. Among the other three pairs, two of them have average popularity and are considered to be amateur-like stars who have just debuted. The remaining pair are more powerful. The remaining couple are not lovers, or it could be said that this program was not specifically designed to find lovers to participate. After all, when Shen Feng and Jiang Wanwan were found in the first season, the two had not yet officially announced their relationship. Li Ting and Jia Ten also confirmed their relationship after participating in the program. Of the remaining pair, the man's name was Zhang Xiaolong and the woman's name was Xu Yan. Xu Yan is a second-tier actress and an artist affiliated with Phoenix Entertainment, the same company that Fu Yan used to work for. In terms of her popularity, she is on the same level as the currently popular Jia Nan and Li Ting. She can be said to be a big star. But the really powerful one is Zhang Xiaolong. Zhang Xiaolong also came from Phoenix Entertainment and is still a newcomer. But he has been very popular recently, because there were rumors on the internet that Zhang Xiaolong was once a foreign mercenary. And some even said he was a military king. Now the soldier king has retired and returned to China, where he was discovered by a scout and became a star. The stupid netizens love to read novels about military kings. Now that they see that there is a military king who retired and became a star in real life, they naturally pay close attention to Zhang Xiaolong. Moreover, Zhang Xiaolong is quite capable. He is very handsome and participated in a survival program when he debuted. He also showed strong personal abilities in the program and almost supported the survival of the entire team by himself. That program was broadcast when Shen Feng and Jiang Wanwan were on vacation. It can be said that it just captured the empty hearts of netizens and attracted quite a number of viewers to become fans of Zhang Xiaolong. Some people even say that Shen Feng's title of all-around idol should be given to others, and that Zhang Xiaolong is still stronger. In addition to these four couples and Shen Sheng and Jiang Wanwan, Director Chen also invited Jianan and Li Ting as special guests for the first episode. It can be said that the popularity of the first issue has been maximized. With only 2 days left before the first episode officially starts live streaming, fans on Weibo were so anxious that they were spinning in circles. Kawakami Hotel, Japan. Shen Feng and Jiang Wanwan had nothing to do these days. Basically just going out for a walk and taking in the scenery. The weather outside is nice today, and Jiang Wanwan said she wanted to go to the riverside to get some fresh air and some sunshine. The people were in the elevator and were about to go downstairs when a person suddenly squeezed into the elevator. It was that Zhang Xiaolong. Zhang Xiaolong was wearing loose clothes and seemed a little disheveled. He glanced at Shen Feng and Jiang Wanwan without saying hello, but he glanced at Jiang Wanwan twice more. If Shen Feng hadn't put his arm around Jiang Wanwan and glanced coldly at Zhang Xiaolong, he probably wouldn't have looked away. Moreover, he only took the elevator down 1 floor, from the 13th floor to the 12th floor. When he got out of the elevator, Jiang Wanwan couldn't help but frown and complain. People on the internet say he is a soldier king. How can a soldier king be so sloppy and lazy that he has to take the elevator to the next floor? If you had the time to squeeze into the elevator, why didn't you take the stairs down a long time ago? Shen Sheng didn't have a good impression of Zhang Xiaolong. Zhang Xiaolong has been here for 2 days and we have had meals together several times. Not only did he show obvious hostility towards Shen Feng several times, he also always liked to stare at Jiang Wanwan. His room was originally on the 12th floor. Do you know why he came down from the 13th floor? Shen Sheng suddenly asked Jiang Wanwan. He felt that Jiang Wanwan probably couldn't guess the reason. But seeing the look on Jiang Wanwan's face when she complained about Zhang Xiaolong, he still asked. Of course it's because he just came out of Xu Yan's room. What Shen Feng didn't expect was that Jiang Wanwan actually told the truth directly. And it seemed that she was not guessing. While waiting for the elevator to go down, Jiang Wanwan leaned on Shen Feng's arms and analyzed to Shen Feng. Not only is his clothing disheveled, there are lipstick marks on his clothes and neck, and he is still wearing yesterday's clothes. Except for Xiao Jia. The only person living on the 13th floor is Xu Yan. It is obvious that he must have stayed in Xu Yan's room all night and only came out now. As for what he did in between TSK, Jiang Wanwan sneered. Good job, brother Wan, you're awesome. I don't usually see you being so smart. Shen Sheng applauded Jiang Wanwan. Wait a minute. Are you praising me? Jiang Wanwan glared at Shen Feng. Shen Feng smiled, stroked Jiang Wanwan's fur in a soothing manner, and then said, but what you saw today was indeed quite accurate. Of course, this is a woman's instinct, so Fengzi, if you do something like this with another woman one day, I can tell at a glance, do you understand? Shen Sheng spread his hands. Do you think I'm that kind of person? You're definitely not that kind of person. But there's no guarantee that others won't have some thoughts about you. Jiang Wanwan said twice. If nothing else, I feel that Xu Yan's eyes are not right when he looks at you these past few days. Neither she nor Zhang Xiaolong seem to be good people. Does Phoenix Entertainment only recruit people like this? Zhang Wanwan is not stupid, at least not as stupid as she was when she was pregnant. Zhang Wanwan had long felt that Xu Yan and Zhang Xiaolong were not good people. Speaking of which, I suspect that Zhang Xiaolong is an image that Phoenix Entertainment created specifically to target you. He is also an all-round idol, and debuted during the break between you and me. He also showed more talents than you in the show, and every time they market themselves, they try to target you. Zhang Wanwan said with a frown. It's fine if you try to scam me. Shen Feng didn't care. I don't care about the title of an all-around idol anyway. Just the title of Zhang Wanwan's husband is enough for me. Well, your little mouth is still as sweet as before. Zhang Wanwan nodded with satisfaction. Shen Feng smiled and leaned over, looking at her and said, "It's sweeter when you kiss. Do you want to try it?" Zhang Wanwan has become much braver since she had a child. The AJI kissed Shen Feng on the mouth. But just as the kiss fell, Zhang Wanwan suddenly heard a coughing sound behind her. She was startled and turned around to find that the elevator had reached the first floor without her noticing. A waiter and a dozen guests waiting for the elevator were standing in front of the wide-open elevator door, looking at Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan in the elevator. Some people took out their mobile phones and seemed to be taking pictures, while some guests with children covered their children's eyes with their hands. A child tried to pry open the adult's fingers. The waiter smiled awkwardly but politely and said, "Smith Marseille." Zhang Wanwan's face suddenly turned red. She was so embarrassed that she didn't know whether to go out or not. Fortunately, Shen Feng is thick-skinned. He picked up Zhang Wanwan in a princess hug, ignored the gazes of the people around him, and walked out of the elevator. A guest who was waiting to get on the elevator next to him said something to Shen Feng, and Shen Feng smiled and nodded at him. After the guests got on the elevator, Zhang Wanwan jumped down from Shen Feng's arms with a red face and asked awkwardly, "Just now what did that person say to you?" "He said he had just taken a picture and asked me if he could post it online. And I agreed." Zhang Wanwan punched Shen Feng lightly with her little pink fist. "You are shameless. How dare you let someone post such an embarrassing photo online?" "What do you mean by shameless?" Shen Feng rubbed Zhang Wanwan's head. "We are an old couple and have children. What are you afraid of?" "Who's old? Watch your words. You are old, and so am I." "Ah?" Zhang Wanwan's eyes became dangerous. Shen Feng smiled and said, "You are so beautiful, I love you so much." Chapter 388. He said he was a soldier king, and you really believed it? 2 days later, before 8 o'clock in the morning, there were already hundreds of thousands of viewers hunkering down in the Leap broadcast room of Let's Start Dating Today Season 2. It can be said that the popularity of this second season is a world apart from when the first season was first aired. Director Chen recalled that when the first season was just aired last year, there were only a few thousand people in the live broadcast room at its lowest. If it weren't for Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan supporting the show, let alone filming the second season, they would probably have been out of business before the first season was finished. Director Chen was very emotional. At this time in the lobby of Kawakami Hotel, Director Chen had already set up the equipment and was ready for the live broadcast. The guests also came downstairs one after another and arrived at the hall. But when everyone else arrived, Zhang Xiaolong and Xu Yan were nowhere to be seen. It was almost 8 o'clock, the time for the show to be broadcast live. But the two people had not arrived yet. Director Chen couldn't help but frown. What's wrong with these two people? We agreed to meet at 7:30, but it's already 8 o'clock and it's too late to put on makeup. Why haven't they come yet? He called both of them but no one answered. So he had to ask his men to go upstairs to call for help. By the time the two men came downstairs, it was already 8:05. The screens of the audience waiting to watch the show in the Leap broadcast room were almost bursting with messages. Director Chen's original intention was to start the Leap broadcast first to calm the audience's emotions, and then find time to fix Xu Yan and Zhang Xiaolong's makeup after the live broadcast started. When Zhang Xiaolong heard what Director Chen said, he frowned. As a director, you only care about the interests of your own show and not the image of the guests, right? Xu Yan and I just woke up, so we should at least put on some makeup, right? Otherwise, our haters will target us for our bare faces. I really doubt if you are from the entertainment industry, and if you know what's best for you. Director Chen is already so old, and at most he was tricked by Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan before. This is the first time that I have been scolded by a young person for being ignorant. Director Chen opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but Zhang Xiaolong had already shouted, "Makeup artist! Where's the makeup artist I brought with me? Hurry up! What are you standing there for? Go put on my makeup." Seeing him like this, Jayatnam couldn't help himself. Because of Zhang Xiaolong's marketing tactics of trying to extort money from Shen Feng, he has always had a bad impression of Zhang Xiaolong. Now seeing that Zhang Xiaolong was not only late but also scolded Director Chen, he started to mock him. "You are not that famous, but you still care about your image. If you really care about your image, why don't you get up earlier and put on makeup? What's the meaning of the Mercenary King retiring? The Mercenary King who slept in until after 8 o'clock. I think you didn't retire but were fired. Zhang Xiaolong, who was about to put on makeup, frowned when he heard this. Although he didn't say anything, he deliberately bumped into Jay Atnan when he passed by him. Jay Itnan was not very tall to begin with, and Zhang Xiaolong was over 1.8 meters tall. The collision caused Jay Itnan to stagger and almost fall. Hey, what are you doing? Li Tingting hurriedly supported her husband, then glared at Zhang Xiaolong and yelled. He can't speak. I'll teach him. Do you have any objections? Zhang Xiaolong looked at Li Tingting coldly. His condescending look made Li Tingting subconsciously take a step back. If you don't put on makeup now, the show will start at 9 o'clock. By then, you will definitely have to give an explanation to the audience. You want us to say on Weibo that the live broadcast was postponed for so long because of you? That would have a greater impact on your image. At this moment, Shen Feng's voice came from the side. Zhang Xiaolong turned his head to look at Shen Feng, then snorted coldly and took Xu Yan to find a place to put on makeup. After he left, Li Tingting supported Ji Atnan and asked, "Are you okay? Where did he hit you?" "Nothing, just a little sore." Jay Atnan rubbed his shoulder. Judging from his appearance, it must still be in pain. Liu Yaside frowned and said to Director Chen, "Director Chen, this season you are looking for guests like this? I didn't find this. Phoenix Entertainment paid for it and brought it in." Director Chen was also helpless, and I didn't know he had this kind of personality. He was marketed as warm and kind on the internet before. The most important thing is that it's impossible to replace him now because the show is about to start. Even if it's not broadcasting, it won't be easy to change it. Shen Feng suddenly said. "I've noticed him before. His number of fans has increased a lot since he participated in the previous survival variety show. Together with Xu Yan, their fans must account for about 15 of the audience. If we just replace them, the fans will definitely be unhappy. Even if we say they are misbehaving, the fans and the internet trolls will always find ways to whitewash them, and we will probably be the ones in the wrong." Zhang Wanwan nodded. Zhang Wanwan was familiar with the affairs in the entertainment industry, and she knew that what Shen Feng said was absolutely correct. She had encountered a similar situation when filming before, and the actor was even more arrogant than Zhang Xiaolong. The actor even hit the director, and the director was so angry that he fired the actor. But as soon as the actor played the victim on Weibo and hired some internet trolls to post comments, the fans started to think that the director and crew were at fault. In the end, not only did the entire movie fail to be filmed, but the director was also scolded by his crazy fans and left the country to develop his career abroad. Or he even won several major awards. At the award ceremony, the director bluntly said that he was forced to come abroad because of the domestic entertainment environment. Behind Zhang Xiaolong is Phoenix Entertainment. To be honest, Director Chen alone cannot compete with such a big company. What should I do? I don't want to shoot several episodes with this kind of person, a new female guest whispered. He forced me to give him my WeChat ID before, and kept sending me weird messages on WeChat. They even knocked on my door at night. If I had known there was such a person on this show, I would never have come. It's actually quite easy to deal with him, Shen Feng said. He glanced at the direction where Zhang Xiaolong was going to get his makeup done, then slowly said, "Since it's risky for us to fire him, let's force him to leave the show himself." Director Chen, show me the games segments you designed today. Director Chen handed the prepared process to Shen Feng. Shen Feng took it, glanced at it, and then made some changes. When Director Chen took back the process and looked at it, he was stunned. "Xiaoshen, you are too cruel, aren't you? This Zhang Xiaolong said he is a retired mercenary king. Is it really okay for you to go against him like this?" Shen Feng smiled and said, "He said he was the soldier king. And you really believed him? I checked the internet before and found out that the mercenary group Zhang Xiaolong was in did exist. But I didn't find any information about Zhang Xiaolong. Instead, I saw Zhang Xiaolong's resume in the recruitment of this mercenary group a few years ago. But the mercenary group gave him a C, which means he was unqualified. In other words, his only connection with the mercenary group is that he submitted his resume to the group. Although he is called the top soldier, he is not even a rookie. Since he likes to make trouble for me, let him do it to his heart's content today. I promise that by the end of tonight's recording, he will definitely quit the show on his own initiative." Although Director Chen was still a little worried, after thinking about it, he finally nodded and said, "Well, okay, then let's do as you say. Thank you, Xiaoshan, for helping me so much. We are all friends, it's too far to say thank you." Zhang Wanwan stood up and said to Director Chen with a smile, "Why not give more salary?" Chapter 389, Should I copy it so thoroughly? By the time Zhang Xiaolong finished putting on his makeup and came back, it was almost 9 o'clock. At this moment, countless people on Weibo have raised questions about Dating Season 2. and Director Chen's official Weibo accounts. Some people who took time off specifically to watch the show have even started cursing. They said that the program crew had become inflated, acted like big shots, and no longer respected the audience. Director Chen had no choice but to apologize to everyone on Weibo, and said that because there were some problems with the on-site equipment abroad, he had to postpone the broadcast time. After Director Chen posted this Weibo, Chen Feng took the time to contact Sister Lin. Although Sister Lin is now King King's secretary, if there are any matters related to the entertainment industry, Sister Lin can still help Chen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. Chen Feng asked Sister Lin to find some internet trolls in China to spread the news that the delay in filming the Dating Season 2 was due to Zhang Xiaolong's arrogance and even beating up other guests on the spot. He also told Sister Lin not to hire too many internet trolls, as it would be enough to just attract a little attention from netizens. As Chen Feng expected, after the Water Army posted similar messages, they were attacked by Zhang Xiaolong's fans not long after. They also said that this was an attempt to shift the blame and whitewash the program crew. This is just the message sent by Chen Feng using the internet trolls. If the official Weibo account posted a message saying that the delay in the broadcast was due to Zhang Xiaolong's fault, one can imagine how harshly the official Weibo account would be criticized. Seeing Zhang Xiaolong and Xu Yan coming back, Chen Feng put away his phone. Let's Start Dating Today Season 2 has finally officially started airing. When the screen in the live broadcast room lit up, netizens who had been waiting in front of the room for an hour, or even several hours, finally breathed a sigh of relief. Some viewers who were typing to curse the program crew were busy deleting the swear words in the input box and changed it to a sentence. It's finally airing. Looking at the large screen of "It's finally airing," and a few swear words mixed in, Director Chen felt deeply moved. He prepared even more attentively for the second season than for the first, because he knew that without guests of the level of Chen Feng and Zhang Wanwan this season, if he wanted to attract audiences, he would have to rely on the quality of the program itself. I didn't expect such a disgusting thing to happen on the first day of the live broadcast. It's a good thing that Chen Feng is here to help think of ideas. Otherwise, Director Chen feels that this entire season of Date might be ruined by Zhang Xiaolong. Well, dear audience friends, we meet again. After calming down, Director Chen picked up the microphone and greeted the audience with a smile. After a year of rest, our Let's Start Dating Today Season 2 officially starts today. This season, we not only come to a new country, but also invite new guests and prepare new trials and challenges. This season, let's carry on the love survival variety show to the end. Classic love survival. I don't know which group is responsible for love and which group is responsible for survival this season. Why can't Wanwan and Fengzi come back as permanent guests? Is this the only episode we can see them in? I think this season Zhang Xiaolong and Xu Yan will definitely take over Fengzi Wanwan's position from the first season. Zhang Xiaolong seems to be even better than Fengzi. And Xu Yan is pretty too. I'm quite optimistic about this pair. Zhang Xiaolong is better than Fengzi? Come on, Fengzi is a Superman who can do everything except giving birth to a child. Superman, what the hell? Our Xiaolong is a retired soldier. Have you seen Xiaolong's previous movie Man vs. Wild? He led all the other guests to survive in the rainforest for 20 days and even beat a wolf with his bare hands. Can Chen Feng do it? Didn't a blogger publish an article analyzing that Zhang Xiaolong's survival scenes were all staged? The wolf fighting scenes seem to have been staged long ago. From storyboards to camera positions, can this kind of staged scene be compared with Fengzi's? Some bloggers said that it was a staged photo, and you really believed it? And you use your brain? I also said that your Shen Feng was staged in all the photos. I have to say that this season's audience is indeed much larger than when the first season first aired. Not only do Chen Feng and Zhang Wanwan have enough fans, but Zhang Xiaolong, who has become popular in the past 6 months, also brought a lot of fans with him. With so many people around, things are bound to get chaotic. As soon as Director Chen finished his opening remarks, people started arguing in the barrage. Director Chen pretended not to see anything. He definitely couldn't get involved in this kind of verbal fight. Otherwise he would get into trouble. He pretended nothing had happened and continued. Now, let me introduce our new members and our special guests. Director Chen gave a brief introduction of the guests who had come. And then, just like in the first season, he simply divided the guests into groups. The people in the same group must be Zhang Xiaolong and Xu Yan. When Director Chen asked them to think of a name for their group, Xu Yan supported his chin with his fingers and thought for a while in a slightly pretentious manner. Then he murmured, Zhang Xiaolong, Xu Yan, Long Yan. Director Chen nodded. Is your group going to be called the Long Yan Group? No, we should be called the Daiyue Group, because the Emperor is very pleased. Xu Yan showed a very sweet and lovely smile and spoke with a cheerful look. Yan really doesn't follow the rules. How can she be named like this? This naming method is so unique, I love it. The little sister is so cute. I'm a fan. Some old fans of the show saw Xu Yan's familiar naming method and looked at the barrage of comments posted by Xu Yan's fans above and couldn't help but complain. No, this is a copy of my elder brother's character too thoroughly, isn't it? That is to say, in the first season, 1G, the evening breeze gently blows over Penghu Bay, and this Xu Yan in the second season comes, the emperor is very pleased. This is the same routine as 1G, and you still call it not playing by the routine? And Xu Yan's fans and internet trolls, please stop bragging. Have you really not watched the first season? When Xu Yan's fans saw this, they immediately started to criticize her. What do you mean by copy? Why Yan is just like this, is that not okay? Why can Zhang Wanwan be named like this, but Yan can't? Is this double standard? I'm just a casual person. I think these two naming methods are different. I don't think Yan is copying Zhang Wanwan's personality. If it were me, I might also come up with this group name. I think it's fine. Director Chen took the time to look at the comments and felt even more melancholy. The filming of this second season was so bumpy. The first wave of quarrels had just subsided when the second wave started. But to be fair, Director Chen himself also felt that Xu Yan was imitating Zhang Wanwan's routine in the first season, but he didn't know what to say, so after several groups of guests had chosen their group names, he continued to announce the tasks for today's for groups of permanent guests into groups of special guests. Because we have invited to special guests today, the rules for this episode will be very special. You will go to Tokyo Amusement Park later and take on the challenges of the rides there. After completing the challenge, each group of guests will receive 200 yen from the program team, which is roughly equivalent to 10 yuan in China. What's special is that the permanent guests will bring their own 200 yen financial allowance, and the two groups of special guests will bring their own 0 yen financial allowance. The regular guests can choose to challenge the special guests at any time. Once the challenge is successful, they can snatch 500 yen from the other party. There is no penalty for failed challenges, and there is no limit to the number of challenges. That's all I have to say. If everyone is ready, let's go. Director Chen said this as he prepared to lead the team to set off. The convoy he had booked had been waiting outside for an hour. But Zhang Xiaolong raised his hand again and said, "Director, wait a moment. I want to use the 200 yen subsidy given by the program team to buy some breakfast first." Director Chen frowned and said, "We haven't even left the hotel yet. There's no need for you to rush to buy breakfast, right? I don't really need to, but my brother Yan said she was hungry. So I'll buy her something to eat first." Zhang Xiaolong looked at Xu Yan with deep affection and said, "I can't bear to let brother Yan go to the show hungry." Xu Yan also cooperated and blinked pitifully. "Xiaolong is so cute. Let her eat, let her eat. Director, can you bear to let her starve? These two people are so sweet." Anyone who can post such comments is obviously either a fan of Zhang Xiaolong or a fan of Xu Yan. Or they could simply be internet trolls hired by Phoenix Entertainment. And those old fans who have watched the first season of Data are really going to be annoyed now. Let's put aside the issue of whether to pamper or not for now. What the hell is brother Yan? They even copy their elder brother's name and try to imitate their elder brother's personality as a foodie. You really need to copy it so thoroughly? Chapter 390. I can't say I know it, but I understand it a little bit. This is also true for Zhang Xiaolong and Xu Yan. Do you really think their fans can compare to you? They copied their personalities so thoroughly. Aren't they just waiting to be scolded? On the way to the amusement park, the photographer of the program crew was sitting in a car with Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, but the camera was not turned on for the time being. He was the unlucky photographer who followed Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan all the way last year and ate dog food all the way. And after going through the torture of the first season, he has finally made it and become the show's chief photography director. That is, in this first episode, he will help follow Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. In the following episodes, he will be responsible for camera management and will no longer need to follow the guests around to eat dog food. The photographer is naturally a diehard fan of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. He is very resistant to the obvious imitation of Zhang Xiaolong and Xu Yan's personalities in the morning. Shen Feng smiled but didn't care much. He said casually, "Phoenix Entertainment doesn't have a suitable pillar right now. We urgently need a star like me and Wanwan, or Fuyan back then, who is popular enough to support the show. If you want to promote someone like this in a short period of time, the best way is to try to influence other popular stars. Zhang Xiaolong started to promote me half a year ago. This time he joined the show to replicate my and Wanwan's personalities. It was also for the purpose of promoting me. He also wanted to replicate my and Wanwan's success. There is always a lack of fresh blood on the internet. There are always new viewers who have not watched me, and Wanwan will go to see Zhang Xiaolong and Xu Yan and will be attracted by them. Especially after Wan and I participate in this first episode. Our fans will definitely drop sharply in the next few episodes. And the number of people scolding Zhang Xiaolong will decrease. If he can complete the filming normally, even if his fans won't increase as fast as ours, it's not impossible for him to become a top star. In fact, what Shen Feng said was already conservative. If Phoenix Entertainment was willing to spend a lot of money on marketing, it would be very easy for Zhang Xiaolong and Xu Yan to become famous. But to be honest, Shen Feng doesn't care too much about others imitating him and becoming famous, because he knew that no matter how much others imitated him, they could not copy his 800 years of knowledge. So if Zhang Xiaolong and Xu Yan behaved themselves, Shen Feng wouldn't bother to care about them. But Zhang Xiaolong went a little too far this morning. Even if Shen Feng just wanted to prevent Zhang Xiaolong from ruining the show date, which was very meaningful to him, he had to make Zhang Xiaolong get out of the show himself. And in another car, Zhang Xiaolong leaned back in his car seat and sneered. I didn't expect that in the first episode of this show, the rules would be so favorable to me. The regular guests can challenge the special guests. Isn't this just paving the way for me to challenge Shen Feng? As long as we challenge Shen Feng a few more times and make them lose all their money, will the audience still not be able to tell who is truly almighty? Xu Yan glanced at Zhang Xiaolong and said with some disdain, aren't you afraid that if you lose to Shen Feng, you will be the one who is embarrassed in the end? Just kidding, although I'm not a proper mercenary. I have received a lot of training before. If I can't even beat a pretty boy star in China, then I'll quit. Zhang Xiaolong snorted coldly. Xu Yan didn't say anything, but she always felt a little uneasy. Zhang Xiaolong only returned to China more than half a year ago, so he doesn't know Shen Feng very well. He always felt that Shen Feng's all-round personality, like his Soldier King personality, was all marketing. But Xu Yan has always been in China, and she even watched the first season of Date. She didn't think that those live broadcast shots were staged. To be honest, Xu Yan really thought Shen Feng was amazing. Zhang Xiaolong went to fight Shen Feng even though Zhang Xiaolong was one of their own. Xu Yan felt that Shen Feng would have a greater chance of winning, but she couldn't do anything about it. It's the company's arrangement. And it's because Zhang Xiaolong is the illegitimate son of the company's boss abroad. If not for this, Xu Yan would not let such an arrogant man climb into her bed. What she likes is Shen Feng's personality. Tokyo Amusement Park. After arriving here, Director Chen collected the mobile phones of all the guests and distributed basic subsidies to each group of guests. Xu Yan and Zhang Xiaolong's group had no money left because they had received the subsidy in advance to buy breakfast. The other three groups of guests were quite careful when spending money. For example, the group of Xiaozu and Situyu. Xiaozu, who was in charge of the money, did not take Situyu to buy food in the amusement park. Instead, they took a detour and bought some affordable food at a nearby convenience store. If you eat sparingly, you can even have 2 meals. Although the other two groups were not as meticulous as Xiaozu, they were also eager to break $1 into 2 halves to spend. They have basically watched the first season and know how miserable the next few days will be if they have no money. Xu Yan and Zhang Xiaolong's group had already spent all their subsidies, but they didn't seem to be panicked at all. Xu Yan said she was thirsty, and Zhang Xiaolong said, it's okay if you're thirsty, I'll go buy you something to drink. But we have no money. Isn't it just money? Don't worry. It will be there soon. Xu Yan and Zhang Xiaolong were performing a duet in unison. After they finished speaking, Zhang Xiaolong walked towards Shen Feng and Zhang Wan, who were strolling in the amusement park, because they have a lot of money in their pockets. Shen Feng and Zhang Wan are not in a hurry to take on challenges to make money. This is Zhang Wan's first time to visit the Tokyo amusement park, and Shen Feng plans to take her around first. However, before they had walked around for long, Zhang Xiaolong and Xu Yan blocked their way. What's the matter? Shen Feng knew Zhang Xiaolong's intention, and even this so-called challenge was specially designed by him to deal with Zhang Xiaolong. But he still pretended to be ignorant and asked Zhang Xiaolong in a harmless manner. Nothing, I just want to challenge you. I remember that if the special guest wins the challenge, he can get 500 yen, right? Director Chen held the intercom and said, yes, and you can choose the challenge. So? That's a bit unfair to teacher Shen Feng. Zhang Xiaolong smiled. After all, I am a retired mercenary. It is already bullying for me to participate in this kind of variety show. If I choose the challenge items, isn't that even more bullying? How about this, Mr. Shen Feng, you choose. Although Zhang Xiaolong is not a real mercenary, he believes that he is much stronger than ordinary people, otherwise he would not have submitted his resume and application to the mercenary organization. In his opinion, Shen Feng was just an ordinary person who was ruthless in marketing, and there was nothing to be afraid of. No need, just follow the rules. After all, I'm a senior who participated in the first season. Isn't it bullying to let me choose? Shen Chang said with a smile. looking very easy to talk to. Zhang Xiaolong looked at his smiling face and couldn't help but sneer in his heart. You can only laugh now. Later, I will win a few games against you and make you lose all your money and face. Let's see how you can still laugh. Thinking about it, Zhang Xiaolong looked around and finally chose a nearby entertainment activity go-kart. Xiaolong, can you drive a go-kart? Zhang Xiaolong smiled and said, I understand a little bit. The old audience, who had been a little nervous since Zhang Xiaolong went to challenge Shenfeng, finally exploded after hearing the words, I have a little understanding. You copied even the basics, didn't you? I really can't stand it. Shenfeng was so cool when he said he had a basic understanding. Why does this guy seem to deserve a beating when he says it? You know nothing. From what he said just now about bullying, I felt that he deserved a beating. Did he look down on Feng Zi or something? Did he really think Feng Zi was a pushover? Feng Zi, come on, beat this guy to pieces. Of course Zhang Xiaolong's crazy fans couldn't sit still anymore. I find that Shenfeng's fans are really stupid. Why can you Shenfeng say the same thing, but our Xiaolong can't? That's right. Besides, Xiaolong doesn't look down on Shenfeng. He is just a mercenary and wants to take care of ordinary people. Is that wrong? I think it's Shenfeng who should be crushed. Compared with mercenaries, ordinary people are just a piece of cake. Right? Come on, brother Xiaolong, shut up the other guy's mouth. The fans were about to engage in another war of words. Shensheng couldn't see the barrage, but he didn't care about it either. He just looked at Zhang Xiaolong, seeing his slightly disdainful and mocking eyes, and said, okay, that's better than go-karts. Zhang Xiaolong seemed to be very considerate and asked again, are you sure you can drive? This is different from normal driving. It drives very fast and is also very dangerous. If you can't do it, we can just change someone else after all. I can't bully you. Shensheng slowly narrowed his eyes, smiled and nodded. Although I can't say I'm particularly good at it, but I understand a little bit. Chapter 391. You are so stubborn. It must be easy to break a few bricks. The wind whistled past his ears, and Zhang Xiaolong, who was wearing a helmet, sneered. Although he had never driven this kind of cart when he was abroad before, he had driven a car on the road many times. For him, driving this kind of go-kart, which looks like a child's toy, is not difficult at all. Shenfeng was naive enough to actually agree to compete with him in such a hardcore match. If Shenfeng proposed a dance or singing competition, Zhang Xiaolong wouldn't be sure he would win, but driving a car, he didn't believe that Shenfeng could beat him. After all, he has the courage to step on the accelerator to the bottom and speed up to the top. Can Shenfeng do that? Would a star who makes a living by his looks dare to be as cruel as him? Is Shenfeng capable? He is so much slower than Xiaolong. Isn't it because he doesn't dare to step on the accelerator to the bottom? What a coward. I previously praised her as an all-around idol who can give birth to a child and do everything else. Is this it? In the live broadcast room. At this time, the audience was watching the carts speeding past on the track, one after the other. Although both cars were driving very fast, it was obvious that the cart driven by Shenfeng was lagging behind. Zhang Xiaolong's fans immediately started to show off. However, Shenfeng's fans and old viewers of the show all frowned at this moment. Is there something wrong with Feng Zi's car? I saw him pause when he started. I think so that he should have increased the speed to the lowest possible, but the speed is still not comparable to Zhang Xiaolong's car. The carts in this kind of amusement park are definitely not maintained as diligently as professional grade racing cars. So there are bound to be some problems. Feng Zi seems to be unlucky. Can you please stop blaming the blunt knife for your poor performance? If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. Why blame the car? That's right, how come there is no problem with our Xiaolong's car? You are still making excuses. You can't afford to lose. Right? Zhang Xiaolong's fans still refused to give in. In fact, some of them were invited by Phoenix Entertainment to create chaos. As long as there are 2 or 3 people taking the lead and causing trouble, they can encourage other true fans of Zhang Xiaolong to follow suit. Shenfeng's fans gritted their teeth when reading these people's comments, and were worried about Shenfeng in their hearts. Zhang Wanwan looked at Shenfeng, who was lagging behind, and felt a little worried. She believed in Shenfeng's strength, but if the performance of Shenfeng's car was indeed not as good as Zhang Xiaolong's, could Shenfeng's strength still be saved? Soon, Shenfeng and Zhang Xiaolong drove into a series of bends one after another. Zhang Xiaolong kept turning the steering wheel, constantly changing direction in the curve. Zhang Xiaolong's fans saw him safely past the bend and cheered him on in the barrage. But soon, the fans were somewhat stunned and looked at the car driven by Shenfeng behind Zhang Xiaolong, because Shenfeng, who was originally quite a distance behind Zhang Xiaolong, has now narrowed the gap significantly. The distance between me and Zhang Xiaolong has become extremely close. What's going on? Why is Shenfeng suddenly faster? Is Xiaolong giving in to him? Xiaolong is too kind. No, after passing another bend, Shen Feng's car has caught up with Xiaolong's car. What's going on? Just when these fans were surprised, several rather unique comments suddenly floated out. It's not that Shen Feng is faster, it's that Zhang Xiaolong's cornering skills are too different from Shen Feng's. Although Zhang Xiaolong dared to step on the accelerator, he still had no plan in mind when he reached this kind of curve, and basically took the most conservative route on the road. But Shen Feng's line keeping is absolutely professional level. Cutting from the outside line to the inside line, and then cutting back to the outside line. Although professional racing drivers know the simple outside-inside-outside method, there are probably not many people in the domestic racing circle who can walk as beautifully as Shen Feng. The reason why these barrages are unique is because of the signature in front of them. Lin Zhendong. Even netizens who don't watch racing have heard of his name, because he is the first domestic driver to officially participate in the F1 World Championship, and the only top racing driver to win the F1 trophy for the country. When he made it to the finals that year, he was widely reported by the media. So much so that many netizens who didn't watch racing also went to watch his final race. When he won the championship with a huge advantage of 3 seconds over the second place, it caused a heated discussion on Weibo, and he became one of the Weibo figures of the year that year. So when Lin Zhendong came out, the barrage in the lit broadcast room suddenly exploded. Oh my god, is this a real person or a fake? What kind of monsters are Feng Zi's fans? Could it be that even Master Lin is a fan of Feng Zi? Master Lin, can Feng Zi still win? In response to this question, Lin Zhendong only gave 2 words. Can win. When Zhang Xiaolong's fans saw this, they couldn't sit still. But I can't sit still anymore. It was Zhang Xiaolong who was driving, because after a few turns, Zhang Xiaolong was shocked to find that Shen Feng had started to keep pace with him. The previous gap was easily bridged by just a few turns. Zhang Xiaolong gritted his teeth. The curve, was there something wrong with the way he took the curve? Having never driven a real racing car, he didn't understand what Lin Zhendong meant by outside-inside routing, but he knew that the route he took when he just turned was definitely not the shortest route. As the next turn was approaching, Zhang Xiaolong moved as close to the inside line as possible this time. However, without the professional knowledge that Shen Feng had, he could not judge the best distance for the route and approached the inside line too early, which further increased the distance and difficulty of passing the line. After turning the corner, Shen Feng's car was stuck in front of Zhang Xiaolong's car. Moreover, Shen Feng's car was slightly slower than Zhang Xiaolong's. In order to avoid a collision, Zhang Xiaolong had to let go of the accelerator a little. He wanted to go around Shen Feng, but Shen Feng seemed to have eyes behind him. No matter how Zhang Xiaolong tried to get around Shen Feng could always accurately get in front of Zhang Xiaolong's car. This awkward feeling of not being able to step on the accelerator to the bottom, and not being able to overtake, made Zhang Xiaolong feel so frustrated that he wanted to vomit blood. Why? On what grounds? He should obviously be faster than Shen Feng, so how could Shen Feng surpass him? It's not the first or second time that he has raced on foreign roads. How could a star like Shen Feng have better driving skills than him? Zhang Xiaolong was anxious and angry, but there was nothing he could do. Just when Zhang Xiaolong thought he was bound to lose this time, Shen Feng, who had been stuck in front of him, suddenly took the initiative to move to the outer circle. The vacancy created by this made Zhang Xiaolong's eyes light up. Without hesitation, he stepped on the accelerator again, and relying on the higher vehicle performance than Shen Feng, he directly got into the gap and overtook Shen Feng in an instant. Brother Xiaolong is so handsome. Overtook, so strong. The barrage of comments immediately started to appear. At this time, Zhang Xiaolong's fans didn't have time to post even to comments, because when Zhang Xiaolong stepped on the accelerator and overtook Shen Feng from the inside, the next thing he had to face was a U-turn. The safest way to pass this sharp turn would be to take the outside line. But in order to overtake Shen Feng, Zhang Xiaolong went to the inside line. The sudden sharp turn forced Zhang Xiaolong to turn the steering wheel hard. But it was not easy to control the direction at such a high speed. Even though Zhang Xiaolong steered the car very quickly, his car still crashed into the obstacle course on the side of the road. Zhang Xiaolong had no choice but to step on the brakes in a hurry. But even so, the car still crashed into the obstacle strip. Although Zhang Xiaolong was not seriously injured, he still gritted his teeth and pounded the steering wheel hard with his hands when he saw Shen Feng whizzing past him. Without a doubt, he lost. After the game, Zhang Xiaolong and Shen Feng returned to the entrance. Shen Feng also asked Zhang Xiaolong considerately, "The collision just now wasn't serious, was it? Thanks for your concern. It's not serious." Zhang Xiaolong suppressed his impulse and said in a deep voice. If he wasn't facing the camera, he really wanted to beat up this hypocritical guy. "Oh, it's okay as long as it's not serious, otherwise the production team will have to pay for your medical expenses," Shen Cheng said with a smile. Zhang Xiaolong is really going to hit someone. He was already banging his head against the wall, but Shen Feng was actually concerned about the medical expenses. At this moment, Zhang Wanwan suddenly ran over. He first looked at Shen Feng, and after making sure that Shen Feng was fine, he smiled and said to Zhang Xiaolong, "Not bad, well brother, you are still worthy of praise." Zhang Wanwan's words made Zhang Xiaolong feel much better. He even looked at Shen Feng with a little pride. "So what if you run faster than me? Your wife is praising me now." Zhang Xiaolong felt that Zhang Wanwan also saw his strength. But Zhang Wanwan's next sentence almost made Zhang Xiaolong spit out blood. "Your honesty is really commendable. You said you understand a little bit. And you really do understand a little bit, but you don't understand much. In today's impetuous society, there are really not many people like you who are mentally retarded enough to know their own position. You two are just looking for trouble, aren't you?" Zhang Xiaolong gritted his teeth and glared at Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan smiled and said, "Don't glare at me after all. Even if you glare at me, your eyes are not as big as mine. Besides, how can this be called picking faults? Haven't you seen our performance in the first season? We even dared to confront the director in the first season. It's just a show effect to confront a guest. Can you please stop being so arrogant?" Zhang Xiaolong took a deep breath. "Okay, I can afford it. But I'm just not very good at this project. I won't show mercy in the next challenge." Zhang Wanwan nodded seriously. "How about I recommend a challenging project for you? You can definitely win it." "What? How about using your mouth to break bricks? You have such a strong mouth, it must be easy to break a few bricks, right?" Zhang Xiaolong. He really wants to hit someone. Chapter 390. So sorry, you lost again. Zhang Xiaolong and his fans were a little upset. But Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan's fans were really happy. Fans have been angry since Zhang Xiaolong and Xu Yan copied the characters of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. Now Zhang Wanwan's domineering attitude makes her fans quite satisfied. He never takes any loss and just complains when he's unhappy. This is their youngest brother. Zhang Xiaolong and Xu Yan left temporarily. Although there is no limit to the number of times that the regular guests can challenge the special guests, they cannot continue to challenge forever. This will make the audience feel that Zhang Xiaolong cannot afford to lose. And they will end up making fun of Zhang Xiaolong. This Shen Feng. I never thought he could doctor so well. After leaving, Zhang Xiaolong turned off the microphone and said with gritted teeth. Xu Yan also turned off the microphone, glanced at Zhang Xiaolong, and whispered, "I've said before that you may not be able to beat Shen Feng. It was just an accident. Look at the way he drove. He was definitely a professional. I just happened to bump into his gun." Zhang Xiaolong said angrily, next time I will never pick his specialty again. I want him to lose completely." Zhang Wanwan is right. You are so tough that you can break bricks. What did you say? Nothing. Xu Yan crossed his arms across his chest and turned his head away. About half an hour later, Zhang Xiaolong found Shen Feng again. He challenged Shen Feng again, and this time, he wanted to challenge Shen Feng with bow and arrow. Japanese Kyudo is a tradition, and Tokyo Land itself incorporates many traditional elements. So Tokyo Land also has venues like Kyudo and Kendo for tourists to experience traditional Japanese culture. The two men shot arrows in turn, and the first one to shoot was Zhang Xiaolong. He drew the bow and shot the first arrow, which was an 8-ring. This 8-ring made Zhang Xiaolong's fans in the live broadcast room praise him again. So accurate, just like a professional athlete. He is the king of soldiers after all. Xiaolong is definitely better at using weapons like this. Nice, we will definitely win this time. Yes, that's pretty accurate. Shen Feng also nodded, expressing his approval of Zhang Xiaolong. Zhang Xiaolong sneered, "Don't praise me, we are rivals now. I said I won't show mercy anymore. Even if you praise me, I still won't show mercy. Go all out, Shen Feng is my senior. Don't lose too badly." "Oh." Shen Feng drew his bow and arrow. And after a moment, an arrow flew out. 10 rings. Zhang Xiaolong fans. It was just a stroke of luck. I was able to guess 1 or 2 out of 10 multiple choice questions correctly. But he won't be that lucky next time. Zhang Xiaolong could only comfort himself that Shen Feng was lucky. He bent his bow again and shot his second arrow. 9 rings. Zhang Xiaolong put down the bow. He felt that he was getting better and better. But could Shen Sheng maintain his luck? He looked at Shen Feng and watched Shen Sheng pick up the bow, pick up the arrow, and shoot an arrow. 10 rings. Zhang Xiaolong. How come he is so lucky? It was Zhang Xiaolong's turn again. This time he adjusted his mindset and aimed carefully for a while. Finally, this time he shot a 10 ring. As for Shen Feng, it's also a 10 ring. Zhang Xiaolong got 8 rings. Shen Feng got 10 rings. Zhang Xiaolong scored 7 rings and Shen Feng scored 10 rings. Zhang Xiaolong has 9 rings, Shen Feng still has 10 rings. After being shot from behind, Zhang Xiaolong could no longer remain calm. Once or twice it can be attributed to luck, but 7 or 8 times, it can no longer be explained by luck. Is there something wrong with your bow? After hearing what Zhang Xiaolong said, Shen Feng didn't explain much. Instead, he directly picked up Zhang Xiaolong's bow and shot an arrow at Zhang Xiaolong's target. 10 rings. When Shen Feng finally crushed Zhang Xiaolong with a full ring score, Zhang Xiaolong was about to collapse. The gap is too big. Too big. Let alone Zhang Xiaolong. Even Shen Sheng's old fans and director Chen were somewhat dumbfounded. If Shen Sheng has this ability, why would he still want to be a star? Wouldn't it be better for him to directly participate in the Olympics? Director Chen held the intercom and asked trembling Lai. Interview with Xiao Shen, have you practiced it specifically? Why are you so accurate? Just a little bit. Chen Feng replied casually. As for why it was so accurate, I could have let it go a little. But he asked me to go all out. Although I've never heard of such an outrageous request, I have no choice but to satisfy him. Zhang Xiaolong threw down his bow and left. During this day, Zhang Xiaolong was completely at odds with Shen Feng, because he knew very well that if he didn't beat Shen Feng, then the 2 games he lost today would forever be his shame and the most powerful evidence for being ridiculed by Shen Feng's fans. It is no longer possible for him to replace Shen Feng and become the new top star. He must win at least 2 more games, or at least draw with Shen Feng, so as not to be too embarrassed. But what Zhang Xiaolong himself could not have imagined was, all day today, he never won. After the Kyudo competition, he competed in Kendo and lost. He lost the baseball batting challenge at noon. He lost the game of whack-a-mole. He lost the memory challenge. He lost in all the competitions of intelligence, speed running in haunted houses, and arcade games. In the afternoon, Zhang Xiaolong picked a maze and competed to see who could walk through it faster. He felt that there was definitely no skill required to solve this kind of maze. It all depended on luck. He didn't believe that Shen Feng would still have an advantage, especially when he found the exit of the maze and discovered that it took less than 10 minutes. He felt that he could finally win this time. When he excitedly rushed out of the maze and wanted to declare his victory, but he found that Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan were squatting at the exit of the maze with the photographer and playing landlord. I'm out? Seeing Zhang Xiaolong coming out, Shen Feng just greeted him casually. Then he threw out a bunch of cards, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Zhang Xiaolong. Zhang Xiaolong was numb. He really lost. At first he was still thinking about catching up. But later on, he just wanted to win, even just 1 game. And he couldn't win a single one. In fact, every time, he was crushed by Shen Feng. Let alone Zhang Xiaolong. Even Zhang Xiaolong's fans and the internet trolls hired by Phoenix Entertainment to stir up trouble are too embarrassed to stir up trouble. It's okay to lose 1 or 2 times. Being killed by Shen Feng every time. Doesn't this mean he is inferior to others? No matter how shameless a person is, I can't find any words to praise you. Zhang Xiaolong even became a hot topic because of this and became a laughingstock among many fans of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. Wait until evening. Zhang Xiaolong, who had lost the day, saw the air rifle target shooting competition at the end of the amusement park. Zhang Xiaolong's eyes finally lit up, especially when he met Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, who were also hovering around this project. He rushed over and said, I want to challenge you. Brothers, please stop challenging me, you haven't eaten for a whole day. Zhu Yan is almost starving to death, eat something first. Zhang Wanwan handed the food she bought to Zhang Xiaolong. It's not that she felt sorry for Zhang Xiaolong, but Zhu Yan, who was following behind Zhang Xiaolong, was so pitiful. She looked like she was almost too hungry to walk. Zhang Xiaolong slapped the food out of Zhang Wanwan's hand and crushed it with his foot. Then he glared at Shen Feng and said, Shen Feng, I will definitely beat you this time. Okay. Shen Feng did not refuse and nodded. What do you want to compete in? Shooting targets. I'll accompany you. No. Zhang Xiaolong denied it, and then sneered, your archery is so accurate. Which proves that you have good eyesight, and you must be good at shooting. I won't compete with you in these things. I want to compete with you in gun assembly. I'll take these guns apart, and then we'll put them together. And then we'll shoot at the target, whoever finishes first and hits the target first. Do you dare? Zhang Xiaolong felt that he would definitely win this time. He has come into contact with guns many times in foreign countries. There are more than 1 or 2 that have been dismantled. And Shen Sheng has been in the country all the time. He doesn't believe that Shen Feng has ever touched a gun. And he doesn't believe that Shen Feng can assemble a gun. This time, he will definitely win. Shen Feng took a look at the highly realistic gun and seemed a little hesitant. When Zhang Xiaolong saw Shen Feng hesitated, he felt more confident. Thus tell me if you dare to compete. If you don't, you admit defeat. Are you sure you want to compete? Shen Feng glanced at Zhang Xiaolong and asked. Certainly. Well, let's compete. Zhang Xiaolong disassembled the 2 guns very quickly. and then signaled Xu Yan to prepare for the countdown. When Xu Yan finished the countdown of 3, 2, 1 and shouted the word start, Zhang Xiaolong immediately assembled the gun with swift hands and feet. His hands were shaking not from fear, but from excitement. Because of the excitement of impending victory, he is finally going to beat Shen Feng. He didn't lose completely today. He won, and he is about to win. The moment he assembled the gun body and installed the magazine, a wild and unbridled smile appeared on his face. He raised the gun in his hand and aimed at the flying target in the sky. But just before he was about to hit the target, the flying target exploded directly with a gunshot. Zhang Xiaolong's expression froze. He turned his head blankly and looked at Shen Feng beside him. Shen Feng was holding a assembled gun in his hand. And his finger had just released the trigger. I almost lost this time. You are really good with guns. Shen Feng said this and put down his rifle. It's just that unfortunately, I also know a little bit about it. So sorry, you lose again. Chapter 393. Next stop. Summer Festival. It is very difficult to break down a person who is extremely confident, but it's also very simple. As long as this person is completely defeated again and again, his former self-confidence will turn into a sharp blade of self-doubt and self-denial, piercing himself. Just like Zhang Xiaolong now. Zhang Xiaolong was undoubtedly confident before. Although his identity as a soldier king was fake and was marketed by the company, but since he had the courage to send his resume to the mercenaries, it shows that his abilities are far stronger than most ordinary people. The guns, cars, fighting techniques, etc. that he has come into contact with are absolutely inaccessible to ordinary people, especially compared with those pretty boy and handsome young stars in China. Zhang Xiaolong looks like an omnipotent, genuine god of war and king of soldiers. During the half year that Shen Feng and Zhang Wan were on vacation, Zhang Xiaolong filled variety shows and appeared on ED shows. His strength, which far surpassed that of other stars, gave Zhang Xiaolong great confidence. He felt that his arrival in the domestic entertainment circle was like a tiger descending from the mountain. Like a dimensionality-lowering attack. He was very complacent and proud. He felt that he was invincible and that he was fully capable of replacing Shen Feng, who had been on vacation for half a year, and becoming the next all-round idol in the entertainment industry and a true top star, before he came to participate in the second season of Date. He even boasted about this to his friends and brothers, saying that all the popularity Shen Feng had in the future would become his, because he was confident that he was better than Shen Feng. But now, when Zhang Xiaolong lost to Shen Feng again and again in all aspects, even the firearms, which he thought he had the greatest advantage and was sure to win, were lost to Shen Feng Shi. Zhang Xiaolong's former arrogance turned into a sharp blade that tore him apart, especially when Zhang Xiaolong was sitting in the car returning to the hotel in a daze. He got his phone back and looked at Weibo. Looking at the hot topics on Weibo, he has failed again and again. Watching Shen Feng's fans laughing at him mercilessly, his fans were completely powerless to refute. Zhang Xiaolong took several deep breaths. In the end, he threw the phone away without caring that he was still driving. The cell phone hit the car's windshield directly, scaring the driver so much that he shivered and the car shifted direction, almost hitting the roadside guardrail. Xu Yan in the back seat also screamed in fear, and then yelled at Zhang Xiaolong, "Are you sick? Are you crazy? Do you want to die?" The sudden deviation of the car just now also caused Zhang Xiaolong to be thrown hard. He leaned against the car window, and seemed to calm down all of a sudden. He picked up the phone with some trembling and sent a message silently. It was sent to the CEO of Phoenix Entertainment, his father. "Dad, I don't want to stay in this circle anymore." After taking the car back to the hotel, Shen Feng and Zhang Wan did not see Zhang Xiaolong. It was not until Director Chen took the initiative to find Shen Feng that Zhang Xiaolong had directly told him that he wanted to withdraw from the recording and was driving to the airport. Director Chen couldn't help but exclaimed, "Xiao Chen, you are too cruel. I think you have forced him to not want to be in this circle anymore." "Is it cruel? I guess so. Shen Feng said, "It's just that he can't bear it." "What does it have to do with me?" Yes, it has nothing to do with you." Director Chen chuckled. On the surface, Zhang Xiaolong's collapse was indeed due to his inferior skills and psychological fragility. But in fact, Director Chen knew that all of this was part of Shen Feng's plan. First of all, today's so-called special mechanism of challenging special guests with unlimited number of times was added by Shen Feng. And after Shen Shang and Zhang Xiaolong finished the go-kart race, Shen Feng contacted Director Chen using an internal microphone that was not connected to the live broadcast loudspeaker. Director Chen was asked to communicate with the amusement park and close some rides that required speed or strength. For example, racing treadmills and punch strength testing machines. Because Shen Sheng knew that Zhang Xiaolong's physical fitness would not necessarily be worse than his even if he exercised every day for 800 years. His physical condition would not change. So he only left Director Chen with some technical items, such as archery. Moreover, Shen Feng was so shameless that he asked Director Chen to secretly help him cheat. For example, in the maze segment, Shen Feng asked Director Chen, who had a maze map, to use the internal microphone to secretly tell him how to navigate the maze. This allowed him to leave the maze at an extremely fast speed, which dealt a heavy blow to Zhang Xiaolong. Even the final gun assembly process was arranged by Shen Feng. Chen Feng had touched a real gun during his 800 years of cycles. After all, there are professional shooting ranges in the country for people to shoot. Chen Feng asked Director Chen to ask the amusement park if they could find a simulated version of an automatic rifle that was well known, especially one that was easier to get abroad. The purpose is to make Zhang Xiaolong feel familiar with the guns at the shooting range, and then propose special challenges such as assembling guns. In this situation, Zhang Xiaolong must feel that he is sure to win, and if Shen Feng defeats him at this time, it will further undermine his self-confidence. And from beginning to end, Shen Feng would always stop beside the event he wanted to compete with Zhang Xiaolong, waiting for Zhang Xiaolong to come to him. He won't leave unless Zhang Xiaolong comes. Zhang Xiaolong always felt that he met Shen Feng by chance, but he didn't know that the so-called encounter was all Shen Feng's premeditated plan. Zhang Xiaolong thought that he was the one looking for projects to challenge Shen Feng from the beginning, but he didn't know that he fell into the trap set by Shen Feng from the very beginning. If Shen Feng had shown a little more mercy, Zhang Xiaolong would not have been hit so badly. So Director Chen just smiled in response to what Shen Feng said. No matter what, it's always a good thing to get rid of Zhang Xiaolong. That evening he posted on Weibo that Zhang Xiaolong had voluntarily withdrawn from the program. This time, even Zhang Xiaolong's fans and even his internet trolls can't speak for Zhang Xiaolong, because they could all see that Zhang Xiaolong's withdrawal this time was entirely due to his own lack of skills and mental breakdown, and had nothing to do with the program crew. And the post that Shen Feng asked Sister Lin to help find the internet trolls to post in the morning, saying that the broadcast of Dating Season 2 was delayed because Zhang Xiaolong acted like a big shot and even beat up the guests, was now pushed up by someone. The public opinion on Zhang Xiaolong on the internet further reversed. Almost overnight, Zhang Xiaolong went from being a rising idol who was expected to become the second Shen Feng to a laughingstock. Although Zhang Xiaolong is missing, the program will still continue to be recorded. After the other groups of guests returned to the hotel, Director Chen started the live broadcast again. He gathered the remaining groups of guests and then said with a smile, although Zhang Xiaolong and Xu Yan withdrew from the recording of the program due to personal reasons, our program has just begun. Today is the first episode, and it's quite special, so we also have a nightly special. Next, you will take the financial subsidies you received at the amusement park during the day and go to the nearby Summer Festival Temple Fair to complete the new tasks we have assigned to you at the Temple Fair. The first guest to complete this task will be eligible to stay in the hotel's presidential suite. So everyone, if you are ready, let's go. Next stop, the Summer Festival. Chapter 394. The gaze that wants to stab someone cannot be hidden. Summer festivals are a local feature of Japan. Every summer, especially in late summer, residents of some towns in Japan always spontaneously organize festivals or temple fairs to liven up the atmosphere. With the development of tourism in recent years, summer festivals have become a means to attract foreign tourists. If they are well organized, they can even significantly boost the development of local tourism. The temple fair that Director Chen asked the guests to attend was considered to be one of the larger ones. Almost the entire street in front of the temple was filled with stalls set up by local residents. In addition to some unique Japanese snacks, such as taiyaki and apple candy, classic activities such as scooping goldfish and throwing darts are also available. When they arrived at the Summer Festival Temple Fair, Director Chen took out a big box and asked each group of guests to draw their own tasks. You didn't put a bunch of songs of love until death in your box this time, did you? Jae-Nam looked at the big box and seemed to recall some bad memories. Director Chen looked at Jae-Nam's speechless lie, and after a moment he said, I only put in one singing card last time. It's obviously your bad luck that you kept getting it. Since you doubt me, you might as well take the first shot this time. Let my wife come. Jae-Nam, who was well aware of his luck, decisively chose ladies first. Li Ting was still worried about letting Jae-Nam draw the card, so she took the initiative to walk up to Director Chen, reached into the box, and finally picked up a card. Director Chen asked the camera to focus on the card that Li Ting drew. On it was a line of large characters: participate in the song and dance performance of the festival with your partner and complete the complete performance. When Jae-Nam saw the word song, his heart was really lifted. But when he saw the dance that followed, Jae-Nam heaved a sigh of relief. In song and dance performances, the dance is often more important than the song. As long as you dance well, that's probably enough. When it comes to dancing, Jiat Nan has never been afraid of anyone except Shen Feng, Zhang Wanwan, Liu Mingyu, Wen Hui and the Kokathis photographer uncle from youth group. Especially after seeing the tasks that Xiaozu and Sidiyu drew next. Jiat Nan and Li Tingting felt that their luck this time was pretty good. Because Xiaozu and Sitiyu's mission is, exchange this card for 100,000 yen. 100,000 yen is equivalent to more than 5,000 yuan. How could such a shabby card with a mission written on it, written in Chinese characters that the Japanese could only half understand, be exchanged for 100,000 yen? Jiat Nan and Li Tingting felt that this task was simply impossible. Sidiyu, who went to draw cards, also looked quite lonely, because he felt that it was his bad luck that ruined him and Xiaozu's team. Until next, another group of guests came up to draw cards. Let 50 passers-by write the 3 Chinese characters, "You are awesome" on your clothes. This group of guests were all numb. After the other group of guests finished drawing, only Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan had not drawn cards. The two people looked at each other. Obviously, the tasks this time were not that easy. Director Chen basically made them to make things difficult for the sake of the show's effect. Zhang Wanwan felt that if she went to draw, she would probably draw some abnormal cards. She whispered to Shen Feng, "Feng Zi, do you know how to see through things? See which card is more normal to draw. This is considered a superpower. I'm not at the level of Superman yet. What should I do? I don't want to get some weird tasks. That's easy. We just need to find a way to teach Director Chen a lesson so that he will honestly hand over the safest and most reliable task to us." Director Chen, hey, can you guys turn off the microphone before discussing this? I can hear you. Zhang Wanwan turned off the microphone. And how do we deal with him? Beat him up, okay? Director Chen, you spoke so loudly, I could hear you even when the microphone was turned off. In the end, Zhang Wanwan went up to draw the card. She rummaged around in the box for a long time. Director Chen's mouth twitched when he saw this. Big sister, I have prepared a few tasks for the few people. Now there is only one card in it, no matter how many times you touch it. The words on it will not change. Zhang Wanwan rolled her eyes and then took out the last card from the box. When she saw the task above, her expression began to become a little unnatural. What the hell? What's that expression Wanwan has? What's wrong with Wan Ji? What task did you get? Could it be that they are asking Wan Ji and Feng Zi to kiss in public? No, if it is such a task, Wan Ji and Feng Zi should be able to complete it in seconds. No, judging from Wan Ji's expression, there is definitely something fishy about this mission. Not to mention, the audience who posted the last comment was actually a prophet, just as he said. This mission is really tricky. A camera zoomed in, and there were only a few words written on the card in Zhang Wanwan's hand. Complete the test of courage in the festival. Director Chen, who already knew what was written on the last card, finally couldn't hold it in anymore and burst into laughter. I prepared this card specifically for you. I didn't expect you would actually draw it in the end. Student Zhang Wanwan, I know you're not afraid of anything except spooky and scary things. Every year during the summer festival, we organize a courage test. We go to explore the dilapidated old houses nearby. There are also staff members pretending to be ghosts. I want to see if you have the courage to go. You guys snatched the presidential suite last year, but you can forget about living in this suite this year. Director Chen smiled very proudly, but just laughing. Director Chen's smile gradually became awkward, because he saw Zhang Wanwan staring at him with a sad look. The gaze that wants to stab someone cannot be hidden. From the moment Director Chen smiled, I felt that his life had ended. If I were Director Chen, I would kneel down right now. Maybe I could still have a chance of survival. I hope Director Chen has bought insurance. Amen. I hope Director Chen has 2 lives. Late night. However, Zhang Wanwan didn't say anything to Director Chen. He just took the card silently and returned to Shen Feng. Director Chen breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that Zhang Wanwan did not explode. He didn't dare to laugh anymore, and hurriedly said to everyone, Okay, you all got your mission cards. You can communicate with your team translator later and get ready to complete the mission. After saying this, Director Chen ran away in shame. After running to the assistant director, Director Chen heaved a sigh of relief and said, Oh my god, I was too cocky today and almost got killed by Zhang Wanwan. But this girl seems to have restrained herself a lot today. Has she become more mature after becoming a mother? The assistant director didn't say anything, but silently handed the headphones to Director Chen and pointed at the screen. Director Chen put on his headphones and looked at the split screen of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan's group. Then I saw Zhang Wanwan angrily stepping on the task card with a murderous look on her face. Director Chen silently took off his headphones and looked at the assistant director and said, Is it too late for me to buy a ticket on Zhang Xiaolong's flight now? Chapter 395, So you can speak Chinese. First of all, I'm not scared, I just feel angry that there are so many stalls selling delicious food at this summer festival, that I can't eat any of them. I'll reiterate that I'm not scared. I just felt that Director Chen's smile just now was too cheap, so I was angry. I'll say it one last time, I'm really not scared. I just think this mission is unreasonable. What's the point of a test of courage? It's boring. Zhang Wanwan walked towards the direction of the summer festival test of courage with a reluctant look on her face. As she walked, she did not forget to explain to the audience in front of the camera in order to maintain her image. Yes, you are not afraid, you are just a little timid. If you didn't tremble when you said this, I would really believe it. I can only say that Wang Ji was controlled by Director Chen this time. Although Director Chen is expected to die in the end, this is probably the ultimate one-for-one exchange. Wang Ji, I am afraid of ghosts, but ghosts have never hurt me. I am not afraid of people, so Director Chen, just wait. I will kill you. But my wife is so cute when she hugs my husband and tries to argue with him. Your wife, your husband? My wife, my husband. After passing through the lively summer festival temple fair. At the end of the fair, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan saw the courage test organized by the official summer festival. Because the festival has just begun, the test of courage competition is still in the registration stage. Tourists who want to participate can sign up directly, and there is no need to pay any money. It's just for fun. When Shen Cheng and Zhang Wanwan went there, they saw that several groups of people had already completed the registration. Among them were young couples, good friends, and even a dozen students who came together to play. It could be said that it was quite lively. Seeing Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan coming, the staff took the initiative to bring out posters and started introducing the two of them in a gibberish manner. Seeing this, the team translator wanted to translate what the staff said to Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. But before he opened his mouth, he heard Shen Feng speaking Japanese and talking directly to the staff member. Zhang Wanwan even waved at the translator and said, "You don't have to follow us, go see if other teams are in need of translators." The translator scratched his head and finally walked away silently. The translator left. Shen Cheng was still chatting with the staff member. But the audience was all numb. What did they talk about? Translation. Feng Zi doesn't need a translator. But we do. Can't you translate for us what these two are saying? I heard that there is software that can automatically recognize speech and transcribe it into subtitles. Doesn't the program team have such a thing? When Director Chen saw this comment, he called the technical staff. After the technicians operated it for a while, the audience actually saw the subtitles. Red Gaia is being torn off by Kodo. Audience, does the production team think they are very humorous? But Shen Cheng is still relatively reliable. After talking to the staff, he took the initiative to translate. He just said that the venue chosen for this test of courage competition is an abandoned old hospital near the festival. It is said that this hospital once engaged in some illegal organ transactions, and many innocent people died there after that. It was closed down and has been abandoned ever since. It is said that the ghosts of the dead are still wandering around the hospital. This time they have hidden 50 small flags in various secret corners of the hospital. The first visitor to find 5 flags can return here to submit them. After submitting, they will be considered to have completed the courage test and will receive a gift prepared by the summer festival officials. Feng Zi is still considerate. Thank you, Feng Zi, for caring about us so much. This guy loves his fans too much. The barrage was full of emotion. But then Shen Cheng looked at Zhang Wanwan and said, "Do you understand, Brother Wan?" Zhang Wanwan nodded. Audience. It turns out that Shen Feng didn't mean to explain it to them. They are being too sentimental. Although Zhang Wanwan was not very willing to participate in this kind of test of courage, she did not want to give up the presidential suite easily. This is not just a matter of a room, it is also a matter of dignity and face. Director Chen would rather they not stay in the presidential suite. And they will definitely slap Director Chen in the face. In the end, Zhang Wanwan gritted her teeth and stomped her feet, and sacrificed her life together with Shen Feng. Here, the two of them still have to wait for the test of courage to officially begin. On the other hand, several other groups of members were also working hard to complete the task. The first is the group of Jiat Nan and Li Ting Ting. Their task is to participate in the festival's song and dance performances and complete the full performance. This means that they have to learn the song and dance they are going to perform in the shortest possible time. Jiat Nan and Li Ting Ting quickly found a large stage built in the middle of the summer festival. There were people scattered around below the stage, many of whom were busy preparing costumes and props for dancing. Looking at those Japanese people speaking Japanese, how to take the first step and ask them to teach singing and dancing seemed to be a difficult problem for Jiat Nan and Li Ting Ting. Jiat Nan thought about it, and finally asked the translator, "Brother, can you teach me how to dance? How do you say it in Japanese? Can you teach me to dance?" The translator said, "Oh, kill me, what? The next one? Can you repeat it again?" Nan asked again while muttering to himself. Then you teach me to dance? The translator repeated it again. I understand if you kill me. I'm your father, what was it? The translator looked at Jayatnam with a rather strange look. If he hadn't felt that he had never offended Jayatnam, he would have thought that Jayatnam was scolding him. The translator repeated it again. Jayatnam finally remembered this time. After nodding, he took the initiative to step forward and found a person in charge who looked relatively kind under the stage. After patting the other person on the shoulder, he smiled enthusiastically and said, "If you kill me, I'm your father. I can beat 4 of you at once." Or something like that. Person in charge. The person in charge stared at Jayatnam and asked, "Are you cursing?" "I'm not cursing, this is Japanese. Don't you understand?" Jayatnam repeated it seriously. "Kill me, I'm your father, that and that. I'm your father. Are you looking for trouble?" The person in charge rolled up his sleeves. Jayatnam still felt quite wronged. "No, I'm not looking for trouble. Don't you understand Japanese? If you kill me, I'm your father. I'll beat 4 people at once." Before Jayatnam could finish his words this time, Li Ting hit him on the head from behind. "Are you stupid? They can speak Chinese, what else are you talking about?" Jayatnam clapped his hands and looked at the person in charge. "So you can speak Chinese, why didn't you say so earlier?" Person in charge. He looked at Jayatnam as if he were a fool. "I am dying of laughter. Is this person hired by the program team? How come he is so effective in the program? Don't be a shill. Don't tell me that Xiao Jia was just acting. He acted really well. Is there a possibility that Xiao Jia is not acting, but is really stupid? One pregnancy makes one stupid for 3 years. Jayatnam, your character is unlucky, not Sidiyu." Chapter 396. Brother, do you have paper? Amid the laughter in the barrage, the person in charge told Jayatnam that he was of Chinese and Japanese descent. His father is from northeast China and his mother is from Japan. He grew up in China when he was a child, and later came to Japan to go to school. He speaks Japanese with a strong accent. Since the person in charge can speak Chinese, things will be much easier. After Jayatnam briefly explained his purpose to the person in charge, a person in charge agreed. He also said that he would first review the singing and dancing of Jayatnam and Li Ting. "Is it okay to just review the dancing? I just want to learn dancing, not singing," Jayatnam said, a little embarrassed. The person in charge put his arm around Jayatnam's shoulders and said in a very manly way, "Don't be so timid, old man. If you want to learn, you must learn the whole set. Don't worry, we won't laugh at you even if your singing is terrible. So what are you afraid of?" "I'm not afraid to sing because I'm scared. I'm afraid of scaring you." The person in charge patted his chest and said, "I am a man from northeast China. I am not afraid of anything. But how can I be afraid of your singing? You are just making fun of me. Come on, sing a song. I want to see how badly you can sing." After saying that, the person in charge even handed Jayatnam a microphone connected to a speaker. Jayatnam looked at the person in charge dimly. Under the encouraging gaze of the person in charge, he opened his mouth. 3 seconds later. "Brother, I was wrong. You held back your singing. After listening to you singing, I don't dare to cry anymore, otherwise people will say I'm imitating you." Jayatnam, is it really that unpleasant? Li Ting silently pulled out the fingers that were blocking his ears, and then said, "I think what he said is still conservative. Hey, has Xiao Jia finished singing?" Then I turned up the volume. I sincerely hope that the new fans brought by Zheng Xiaolong will stop watching the show after hearing that Zheng Xiaolong has left the show. Otherwise, if they don't know how to turn off the sound, they will probably lose half their lives by now. Although I turned off the sound just now, when I saw Xiao Jia open his mouth, I felt goosebumps on my back. As if a loud voice of, "I will love you until I die" lingered in my ears. Aizu, stop talking, I have the picture. Damn it. Even Kar thus's ultimate is not as high as Gareth's. In fact, Xiao Jia should be allowed to go to the courage test. I want to see who will be scared to death first, Jayatnam or the staff member dressed as a ghost. Really? The person in charge took a few deep breaths and then patted Jayatnam's shoulder vigorously. "Brother, I was reckless this time. You don't need to learn singing. I can't teach you, I'll just teach you how to dance. But as for dancing, are you sure you can do it?" Jayatnam chuckled and said, "I'm not good at singing, but dancing is my strong point," Jayatnam said, and suddenly covered his stomach. He didn't know if it was because he had just started singing and got some wind in his body, but now he felt a little pain in his stomach. He hurriedly said, "Wait, I'll teach you later. I'm a little urgent. Is there a toilet nearby?" The other side. Xiaozu and Sidiyu were thinking about their mission. Their task is to exchange a broken card for 100,000 yen. This isn't undoubtedly a big problem. So Xiaozu was not in a hurry to take Sidiyu to complete the mission. Instead, he took Sityu to find a place to sit down and began to discuss how to complete this seemingly impossible task. Chaozu held the card, looked at Sityu and said, "Silly, who do you think would spend 100,000 yen to buy this card?" "Fu," Sityu said. "Will you buy it? If you sell it to me, I will definitely buy it." Chaozu. She patted the card in her hand. Then said seriously, "It is absolutely impossible to sell this card for 100,000 yen, but the mission only requires us to exchange this card for 100,000 yen, but it does not say that we have to exchange it all at once. So we can use this card to exchange for something cheaper. Do you understand what I mean?" Sityu nodded to show his understanding. Chaozu was very pleased and said, "Then what we need to do next is to try to use this card to exchange for something more practical and in demand." But who would exchange something for a card? Sityu also fell into deep thought. After a moment, an idea suddenly occurred to him. Looking at Chaozu, he said, "If someone goes to the toilet without paper, would they need this?" Chaozu glanced at the extremely thick card that was removed from the cardboard box and shook her head. "I guess even if you wipe your butt until it bleeds, you still can't clean it up." However, Sityu's flash of inspiration really gave Chaozu some ideas. Although this card cannot be used to wipe your butt, you can use it to exchange for some toilet paper, and then give it to people who go to the toilet without any paper. It's easy enough to exchange cards for toilet paper. There are so many food stalls on the streets during this summer festival, and most of them have napkins or toilet paper on the tables. Not to mention changing it, even if you go to the boss and ask for 2 for free, the boss will give them to you. The boss that Chaozu found saw that there was someone following Chaozu and Sityu with a camera, and probably realized that the two were stars from other countries, so he took the initiative to give them a large roll of toilet paper. After getting the toilet paper, Chaozu and Sityu went straight to the nearby toilet. When arriving at the toilet door, the photographer definitely cannot go in with the camera to shoot, so the photographer and Chaozu stayed outside the door and let Sityu go in alone to sell toilet paper. Before going in, Chaozu asked Sityu to find the translation teacher accompanying the team and learn a sentence in Japanese. What's wrong with that? Basically, do you need toilet paper? Although Sityu's learning was not very standard, the translation teacher said that the Japanese should be able to understand what Sityu was saying by half listening and half guessing. The translation teacher then gave Sityu a brief explanation of the Japanese words for agree and reject, so that Sityu had a rough idea in mind. "Come on, Anan, you can do it." Chaozu cheered Sityu up. He gave Sityu another NUA on the face. Sityu's face suddenly turned red, as if he had been injected with chicken blood, and he rushed straight into the bathroom. A tourist who came out of the toilet was startled and muttered in Japanese, "Is it really necessary to hold it in like this?" After entering the restroom, Sityu knocked on the doors of each toilet cubicle one by one and asked, "How could it be so difficult?" The answers I got were basically rejection. Sityu did not give up and knocked on the door of the last compartment. In the cubicle, Jayatnam was worried because he had no toilet paper to take a shit. He came in such a hurry just now that he forgot to bring paper. Now I have no way to contact other people, and I can't borrow paper from the person next to me because he doesn't speak Japanese. Now he is worried about how to get out. Hearing someone knocking at the door, Jayatnam perked up. Then, the person knocking on the door said, "Is it possible for you to be a trader? Japanese? Why does it sound wrong?" Although Jayatnam felt a little strange, he did not think too much about it and said in English, "Paper, toilet paper, do you have toilet paper?" At the door, Sityu scratched his head. What does it mean? This doesn't seem to be what the translation teacher meant by agree or refuse. It sounds like English. Sityu does know a little English. After all, he can sing a lot of English songs. However, his brain froze for a moment and he couldn't remember what this sentence meant. I could only repeat the Japanese sentence again. "Tuli pepi away taka disaika?" Hearing the person at the door repeating incomprehensible Japanese, Jayadnan had no choice but to repeat the English sentence he knew. "Do you have toilet paper? What's wrong with that? Do you have toilet paper? What's wrong with that? Hey, could you please stop dragging that thing? I need paper, toilet paper, you know." Sityu suddenly reacted. A word he just mentioned. Isn't it the same as toilet paper in English? Is the person in the toilet asking for paper? No. He must be asking for paper. The people in the toilet are clearly speaking Chinese. Sityu didn't know where he got the wisdom buff from, and he seemed to be much smarter than Jayadnan. He said to Jayatnam in the toilet, You can speak Chinese, right? Do you want some toilet paper?" When Jayatnam in the toilet heard the voice, he thought it sounded familiar. However, he had been squatting for too long and didn't have time to think too much. He hurriedly said, Yes, brother, give me some paper. I can give you paper, but I need money. Can you give me money?" Damn, taking advantage of someone's misfortune to make money? Jayat Nan sighed, but now he was in a hurry to go back to learn dancing. And his legs were numb from squatting, so even if the other party asked for some money, Jayat Nan thought it was acceptable. So he gritted his teeth and said, "How much do you want?" 100,000 yen. Sidiyu said. Jayat Nan, or I'd better wait until it dries. Chapter 397. Does he need to be afraid of ghosts? Anyone want to buy it? Seeing Sidiyu coming out of the toilet, Xiaozu walked up to him and asked. Sidiyu shook his head regretfully and said with some guilt, "It is true that someone did not bring paper, but he was unwilling to spend 100 yen to buy it. I wouldn't want to do that either. You can negotiate a lower price first. We don't need to get 100 yen all at once," Xiaozu said helplessly. "Well, how much should I take?" Sidiyu scratched his head and asked. Xiaozu thought about it, and finally said, "About 500 yen. According to the exchange rate Director Chen mentioned before, it is equivalent to about 20 to 30 yuan. Although it's a bit shady. It's a show after all. I can just explain it to the gentleman who bought the paper later." Upon hearing this, Sidiyu got up and went to the bathroom again. In the last compartment, Jayat Nan held the 1,000 yen note, trembling lie, hesitating whether to use it to settle his afterlife. At least it's much better than the 100,000 yen from the profiteer at the door just now. Speaking of which, we have to thank the program crew for being conscientious today. They gave additional financial subsidies to special guests such as Jayat Nan Li Tinghe from the very beginning. Otherwise Jayat Nan might not be willing to use this 1,000 yen note to wipe his butt. After careful consideration, Jayat Nan decided, damn, as the ancients said, hesitation leads to defeat. If he doesn't wipe it, he really won't be able to stay there any longer. Besides, Li Tingting is still waiting for him to go back and complete the challenge. If he lets his wife wait too long, that would be really bad. Finally, Jayat Nan gritted his teeth and used the banknote to clean himself. He had just thrown the paper into the trash can when he heard another knock on the door. "Hello, do you need some toilet paper?" No, 100,000 yen for a piece of paper. Do you think I'm a fool?" Jayat Nan felt angry when he heard the voice. It would be fine if he didn't lend the paper, but he actually took advantage of the situation, took advantage of the shit of others, raised the price and asked for 100,000. What Jayat Nan hated most was this kind of black-hearted profiteer. Except Shen Feng. "Now we don't need 100,000, Jayat Nan heard someone outside say. 500 yen will do." Jayat Nan. He looked at the 1,000 yen note he had just thrown into the trash can and was silent for a long time. "Hello, do you want more?" Sidiyu outside asked again without waiting for a response. "No, let me be alone for a while, thank you." Oh, Sidiyu left the bathroom again in confusion. After Sidiyu left, Jayat Nan pushed open the door of the toilet cubicle and walked out. He sighed wistfully. Never mind, it's just bad luck. He is used to it. Thinking of this, he put his hands in his pockets and prepared to leave the bathroom. But his hand had just reached into his trouser pocket. Jayat Nan drew it out again. He pulled out a crumpled napkin from inside. Jayat Nan. While Xiaozu and Sidiyu were racking their brains to make money, Jayat Nan dragged his numb legs back to the stage to practice dancing. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan have already followed the team of the Test of Courage competition and are heading towards the old hospital where the Test of Courage competition is going to be held. Most of the people who come to participate in this Test of Courage are young people, and many of them also come with filming equipment. So even though Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan brought a photographer with them, it didn't seem out of place. As the two were walking, a few little girls suddenly came over here. The little girls looked to be about 16 or 17 years old, probably high school students. They took the initiative to greet Shen Feng, and then talked to Shen Feng a lot of things very enthusiastically. There was a little girl who deliberately tried to get close to Shen Feng. Zhang Wanwan immediately became alert and pulled Shen Feng into her arms. Like a little tiger, she glared at the girls with bared teeth. The little girls were so scared that they ran away. Zhang Wanwan snorted coldly, pinched Shen Feng again, and said, "Hurry up and tell me what those little sisters said to you just now. Why are you jealous?" Shen Cheng looked at Zhang Wanwan with a smile. But before she could laugh for a few seconds, Zhang Wanwan's hand pinched her again. Shen Feng had no choice but to explain. "They asked me if I wanted to team up to go on an adventure together, saying that they were timid and afraid. So what did you say?" "I said there's someone in our family who's even more courageous. But you scared them away before I could finish my sentence. I guess they probably won't believe what I said." Zhang Wanwan said, "Believe it or not, no one can hook up with my husband. There is a fork in the road on the way to the abandoned hospital. The person in charge of leading the way said that both forks in the road could lead to the hospital. But one was safer while the other was where vengeful ghosts roamed. Which path to take is up to you to choose." Although Zhang Wanwan knew that the wandering vengeful ghosts mentioned by the guide were nothing more than staff lying in ambush on the road, pretending to be ghosts to scare people. But her fear of ghosts would not disappear just by knowing this. Just like she was afraid even though she knew the ghosts in the escape room and horror game were fake. So standing at this fork in the road, Zhang Wanwan was extremely conflicted. I'd rather go left, but I'm worried that the right side is safer. I'd rather go to the right, but I'm afraid there's a ghost on the right. As a result, other tourists gradually found a way to go in, while Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan were still standing at the fork in the road, thinking, Wan Ji, how about I carry you on my back and you close your eyes and don't see anything? You won't be scared, right? Chen Chang asked softly. Zhang Wanwan snorted when she heard this. You make me sound like a coward. Am I really that scared? While speaking, she walked behind Shen Feng and jumped onto his back. And he closed his eyes tightly. I used to think Zhang Xiaolong was the toughest talker. But now I realize that compared to Brother Wan, even Zhang Xiaolong's tough talk advantage is gone. Dead TS under E, a living dead TS under E. No matter how hard Wan's mouth is, she'll be soft when kissing. The guy above, no matter how strong your head is, it can't withstand Feng Zi's lock, right? If you dare to have improper thoughts about my younger brother, you may be dying. After being carried on Shen Feng's back, Zhang Wanwan started to play around and become a lazy guy. He planned to get through this journey behind Shen Feng. After looking around, Shen Feng finally took the fork on the left. It's not that he thinks men should be on the left and women should be on the right, or that he judges the left side as safe. In fact, Shen Feng felt that there should be staff members pretending to be ghosts lying in ambush at these two forks in the road, and he would probably be scared no matter which road he took. So Shen Feng just picked one at random. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan started late, and when they reached the fork in the road on the left, they could hardly see any other tourists in front of them. It's a cold moonlit night with a chilly breeze. From time to time, the wind blew, making the leaves rustle, accompanied by the hooting of owls, which was quite eerie. Not to mention Zhang Wanwan. Any timid person would be scared if they took this road. Take the photographer following behind Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. Now he has to look back every 2 steps, for fear that there will be some dirty thing following him. Photographer, can you please stop shaking your hands? Are you scared? Don't mention it, I'm a little scared too. It's all my fault, Brother Wan. We set out so late that we can't catch up with the big group ahead. If I were to walk here alone in the middle of the night, I would probably have to run faster than Bolt. Feng Bao, don't carry Wan on your back, carry me on your back. I'm so scared. Many viewers also found it a bit creepy. Shen Feng, on the other hand, was walking in front with a calm look on his face. He really isn't that afraid of ghosts. Because from the perspective of universal rationality, even if ghosts really do exist, most of them have definitely not died as many times as he has. Why should he, a man who has experienced tens of thousands of ways of dying, such as jumping from a building, car accidents, drowning, burning, dismemberment, and hanging, be afraid of a ghost who has only died once? Chapter 398. The scar healed and the pain was forgotten. As they walked, the audience and Shen Feng realized that maybe it wasn't a bad thing that they were at the end. Perhaps because they were too disconnected from the tourists in front. The staff who were hiding in the fork in the road pretending to be ghosts thought that there were no more tourists behind them. So they no longer hide on the roadside or behind trees. Not long after Shen Feng carried Zhang Wanwan on his back, he saw several staff members who were still wearing white clothes and pretending to be ghosts. They lifted their long hair and squatted on the ground, smoking and chatting. You can even see Kyoko playing cards with Toshio and Sadako. Not to mention fear, it even looks a bit funny. However, there is still a manager who takes the lead among those who pretend to be ghosts. Seeing that there were still tourists, the manager dressed like a Chinese zombie immediately asked the staff to put down their things and work seriously. But now that they have all shown up, it is no longer possible for them to hide behind the trees and scare Shen Feng. So the manager thought about it and decided to give Shen Feng special treatment. A dozen staff members dressed as ghosts lined up into rows and stood on the left and right sides of Shen Feng respectively. Follow Shen Feng and move forward. To some extent, it feels a bit like the night parade of 100 demons in Japanese legend. Oh my god, he's pretty handsome. Now Feng Zi looks like the Demon King. This should be a scary scene. But why do I want to laugh so much? Can you please be more confident as the zombie actor? You should jump and walk. The audience watching the live broadcast are not too scared now. Especially after Director Chen added the BGM of Big Bridal Carriage to the live broadcast. The audience even started writing the word on the screen. There was an audience member who had turned off the sound while watching Jayanam sing and went out to buy some things. After returning home, I forgot to turn on the sound. And the camera switched to the shot of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. First I saw 2 rows of ghosts, and then I saw a lot of on the screen. The person became numb on the spot. When he turned on the volume, I felt even more numb. There is an old saying that goes well. No matter how timid a person is, there will be times when he can't help but open his eyes and watch a horror movie. Jang Won-won is probably in this state now. If you say I'm scared, then I am indeed quite scared. Jang Won-won felt awkward because she had to keep her eyes closed the whole way and couldn't see anything. So, Jang Won-won, who was lying on Shen Feng's back, couldn't help but quietly opened her eyes to see what was going on around her. At least see how far away from the abandoned hospital we are now. When Jang Won-won opened her eyes, the first thing she saw was Kyoko, a girl with very fair skin and dark circles under her eyes. Seeing Jang Won-won open her eyes, Kyoko smiled and greeted Jang Won-won politely. The child she was holding, the one who was dressed up as Toshio, also politely said, "Hello? Sister," in Japanese. Jang Won-won took a breath silently. She thought maybe she shouldn't be looking this way. So she quietly turned her head to the other side. Then she saw a zombie with a dark blue complexion and a talisman stuck on its head, nodding and greeting her. Jang Won-won. She silently pressed her face against Shen Feng's back. She shouldn't be curious. She shouldn't have opened her eyes. Escorted by ghosts, all the way, Shen Feng and Jang Won-won finally arrived at the entrance of the abandoned hospital. There are 2 hanging kerosene lamps at the entrance of the abandoned hospital. Under the dim yellowish light, the rusty hospital gates seemed to have been weathered and looked so dilapidated. Before they even entered the hospital, Shen Feng and Jang Won-won seemed to smell a moldy odor coming from inside. The vines climbed on the walls of the hospital, glowing coldly and eerily under the moonlight. Behind the vines, most of the windows seemed to be broken, and lights flashed from time to time in the broken windows. I don't know, maybe it was the light from the flashlights prepared by the tourists, or is it something else, emitting a faint light? Occasionally, the screams of tourists echoed in the hospital, making this already gloomy hospital even more terrifying. Jang Won-won immediately got scared. He didn't get off Shen Feng's back, but hugged Shen Feng tightly and said, "How about or forget it? We won't go." "I don't mind, but don't you want to prove yourself and slap Director Chen in the face? I'll just use my hands to beat him." Director Chen, who was watching the situation here, said. Director Chen saw Jang Won-won getting scared and his eyes suddenly turned. If Jang Won-won gives in now and refuses to go in, then the show effect he wants will be lost. There was also no way for him to avenge the bullying he suffered from Jang Won-won and Shen Feng. The most important thing, he estimated that Jang Won-won would definitely not forgive him this time. Since he is definitely going to die, he might as well take advantage of this opportunity to vent his anger. Thinking about this, Director Chen coughed lightly, picked up the intercom and said, "Student Jang Won-won, Student Shen Sheng, I have good news for you." Because the audience was quite enthusiastic today, I added a final reward for the winner. If you can win this challenge, I will give you an extra Japanese meal prepared by the chef of Kawakami Hotel. Jang Won-won said with great courage, "I want to have a big meal and ask Feng Zi to cook it for me. Don't even think about tempting me with this. This meal has a market value of 1 million yen. And it is hard to find because it is out of stock." Director Chen said again. Jang Won-won. Then, let's give it a try? Director Chen chuckled. He knew that Jang Won-won, the money G-rubber, would not be able to resist spending as soon as she heard the price of the meal, but Director Chen also has his own calculations. This Japanese meal prepared by the chef of Kawakami Hotel was indeed very expensive. That he only told Shen Feng and Jang Won-won's group about this so-called extra reward, didn't tell the other groups. In his opinion, with Jang Won-won's timid personality, even with the incentive of this extra reward, it would be difficult for her to be the first to complete the challenge. In other words, the feast he promised to Jang Won-won and Shen Feng was basically a blank check that did not need to be cashed. Director Chen thinks he is truly a genius. Aren't you afraid that these two will complete the challenge? The assistant director at the side suddenly said. You have to think clearly. This 1 million yen is not included in our plan funding. If you really want to cash it, you have to pay for it yourself. Director Chen patted the assistant director on the shoulder and said, "Do you think it's possible, with Jang Won-won's courage? Even if she dares to walk into the hospital, does she dare to look for the flag hidden inside? By the time they find all the flags, the other groups will probably have completed their mission long ago." The assistant director looked at Director Chen for a long time. Director Chen felt his back tingle and couldn't help but say, "Why are you staring at me? I'm warning you, I have a wife." "Nothing." The assistant director shook his head and sighed. "I just feel that you have more or less forgotten the pain now that the wound has healed." After the assistant director said this, Director Chen was about to refute. Suddenly, I heard Jang Won-won's loud voice coming from the headphones. "We're buying back the flags hidden in the hospital at a high price. We're only buying 5. Seize the opportunity, seize the opportunity. 1G. This is Japan, Shen Feng said helplessly. Oh. Zhang Wanwan nodded. And then shouted, you, whoever has the flag will do the work. I will do the recycling work at a high price. The way 1GE pronounces this, he must be a senior colonel with at least 10 years of service. Chapter 399 ahead. Although Zhang Wanwan's Chinese-style Japanese is very standard, serious Japanese people obviously can't understand it. So in the end, it was Shen Feng who shouted out in Japanese, buy the flag at a high price. According to the rules, there are a total of 50 small flags hidden in the hospital, which is a relatively large number. Many people can find 1 or 2 small flags after entering this abandoned hospital. Among them, some people, after finding a few flags, might be too scared to continue taking risks in the hospital and run away. If they hold less than 5 flags in their hands, which are not enough to complete the task, it is useless. In this situation, when he heard Shen Feng shout, buy the flag at a high price, he was naturally tempted. Although Shen Feng shouted a high price, in fact it was only 500 yen for a flag. If converted, it is equivalent to about 20 yuan. However, the people selling flags basically did not complain about the low price after all. This money was like picked up for free, and who would complain that the money picked up was too little? Less than 10 minutes later, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan had acquired 5 small flags. Director Chen looked at it and sighed. It seems that he failed after all. However, what Director Chen did not expect was, after acquiring 5 flags, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan were not in a hurry to leave. Instead, they continued to acquire flags. This made Director Chen very puzzled. What are these two doing? Did they remember it wrongly and think that they had to collect 50 flags to complete the mission? The assistant director shook his head and said, based on my understanding of the two of them, I don't think so. Then they should be cutting their losses. Or making money? What's the meaning? The assistant director did not explain, because he felt that Director Chen would probably understand it soon. A few minutes later, Director Chen really understood. After purchasing more than 20 flags, Zhang Wanwan directly asked Shen Feng to carry the pile of flags into the hospital. At the entrance of the hospital, a sign was announced saying flags for sale for 2.0 yen, limited quantity, first come, first served. After hearing Shen Feng shout, more people came out to buy flags than those who were selling flags just now. Damn, what a profiteer. Director Chen's eyes widened. But why are there more people buying than selling just now? 2,000 yen is equivalent to more than 100 yuan. The assistant director pushed his glasses and said, after all, most of those who are still willing to look for flags in the hospital, except for the brave ones, should have found 3 or 4 flags and only need 1 or 2 more to complete the task. Victory is within reach, but as time goes by, the number of flags left in the hospital is constantly decreasing. The more flags are missing, the harder it is to find. At this time, when Shen Feng shouts to sell flags, these people will of course be attracted. Director Chen watched Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan sell more than a dozen flags at a high price of 2.0 yen each, earning more than 30,000 yen. After deducting their previous purchase price of 500 yen per flag, they finally made a net profit of more than 20,000 yen. It took less than 20 minutes. Fortunately, Xiaozu and Cityu's challenge was not picked by these two people, otherwise they would have completed it. Director Chen couldn't help but speak with some palpitations. The assistant director at the side sighed. The problem is that they have also completed the task of this test of courage competition. Director Chen was about to speak. The cell phone in his pocket suddenly rang. He took his cell phone and went out to answer a call. And when he came back, his expression was indescribable. The assistant director asked curiously, who called you? The chef of Kawakami Hotel. Director Chen wiped his face in disappointment. He said that although he studied Japanese cuisine, he is actually Chinese, and he loves watching our show the most. He was watching the live broadcast earlier, and just called me to ask if I wanted to order a Japanese meal. If I did, he would give me a 20% discount. The assistant director almost laughed out loud. He suppressed his smile and asked Director Chen, so what did you say? Did you book it? How is it possible? Can I give in to Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan? Are you kidding me? So what are you doing now? The assistant director looked at Director Chen, who was fiddling with his phone and seemed to be buying something, and asked another question. Book a different hotel. I won't be going back to Kawakami Hotel to sleep tonight. Director Chen said seriously. Didn't you say you wouldn't give in to Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan? I don't accept it, but can't I just run away? Director Chen looked very righteous. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan didn't know that Director Chen was already preparing to run away. After returning to the registration office of the Test of Courage competition and handing in 5 flags, the two received commemorative gifts from the organizers of the Test of Courage competition, 2 particularly eerie statues of Japanese monsters. When Zhang Wanwan looked at the statue, she felt a chill on her back. He hurriedly said to the staff who were distributing souvenirs, "Can you give me a different one?" Chen Feng translated this sentence and told the staff. The staff nodded. He took out another Sadako figurine and handed it to Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan, do you have any souvenirs that look more like normal people's? Chen Feng flipped it again. The staff thought about it this time. Finally, a very realistic human head model was taken out. Zhang Wanwan held the head and remained silent for a long time. This head does look like a normal person. But which normal person has only one head? Zhang Wanwan wanted to change it, but the staff said that this item was already the most valuable souvenir they had. There was no other choice, and Zhang Wanwan could only hold the head and leave the test of courage conference. However, after walking the steps, Zhang Wanwan felt that the looks from people around her were somewhat strange. So she had no choice but to ask Shen Feng to go back and ask the staff for an official summer festival gift bag to put the head in. On the other hand, Xiaozu and Sidiyu's plan to make money has also made some progress. After some effort, the two people finally got a beautiful crystal ball night light and some other small gifts. The two were strolling around the summer festival, wondering if the night light could be replaced with something else. This crystal ball night light is quite heavy in order to make it easier to hold. Xiaozu asked the official of the summer festival for a gift bag to put it in. The two were halfway through their journey when Xiaozu suddenly sprained her ankle. Although Xiaozu herself said that it was not a big deal, Sidiyu still felt distressed when he saw her limping, and he insisted on taking Xiaozu to see a doctor. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan happened to pass by after knowing what happened. Zhang Wanwan and Shen Cheng took the initiative to help. They asked the program crew for some medicine and found a place to apply the medicine to Xiaozu. "Thank you, please don't delay your progress in completing the task." After the medicine was taken, Xiaozu said to Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan with some apology. Zhang Wanwan smiled and waved her hands. "Don't worry. We have completed the task. So soon, looks like we have no hope of getting this presidential suite," Sidiyu said with some regret. Xiaozu comforted her. "It's okay, it doesn't matter where you live, what's important is the process of recording the show. We were just wandering around the summer festival, seeing the customs and practices of other countries. Isn't that interesting? Come to think of it, this is our first trip. And I'm pretty happy about it. Okay, this isn't a big deal for me. Ann, hold me and let's find a place to sell the crystal ball night light. Since the presidential suite is out of the question, let's use the final sale money to buy some delicious food." City Yuhan smiled and nodded, picked up a plastic bag beside him, and left with Xiaozu. Zhang Wanwan also picked up another plastic bag and said to Shen Feng, "Fengzi, let's go too. It's useless for us to hold this head. How about we secretly use it to scare Director Chen?" Zhang Wanwan did it right away. She pulled Shen Feng towards the director's vehicle where Director Chen and the others were. Naturally, Director Chen saw all of this. Director Chen sneered. "Little Zhang Wanwan, you still want to plot against me? How ridiculous. However, this is also an opportunity to make a comeback." After Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan came over, Director Chen first kept a safe distance from them. After making sure that Zhang Wanwan would not carry a bag and hit him with one head, Director Chen pretended to be ignorant and said, "Why did you come back? Are you trying to tell me that you have completed the mission? Completing the mission is only one aspect. I have a gift for you." Zhang Wanwan chuckled and walked towards Director Chen with the bag. Director Chen hurriedly took 2 steps back and distanced himself from Zhang Wanwan. Then he said, "No need for gifts, how about we play a game? Let me guess what's in this bag. If I guess right, our grudges will be written off and the Japanese food feast will be forgivable. If I guess wrong, can you double the Japanese meal?" Zhang Wanwan is not stupid. When she heard Director Chen say this, she knew that Director Chen must have seen her taking a human head in the live broadcast just now. He immediately shouted, "No, I don't agree. Protests are useless." Director Chen, however, rejected Zhang Wanwan even louder. "This is the director's right to speak. What I say is what counts. Okay, now I guess there's a human head in the bag. Open it and take a look." "How childish," Zhang Wanwan complained. And he pulled out a crystal ball night light from his bag. Director Chen, Zhang Wanwan, including Shen Feng. The three of them were stunned for a long time. Finally, Zhang Wanwan suddenly raised her head. "Oh, no, I took the wrong bag." Chapter 400. There is a thief. The other side. Xiaozu and Sidiyu strolled on the road for a while, intending to find a crowded place to sell the crystal ball night light in the bag. But Xiaozu's foot was injured after all. Even if she took medicine, it was not a panacea and she would not recover immediately. So after walking for a while, Sidiyu took Xiaozu to sit down and rest. "I'm really fine, silly." Xiaozu still wanted to be brave. But Sidiyu insisted this time, "No, you were already feeling very uncomfortable when you were walking just now, so you should sit down and have a good rest." It just so happens that there will be a song and dance performance here later. It seems that brother Gio and sister Ting Ting will perform here later. We can go and watch it together. Anyway, the presidential suite already belongs to brother Shen and sister Wan Wan, so it doesn't matter whether we complete the mission or not. As for this crystal ball nightlight, we don't need to sell it. Just consider it as our gain this time, okay? Xiaozu opened her mouth. In fact, what Sidiyu said was correct. Since we already know that Shen Fang and Zhang Wan will complete the challenge first, this task can indeed be done or not. The reason why Xiaozu wanted to do the task was not only to play with Sidiyu, but also to allow Sidiyu to perform more in front of the camera and attract more fans in the show. The day is the first day of the broadcast of Dating Season 2, and it has always attracted a lot of attention. The popularity peaks in the evening when the audience has gone off work. If she didn't take advantage of the opportunity to give Sidiyu more screen time and let him take care of her, it would be equivalent to her dragging down Sidiyu and delaying his opportunity to further attract popularity. But looking at Situyu's persistence, Xiaozu finally nodded silently. Accompanying Situyu, they sat on the row of benches in the audience seats in front of the stage. The two of them sat side by side, leaning on each other. Sidiyu would talk about some topics that sounded a bit silly from time to time, and Xiaozu would always patiently explain them to Sidiyu. For example, when Sidiyu saw an actor on the stage paint his face very white, he asked Xiaozu if the actor had fallen into flour. Seeing the Japanese tourists sitting next to her wearing yukata-s, Xiaozu asked what these colorful, loose and large clothes were called. Sometimes he would point to the starry night sky and ask Xiaozu which star she thought was the brightest. Although the photographer only sat behind them and took pictures of their backs, the audience felt particularly warm when they heard their conversation through the microphone. It feels so good to have a couple. This is my favorite couple besides Feng Ziwanwan. Xiaozu gave up the stage for Sidiyu, and Sidiyu jumped off the stage for Xiaozu. This is definitely true love. No wonder Xiaozu always calls Sidiyu Han. This guy is really a little silly, but very interesting. You are so close, can't you give me a kiss? Wait a minute. Is someone touching the gift bag next to you? Suddenly, a sharp-eyed audience member saw a sneaky hand from the edge of the picture. He grabbed the gift bag that Sidiyu had placed on the seat beside him and was trying to steal it quietly. And at this time, Sidiyu was chatting with Xiaozu. The accompanying photographer was adjusting the camera during his free time. The translator has nothing to do right now, so he's just browsing his phone. Director Chen, who should have noticed this scene, is now experiencing the regret after losing the bet with Zhang Wanwan. Just like a gambler who has lost all his money, he holds his head in his hands and says that he will never do it again. Then, while the audience was frantically posting comments like someone stole something, and Xiaoyu and Xiaozu turn around and look, the plastic bag had already been stolen. By the time Xiaozu and Sidiyu discovered that the bag was missing, the thief had already run away with the bag. Sidiyu was stunned at first. Then he hurriedly said to Xiaozu, "I'll chase him," and rushed over immediately. This crystal ball nightlight was earned by him and Sister Zhu through hard work. It is a souvenir they shared during their visit to Japan. How could it be stolen like this? Sidiyu is a silly guy, but he has good physical strength. Following the thief closely, the distance between them was getting closer and closer. When the thief saw Sidiyu chasing him so closely, he thought he couldn't escape by running normally, so he started to take a shortcut, climbed over the roadside stalls, and dived into the woods next to it. Sidiyu also hurriedly followed at the same time. The staff of the summer festival also discovered the fleeing thief and Sidiyu who was chasing him. This kind of situation has happened before in summer festivals. After all, there are so many people coming to the summer festival that it is easy for pickpockets to sneak in. So the staff of the summer festival immediately set off and helped Sidiyu search in the woods. The stall that the thief just robbed was the registration office for the Test of Courage competition. The staff of the Test of Courage conference moved the fastest and entered the woods first. Some enthusiastic staff members didn't even have time to remove their makeup. So after a while, we saw figures dressed in white with ferocious faces wandering in the woods. The thief doesn't know all this. At this time, the thief ran to the other side of the grove. He had just been circling around in the woods for a long time and had already left Sidiyu and others who were following him behind. He wiped the sweat from his forehead and cursed in Japanese. Damn it, this guy can really run. If I wasn't familiar with the roads here, I would have been caught up by him. I don't know what's in this bag that could make him chase me so fiercely. It has to be worth some money, otherwise all my running would be in vain. The thief muttered. He reached into the bag and took out the round object. Under the moonlight, the thief looked at the head in his hands. The eyes of the head were also staring at him. They looked at each other in silence. Each of them stared at each other for about 3 seconds. Immediately afterwards, the thief screamed, and then smashed the head in his hand away. When Sidiyu and the staff who came to chase the people heard the scream, they naturally rushed over. So, when the thief was scared and planned to flee, when he turned around, he saw Sadako walking towards him. The thief gasped in fear, sat down on the ground, and crouched backwards in panic. Immediately following, he saw Kayako, Toshio, zombies, Tengu and evil spirits next to Sadako again. Looking at that group of monsters and demons, the thief rolled his eyes decisively. He fainted on the spot. Sityu, who rushed over, looked at the head thrown away by the thief and thought about it for a long time in confusion. He couldn't figure it out. Why did a crystal ball turn into a human head? Was it the way he held it that was wrong? Chapter 401. Pretty good. As special guests, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan were originally only going to participate in the live broadcast and recording of the first episode at Dating Season 2. However, because director Chen had been unlucky before and lost to Japanese meals to Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng stayed in Japan for 2 more days. 2 additional episodes were filmed. After the meal, director Chen couldn't help but shed tears when he sent Shen Feng, Zhang Wanwan and others to board the plane back home. Director Chen, even though we have a good relationship, you don't have to act so sad when you send us off. We will see each other again in the future. Zhang Wanwan comforted director Chen. What's the point of being sad? I just feel bad about my money. Director Chen sniffed. That meal cost tens of thousands of RMB. I have never eaten such an expensive meal in my life. Zhang Wanwan looked at director Chen with sympathy. Then asked, do you want to eat such an expensive meal? Director Chen wiped his tears and said, why, are you going to treat me? Zhang Wanwan still has some conscience. Zhang Wanwan took out a piece of bread from her backpack. You give me 1 million yen and I'll give you this piece of bread. Director Chen, do you think I'm stupid? Zhang Wanwan blinked innocently. Didn't you say you've never eaten such an expensive meal? You bought my bread for 1 million and then ate it. You got such an expensive meal, didn't you? Director Chen looked at the bread in silence for a long time. Finally he waved at the 2 of them and said, hurry up and get on the plane. If I could ascend the throne, I would definitely make you Director Chen, a high-ranking official, at least a chief steward. Zhang Wanwan laughed and pulled Shen Feng to get on the plane. After returning to China by plane, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan went to Zhang Ziyiqi's house first. Go see their 2 adorable little babies. Although Zhang Wanwan seems heartless, she still cares a lot about her children. During the days that Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan were abroad, they would make video calls to Zhang Ziyiqi and Su Yan, or Shen Xiaoji Yuo and Tang Ping every night to see Shuo and Xiao King. Of these 4 elderly people, 2 wanted to take care of their grandchildren and 2 wanted to take care of their grandchildren. So they also reached an agreement. The child will be taken care of by Tang Ping and Shen Xiaoji Yuo on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, by Zhang Ziyiqi and Su Yan on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays, and the 2 families will take care of the child together on Sundays. For convenience, Shen Xiaoji Yuo even sold the supermarket in Qingliu County, rented out the house, and bought another house in Zhang Ziyi's community to live in. Anyway, Shen Feng is successful now and no longer needs them to make money. The day Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan returned was Sunday. Pei Ping and Shen Xiaoji Yuo both came to Zhang Ziyi's house to help take care of the children. Seeing the 2 people coming back, WOTU was the first to greet them. Shen Xiaoji Yuo, Tang Ping and others also came out with their babies in their arms. Looking at Shen Weiyu in Tang Ping's arms, Zhang Wanwan showed a gentle smile on her face. She stretched out her hand and waved it in front of Shen Weiyu's eyes. And Shuo stretched out her white and tender little hands, trying to grab Zhang Wanwan's hand. Shen Feng went to find Shen Xiaoji Yuo and asked about the recent situation at home. After Shen Xiaoji Yuo briefly said a few words to Shen Feng, he called Zhang Ziyiqi, who was busy in the kitchen, and the 3 men went to the study upstairs together. Dad, what's wrong? Why is it so formal? Shen Feng and Shen Xiaoji Yuo rarely have this kind of conversation in the study. It can be seen that Shen Xiaoji Yuo must have something serious to discuss. Shen Xiaoji Yuo and Zhang Ziyiqi looked at each other, then said to Shen Feng, Feng Zi, the child is more than 2 months old now. It's almost time for you and Wanwan's wedding to take place, right? Yes, I told Lao Shen before that I would arrange your wedding, but you always said that you can just do it yourself later. Now it's time to put the wedding on the agenda. Zhang Ziyiqi also said. After hearing this, Shen Feng smiled and said, don't worry, I have almost prepared most of the wedding with Wanwan. But we still have to attend the press conference and premiere of Red Butterfly. Once all these are taken care of, it will probably take another half a month before I can hold my wedding with Wanwan. You kid, you didn't even tell us old people about your wedding plan. You've never been married before, do you know how to have a wedding? Shen Xiaoji Yuo glanced at Shen Feng with some dissatisfaction. He thinks Feng Zi is good in every way now, except that she is a little too opinionated. No matter big or small, she rarely discusses things with them now. And Feng Zi makes all the decisions on her own. Chen Xiaojiyuo felt that he had been eating for decades longer than Shen Feng, and had more knowledge and experience than Shen Feng. When encountering some major issues, Shen Feng should discuss them with him. Although I've never been married before, but even if I haven't eaten pork, I've seen pigs run, so I think my preparations are pretty good. Shen Feng said. Young people tend to be complacent. You may think you are ready, but there are many details that you can't even imagine. Chen Xiaojiyuo lit a cigarette and took it, then said earnestly. Feng Zi, I'll give you the simplest example. Have you ordered the wedding car for the wedding? Yes, I asked Jiang Tianming to contact his friends who like cars and ordered a few top-of-the-line luxury cars. Well, what about the best man and bridesmaid? For best men, I have Jia Tenan, Xiaotian Shu, Shang Wei, and Sidu Yu. For bridesmaids, I want to invite Chen Lu, Meng An, and Xiao Zhu. Well, that looks like your dresses. You haven't found anyone to design them yet, right? We found the famous designer Liu Daoxing. He should be quite famous. What about jewelry, rings and stuff if you're getting married? You can't just buy any ring, right? MRQN from Mingyu Jewelry agreed to personally design a set for me in Wanwan. Chen Xiaojiyuo hung for a long time this time, but couldn't come up with anything. Shen Feng smiled and said, I have already made a list of the relatives and friends I invited. But because Wanwan said she didn't want to invite too many relatives who she doesn't interact with very often, there aren't many people on the list. I also asked Sister Lin to help me find a professional photographer in the industry to take our wedding photos and video. I have also already negotiated with the media. Listen to Shen Feng talk a lot again. The corners of Shen Xiaojiyuo's mouth couldn't help but twitch unnaturally. But he say that many of the things Shen Feng mentioned were things he hadn't even remembered? This Feng Zi doesn't look like she has never been married. It's like he's a professional who has been married hundreds of times. Chen Xiaojiyuo held the cigarette for a long time without taking more than 2 puffs. Finally, I could only sigh and say, it's pretty good. Chapter 402, Car Crash. The press conference and premiere of Red Butterfly began to be prepared 3 days after Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan returned to China. During the preparation period, the original songs Shanghan and Shiqian Qiu, which received a lot of praise from last year's youth group program, were also brought out by the Red Butterfly crew and used for film promotion. Loaded and Shiqian Qiu, these 2 programs are still highly discussed until now, because this is indeed the most outstanding work in the Chinese music scene in recent years, especially Shiqian Qiu. This song was even selected as the Song of the Year in 2021, with twice as many votes as the second place Loaded. These 2 songs were used to promote Red Butterfly, which can be said to have helped the crew earn enough traffic. Moreover, when Shen Feng, Zhang Wanwan, Li Mingyu and Wen Hua designed these 2 songs, they used the script of Red Butterfly as a blueprint. Naturally, these 2 songs are perfectly in line with the plot of Red Butterfly, and can be used as promotional songs for the movie. About half a month later, the press conference and premiere of Red Butterfly ended one after another, and Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan were finally able to start preparing for their wedding. Although he said he had started preparations, in fact, Shen Sheng had already arranged almost all the things, big and small. Zhang Wanwan just roughly learned the wedding process. Moreover, it is an ethnical performance-based learning, because Shen Chen said that he had prepared a lot of surprises for the wedding ceremony and didn't want Zhang Wanwan to see them in advance. Even though Zhang Wanwan tried hard to persuade him, acted coquettish lie, and even used her body to seduce him, Shen Feng remained unmoved. This made Zhang Wanwan even more curious. Other people are waiting for their weddings, feeling nervous and happy. But I have to battle wits and courage with my husband every day to guess what my wedding will be like. Zhang Wanwan squatted beside the crib, teasing the baby while speaking with melancholy. When Shen Feng saw Zhang Wanwan pouting, he smiled, picked her up and carried her to the bed. Then he pressed down on Zhang Wanwan and whispered, I have to keep it a secret from you for now about what the wedding is like. But what does the bridal chamber look like after the wedding? If you are curious, I can practice with you now. Zhang Wanwan, the baby isn't asleep yet. Shen Feng smiled and lifted Zhang Wanwan's chin. It's good that you're not asleep yet, so you can scream louder without worrying about waking them up. Zhang Wanwan's face was as red as a red thing, but before she could say anything else, Shen Feng kissed her. The wedding is scheduled for November 11th. When the 2 announced their wedding date online, an unromantic netizen made the following comment. These 2 are so mean, showing affection on Singles Day. Isn't this dog abuse? But such remarks were immediately refuted by more netizens. Netizens said, what do you know? November 11 means one-hearted and one lifetime love. How romantic. That's right, there is only one in the date. Which implies that you are my only one. Can this be called bad? This is called pampering. Is it sweet? It's so sweet that it's killing me. Then, during a live broadcast of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, a viewer specifically asked Shen Shang and Zhang Wanwan whether they chose Double 11 to get married because of its connotation of for a lifetime. Wholeheartedly. Zhang Wanwan blinked her eyes and said in confusion, Double 11 is still like this? I just thought that getting married on Singles Day would be fun. So I chose to get married on Double 11, I didn't think about anything else. Netizen. Some netizens expressed their dissatisfaction. Although Wan Ji did not expect it, Feng Zi agreed to get married on such an outrageous day. So she must have known the meaning of Double 11. Shen Feng fed Zhang Wanwan something to eat and said, I don't care about the meaning, as long as Wanwan is happy. Netizen. The days passed one by one, and soon it was November 10th. The day before Singles Day was also the day before Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan's wedding. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan's small villa was forcefully occupied by Zhang Wanwan's bridesmaids. And Shen Sheng was also kicked out of the villa. He said he wanted to accompany Zhang Wanwan to a bachelor party and spend her last single night. This made Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan speechless. Their child is already several months old. So why hold a bachelor party? Shen Feng's best man was also busy. Seeing Shen Feng being kicked out, Zhang Qianming immediately brought the groomsmen to save the situation. Although Zhang Qianming is considered a relative of the bride and not a best man, he has gathered Shen Feng's best men to throw a bachelor party for Shen Feng. How's this party going? Shen Feng and his best men sat on the steps in front of the villa. Shen Sheng looked around and finally asked. The other groomsmen all looked at Zhang Qianming, who was organizing the bachelor party. Zhang Qianming said, My buddy held a bachelor party before, just going to the bar to dance, drink and have fun. I am a public figure after all. Isn't it inappropriate to go to a bar to sing and dance? Jayet Nan raised his hand first. I am a public figure after all. Isn't it inappropriate to go to a bar to sing and dance? Xiao Tianshu also said. Then Xiao Tianshu looked at Chang Wei again. Chang Wei looked at Sidiyu, and Sidiyu looked at Zhang Qianming again. Zhang Qianming finally looked at Shen Feng helplessly. Well, it seems that it is not appropriate for us to hold a bachelor party in a public place. A gust of cold wind blew by, and several grown men sitting on the steps of the villa shivered. The scene was more or less desolate. In the end, Zhang Qianming took Shen Feng and the others to his house in Zhongye City to rest for a while. Everyone who had nothing to do finally decided to play a game of King of Glory. Shen Feng, Zhang Qianming, Jia Tenan, Shang Wei, Situ Yu, and Xiao Tianshu, a total of 6 people. Originally everyone thought that Situ might not play King of Glory. But after the last question, we found out that Situ not only plays, but also has a very high rank. Situ said very embarrassed lie. Yes, it was Sister Zhu who took me out to play. I'm not that good. And I was always a burden to her. On the contrary, Shang Wei, because he is older, doesn't play much and his rank is not high enough for 5-man teams. So Shang Wei asked Shen Feng to project their game screen onto the TV. And he was responsible for supervising the battle and watching Shen Feng and the others fight. After choosing the hero, Shen Feng went to the toilet first. But when he came back from the toilet, he found that everyone present had strange expressions. It was an expression that was difficult to describe. It's like the expression of a patient who has suffered from constipation for 10 years and had a spicy hot pot last night, and is now squatting on the toilet and questioning his life. Shen Feng raised his eyebrows and asked, What's wrong with you? Did you see a ghost? Zhang Qianming didn't reply to him, but just gestured to him, asking him to check his phone. Shen Sheng picked up the phone and took a look. Soon, his expression became similar to that of Zhang Qianming and others. Because at this time, the game loading interface of Honor of Kings, Shen Feng clearly saw that the ID on one of the enemy's business cards read 1G is invincible. Not only that, there is also Li Yuya's game ID, Yu Yibei, Li Tingting's ID Fat Cat Charge, Xiaozu's ID Protect Our Silly, and in Zhang Wanwan's villa, Zhang Wanwan and the bridesmaids, who also decided to play in 5 rows because they didn't know what to play, had the same expressions on their faces as Shen Feng and the others. Sister Lin, who was leaning in King King's arms, originally wanted to be a leisurely spectator watching the game with her CEO. After seeing the other party's ID on the projection screen, Sister Lin immediately became alert. It seemed as if 6 words were written on her face. Fight, fight. Chapter 403, Big Melee 2-in-1. When loading is finished, after 10 people entered the battlefield together, neither the boys group on Shen Feng's side nor the girls group on Zhang Wanwan's side moved first. Even the soldiers in the game strode out of the base and onto the battlefield to fight each other. And none of the 10 people moved first. This is the boys group. Zhang Qianming looked at Shen Feng and asked, Brother-in-law, what do you say? We all know what level my sister and you are at. Shen Feng held the phone and said slowly, We have to fight. But we also have to release the water. I roughly looked at the matchups. And it's basically each team against each other whether you want to win the game or keep yourself safe. It all depends on how you think. A girls' group. After the girls were silent for a long time, Sister Lin, who was just watching the fun, didn't mind making a fuss. If you ask me, they will definitely give in to you later. If we let them go, then this game would be too boring. Why don't they let them off and you guys let them off too? And see who performs worse, how about that? Zhang Wanwan sighed and looked at Sister Lin. Why didn't I realize you were so bad before? Sister Lin glared at her. And Zhang Wanwan shrank her head in fear, then she said, but it's good to play this way. I want to see how far Feng Zi and the others can go. Seeing that the second wave of soldiers were about to leave the base, Zhang Wanwan immediately typed a line of words on the game screen. All 1GEWUD, Feng Zi, and everyone else, don't let us down just because our opponents are us. We need to fight in a fair and square battle. After saying that, Zhang Wanwan took the lead and rushed out of their own base. She was playing Luna in the jungle position this time because she watched Shen Feng play it a lot. She also wanted to give it a try. The highlight of this hero is that he is difficult to play and his combat effectiveness is average before his ultimate skill. Zhang Wanwan swaggered into her own jungle area, and found that Shen Feng, the opposing jungler, was using Pei Yuan who was extremely powerful in the early stage, to attack the blue buff in her blue zone. But Feng Zi, you're going to counterattack right away, you really won't let me win, right? Zhang Wanwan has always been a person with a bad temper. Seeing that Shen Sheng was playing so seriously and even trying to counter jungle, Zhang Wanwan immediately rushed up, not wanting to be outdone. Regardless of whether Luna could defeat Shen Feng's Pei Yuan in the early stage, he just chased Shen Feng and attacked him randomly. Shen Sheng seemed to ignore Zhang Wanwan and just chased the blue buff with a basic attack. I don't know if it was a coincidence or what, Shen Feng seemed to think that he could get the blue buff perfectly. After a punishment, he immediately transformed into a tiger and jumped out of Zhang Wanwan's jungle area. Zhang Wanwan was controlling Luna, staring blankly at Shen Feng, who was leaving for a long time. Because the punishment before Shen Feng jumped away did not kill the blue buff, but only hit it until only a trace of blood was left. But it be that Feng Zi didn't calculate the blood volume correctly? Or did Feng Zi actually do it on purpose? That's not right. If it was intentional, the calculation would be too accurate, right? Zhang Wanwan, who was hit twice by the blue buff, was puzzled. She took down this wild monster that was very useful to Luna in the early stage with one sword, and continued to gallop in her wild area. Soon, she saw a message from Shen Feng on the public screen. Oh Feng Zi, I brought the wrong inscription. The damage is a bit low, I lost. Zhang Wanwan suddenly realized. I was wondering how Feng Zi could have made a mistake. Turns out he brought the wrong inscription. Oh my, I thought he was letting me win. Hearing Zhang Wanwan say this, the other girls in the room looked at her with strange eyes. Finally, it was Sister Lin who spoke first. Silly girl. Do you really believe it? Shen Sheng didn't even hit you just now. And he also deliberately avoided the blue buff with his skills before leaving. Isn't this clearly giving it to you? Zhang Wanwan blinked her eyes. Really? With an experimental mentality, she bravely broke into Shen Feng's wild area. After seeing Shen Feng hitting the red buff, he went up and started hacking at him wildly. As expected, Shen Feng didn't hit her and focused on hitting the red. Then when the red buff had only a little health left, he turned into a tiger and jumped away. Zhang Wanwan immediately yelled on the public screen. Oh 1G Wudi, come back. Shen Feng, who turned into a tiger, jumped back. The red buff with low health also turned around and punched Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan was still protesting against Shen Feng. All 1G Wudi, although I know you want to let me win, it's too obvious. All 1GEWUD, you think you can fool me with such an obvious trick? Do you think I'm a fool? After hearing these words, the other women in the room looked at Zhang Wanwan with strange eyes again. Aren't you just deceived? Seeing that Shen Feng didn't say anything, Zhang Wanwan spoke again. All 1GEWUD, Feng Zi. This is a competitive game, we must have a competitive spirit. Even if you are letting me win, you have to at least hit me. Chen Cheng went up and scratched Zhang Wanwan with his claws, then stood still. All 1GEWD. Zhang Wanwan looked at the tiger controlled by Shen Feng in the game. Shen Feng also looked at Luna controlled by Zhang Wanwan. Neither of them moved again. Through the screen, the two seemed to be looking at each other. Suddenly, Shen Feng's tiger bit him. That's when Zhang Wanwan thought that Shen Feng finally couldn't help himself and was about to take action. But she saw that Shen Feng bit the red buff next to her to death with one bite. Zhang Wanwan only noticed at this moment that just when she and Shen Feng were pretending to be wooden men, the diligent red buff had almost beaten her to death. Zhang Wanwan, whose life was saved by Shen Feng, felt mixed emotions. She silently controlled the character in the game and left Shen Feng's wild area. Then he was taken away by a cannonball from Jiang Tianming, who was playing Lubin in the bottom lane. Jiang Wanwan. Jiang Tianming. Bo Wangchuan east to the sea. Sister, if I say I don't want to hit you, do you believe me? Jiang Tianming didn't know whether Jiang Wanwan believed it or not. But Jiang Tianming soon saw that Shen Feng's Peikyuan who jumped directly to his bottom lane. Then he ruthlessly ate up all the soldiers in the bottom lane and the health packs behind the tower. Jiang Tianming looked at Shen Feng with resentment. But soon he saw Sun Shang Xiang, played by Li Yuya, roll over and chase Shen Feng, attacking him crazily. Shen Feng was soft on Jiang Wanwan, but he was not soft at all on his own sister. He was in good condition after eating the health pack and had the red buff. So he counterattacked and killed Li Yuya's squishy shooter in seconds. Although Jiang Tianming was very afraid of his brother-in-law, he immediately stood up when he saw his wife being bullied. Following behind Shen Feng, he robbed Shen Feng of several wild monsters. He also took away the low health buff that Shen Feng deliberately left for Jiang Wanwan when he went to counter Jiang Wanwan in the jungle. When Jiang Wanwan saw it, she rolled up her sleeves as well. Without saying a word, he chased Jiang Tianming and started chopping the braised egg. However, Jiang Wanwan was indeed not very good at playing this kind of operational character. Not only did she fail to win after a fight, but she also interrupted her ultimate move. Jiang Wanwan could only flee in panic, and happened to meet the support Song Kui played by the opposing player Jie Etnan in the jungle. Jie Etnan's health level is also very dangerous at the moment. And he and Jiang Wanwan are both in a state of low health. Naturally, Jie Etnan didn't dare to hit Jiang Wanwan. And Jiang Wanwan also deliberately avoided Jie Etnan. At this time, Jiang Wanwan's assistant Li Tingting roamed over. After weighing the pros and cons, Li Tingting decisively chose to help Jiang Wanwan. She controlled Da Qiao to use a skill, which happened to trigger Zhong Kui's passive ability to counterattack. Jiang Wanwan's Luna's screen was blown black on the spot, and Jie Etnan was also killed by Li Tingting's subsequent damage. Li Tingting had good intentions but ended up doing something bad. She was just about to pretend to be stupid and go back to the city. But a Shencheng emerged from the grass and bit her back to the spring in a few bites. When Jie Etnan saw this, he also made up his mind when Shen Feng hit the buff. He controlled Song Kui to hook the buff out of the hatred range again and again. Jiang Wanwan was killed by Jie Etnan once, and when she saw Jie Etnan doing something bad again, she chased Jie Etnan and started fighting him again. After all, Jie Etnan was a support. He was beaten and ran away in panic. He ran to the middle lane to ask Sidiyu for support. But in the middle lane, Xiaozu was letting Sidiyu go. And Sidiyu was not able to beat Xiaozu anyway. He was in a difficult situation, and when he saw someone coming, he turned around and ran away. When Jie Etnan saw that no one was saving him, he decided to take someone with him even if he died. So he hooked Li Yuya, who wanted to come to the middle to help. Li Yuya was lured under the tower by Jie Etnan and was beaten to death by the tower. When Jiang Tianming saw that his wife fell again, he suddenly chased Jie Etnan's wife Li Tingting and started killing her. Suddenly, the entire middle and lower jungle areas became a mess. Everyone is lenient with their own wives and starts chasing after other people's wives. There is only Confrontation Road. Xiaoqian Shu and Chen Lu, who were laning peacefully, were quietly killing the opposing minions. Neither of them fought each other, and no one cared about the war on other roads. The years are quiet and good. Until the others ran to the top lane in a chaotic fight. Jie Etnan Song Kui hooked Chen Lu into the battle, and Xiaozu Shishi also dragged Xiaoqian Shu into the melee. This last Pure Land. It's completely gone. The two sides played this game for more than 30 minutes. No one was pushing the tower, and no one was fighting the dragon. The lonely Storm Lord stood alone for more than 10 minutes, watching 10 people attacking him again and again, but no one paid any attention to him. For the first time, I felt how low my sense of existence was. What's more, although the overall strength of the girl group is slightly weaker, they are still more united than the boy group. Under the intrigue and letting go of the boys group, the girls group really fought back and forth with the other side. In the end, it was the soldier who ended the game. The soldiers in the later period were as brave as Superman. Every blow from their hammers could knock off a large layer of blood from the bodies of the people in the melee. The soldiers on the girls' team advanced rapidly and finally flattened the boys' team's base. After the fight, the hands of the people on Shen Feng's side and Jiang Wanwan's side were covered in sweat. I never thought that one day I would be so exhausted from playing games. Jiang Tianming wiped the sweat from his forehead and said helplessly. Later on, everyone was so excited in the melee that they basically waited to be resurrected after death, and then continued fighting after being resurrected. 10 people fight from the bottom lane to the top lane, and there may be only 2 left. Then fight back from the bottom lane to the top lane, and maybe the number of people will return to 10. Also, when fighting, you must be careful not to let your skills affect your own girl, and not to kill her accidentally. This further increases the difficulty of the melee. Jay Adnan also wiped his sweat and said, I didn't expect that playing support would be so tiring. He felt that his Zhang Kui hook was going to break today. From Shen Sheng's buff to the enemies on the opposite side except Li Dingting. He basically hooked everything he saw. He doesn't care whether he can defeat the person he hooks, or whether he will kill his teammates. Highlight a confusing mentality. Shen Feng answered a phone call at this time after saying a few words. He turned the phone to speakerphone. Just when everyone was confused, they heard Zhang Wanwan's voice on the phone. Zhang Tianming, did you enjoy killing me just now? The sweat on Zhang Tianming's forehead instantly turned into cold sweat. Sister, When Li Yuya heard her man being scolded, she immediately said to Shen Feng, brother, you just killed me. And you killed me more than 10 times. What's wrong? Shen Feng replied calmly. Li Yuya. Okay, she forgot that she didn't have the kind of perceivus power that Zhang Wanwan had. Silly carrot, I can't avenge you. Several people chatted on the phone for a long time. And suddenly Jay Adnan said, no, are we just bored? We are in the same city. Only 2 blocks away if you want to play games or chat about something. Why don't you just talk in person? Why do you have to call? Everyone fell into deep thought for a while. After pondering for a long time, the men drove back to Zhang Wanwan's villa in silence. They also discovered that having a bachelor party was pretty boring. It's more interesting to accompany your own wife. Looking at the men and women leaning on each other, Chen Lu, Xiao Chanshu, Shang Wei and Meng all sighed silently. They felt that they were more or less out of place, because other people are either boyfriends or girlfriends, or husbands or wives. Only they haven't confirmed their relationship at all. Shang Wei rubbed his hands, looked at Meng Yan and whispered, hey, we've known each other for so many years, why don't we just make do? Meng Yan rolled his eyes at Shang Wei, what do you mean by just making do? If you really like me, come and chase me. If you don't like me, let's not talk about it. Do you think I'm the kind of person who just wants to get by? When Shang Wei heard this, he knew he had a chance and a smile immediately appeared on his face. Xiao Chanshu, who was standing by, looked at Chen Lu and scratched his head. Then should we also? Excuse me. Chen Lu gave Xiao Chanshu an apologetic look. Do you have a partner? Xiao Chanshu felt a little regretful, but still said, that doesn't matter, we can still be friends. No, I mean. Chen Lu took off the wireless headphones in her ears and looked at Xiao Chanshu again. What did you just say? I didn't hear you. Xiao Chanshu was silent for a moment. Finally, he said loudly, I just want to ask you if you have a partner. Chapter 400 for Will You Marry Me? November 11th. Clear. The annual Singles Day is also the day when many people go shopping. In previous years, many people would wait on major e-commerce platforms, waiting to watch the live broadcasts of anchors selling goods and select the discounted products they wanted. But this year's Double 11 is slightly different. Many people are lurking on Weibo, especially in the super topics of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. Keep pressing the refresh button. I just wanted to see if I could get first-hand information about Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan's wedding. Thinking about it carefully, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan have experienced a lot in the past year. From the very beginning, Zhang Wanwan rashly took Shen Feng to get the marriage certificate and almost breached the contract in paid compensation. Later, Shen Feng found a way to participate in Let's Start Dating Today with Zhang Wanwan, and gained their first batch of brother fans and CP fans. Later, when date was in the middle and late stages, the two people officially announced their relationship on Weibo. That day, Weibo became a hot topic and they received so many blessings. Their CP fans call themselves Quan Suo fans, and these fans call them the Quan Suo couple. The meme of 9 rings locking your head became popular. And even now, it is still a very representative meme of the two. Dare to mess with Feng Zi and Wan Ji, believe it or not? I will lock all your bicycles with circle locks tomorrow. Every time a circle of fans has an argument with someone, this sentence seems to be indispensable. A piece of piano for hands, a photo of an old fox and a kitten, and a beautiful picture of them hugging each other under the sunset in a nursing home. It depicts fans' most beautiful imagination of love. Later, the filming of Date was completed. In the love nest of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, they reveal their true past to each other. Zhang Wanwan still can't forget those days when she couldn't get out of bed. The advertising contract of Mingyu Jewelry allowed the world to witness Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan's top acting skills that surpassed Fu Yan. It also witnessed the lost and regained love between Sister Lin and King King. After filming the Mingyu Jewelry advertisement, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan's popularity truly reached a peak. This was their first peak and the beginning of their continued rise. After returning to Zhangye City, Shen Feng taught his little cousin Li Yuya a lesson. On Zhang Zhiqi's birthday, he won the final recognition from his father-in-law. From today on, no one will hinder his love with Zhang Wanwan. During the several-month-long recording of Youth Group, Jiang Jianning turned over a new leaf and Liu Ya bravely pursued love. Silly carrot, if someone bullies you, I will help you bully them back. I like you, my brother has the final say, but I have the final say. This silly boy city you finally got the love that belonged to him. The song Shikian Qiu was played, the people on the stage were dancing. Sityu and Xiaozu and the audience were dancing. As the dance ended, Sityu also jumped off the stage. When he dances, he is stunningly graceful and elegant, displaying his full charm. He leapt, but in his impatience he stumbled. Because the little bear in the audience is the most important person to him, he couldn't wait to be in her arms, and wanted to hold her in his arms. It was also during the recording of Youth Group that Wan had a child. In order to prepare for the subsequent filming of Red Butterfly, she had a battle of wits and courage with her parents for a while. Fortunately, it didn't delay the filming in the end. Zhang Wan still remembers that the invincible Shen Feng fell down in front of her. At that time, she was a little crybaby and Shen Feng was a chronic crybaby. They agreed to take care of themselves and not make each other worry. Afterwards, they performed on Zhonghai City Spring Festival Gala for the first time. It was the first time we spent the new year together as a couple. The first time they went to the temple fair hand in hand. They made clay figurines, which Zhang Wan still keeps at home. He went to Beijing with Shen Feng again to arrange the wedding for Jiat Nan. It was the first time for me to witness my best friend getting married and walking into the marriage hall hand in hand. In the following months, she was kept at home by Shen Feng like a little lazy pig, watching my belly getting bigger day by day, waiting for the baby to be born. After the rain in late summer and early autumn, Zhang Wan and Shen Feng had two children of their own, a brother and a sister. The brother's name is Shen Weiyu and the sister's name is Shen Yu King. The autumn wind suddenly rises, the rain turns clear again. I'm glad to see you, and I'll spend the rest of my life with you. Then there was the recording of Dating Season 2 and the press conference of Red Butterfly. Finally, until today, it was their wedding. At this time, the wedding scene, these memories unique to Shen Feng and Zhang Wan were being played on the big screen at the back. Zhang Wan couldn't help but feel tears in her eyes when she thought about all these past events. This is the most mysterious and precious gift Shen Feng prepared for her. The memories between them are hard to part with. There are many photos among them, and Zhang Wan doesn't even know when Shen Feng took them. But she could see. Shen Feng took every photo with great care. Shen Cheng held Zhang Wan's hand and looked at the few guests present. He smiled gently and said slowly, "Actually, I am not a person who likes taking photos very much. Because there was a period of time when I felt that taking photos was a very meaningless thing. Luckily I was able to meet Wan Ji again, because I found that as long as she was in the camera, everything was meaningful. I suddenly want to tell a story. There was once a fisherman who was lost in a dark river bay while sailing. He went round and round in the same repetitive landscape for 800 years. Until one day, he finally saw a glimmer of light in the darkness, and he realized that the little girl who had sent him out of the harbor that year was still holding a lamp and waiting for him." Shen Feng hugged Zhang Wan, and his eyes shifted from the guest to Zhang Wan. The fisherman said that he had been trapped in the river bend for 800 years. The girl said that when she heard that the fisherman had died, she stood alone at the harbor holding a lantern for the fisherman for 10 years. And then she jumped into the river as well. They don't know why they can still see each other now. This may be destiny, or it may just be a dream. But no matter what, he and she finally joined hands and became husband and wife. After saying this, Shen Feng laughed again. He bowed slightly to the guests and said apologetically, "Sorry, it seems that I said something irrelevant. Anyway, I'm very happy to invite you to be witnesses to my and Wan's wedding." Speaking of, the lights in the room dimmed a little and became softer. The photos on the screen at the back also came to an end. The house was filled with a shower of roses, with petals falling slowly under the gentle light. Shen Feng took out the ring, knelt on one knee, and held Zhang Wan's hand. "Ms. Zhang Wan, even though we already have a child, I still want to ask that question in a very old-fashioned way. Will you marry me?" Zhang Wan's tears fell uncontrollably, but the corners of her mouth also rose uncontrollably. Her acting skills seemed to be useless at this moment. Unable to suppress her emotions, she shouted out the 3 words that she had rehearsed in her mind thousands of times. "I do." The ring symbolizing love was worn on Zhang Wan's hand. And at this time, the photo on the big screen behind was playing to the end. The photos gradually shrank, and finally slowly converged into the shape of a fox and a cat. After putting the ring on Zhang Wan's finger, Shen Feng hugged his wife tightly, whispered softly in her ear, "I love you, little kitty who has lived to lives. Me too, an old fox who has lived for 800 years. Flowers are raining down from the sky. A kiss, a deep love. 10 years is long, but 100 years is longer. But we know someone is waiting. So no matter how long time passes, it can't erode us. So we can meet again. End of text. Chapter 405. Fang Zi's Daily Life Part 1. July 312,021. Shensheng's 114,514th cycle. Waking up at 6 in the morning, Shen Feng pressed the alarm clock as if he was in a familiar position and climbed out of bed. After yawning, Shen Feng washed his face and left his room in his shorts. When he was walking on the street, people on the street looked at him as if he was a lunatic. Fuck, what's wrong with this guy? A weird pigeon swimming in the middle sea. But it's not winter yet. Be a hooligan. Hey, the boy is pretty handsome. Listening to the pointing and talking around him, Shensheng did not react at all. He walked straight into a nearby commercial street because it was too early. Many shops were not open for business yet. Shensheng took a casual look, then took off his slippers and threw them into the sky. The slippers fell to the ground and pointed to the Nike flagship store next to it. Shenfeng put his slippers back on and walked to the door of the Nike flagship store. He wanted to pry open the door lock, but then he remembered that he didn't seem to have taken the wire with him when he went out today. After thinking about it, he found a nearby fire extinguisher box and picked up the fire axe inside. Under the shocked gaze of an old man who was taking a walk passing by, he swung his sword desperately at the most fragile display window. A man who was taking a walk was so scared that he quickly called the police. But Shensheng had already smashed the window, stepped on the broken glass without a care, walked through the window and into the store. He went straight to the light switch in the store as if he had returned home. Then I started walking around the store. What should I wear today? Shensheng walked around in his shorts for a long time, and finally decided to go for a casual look today. After taking off a few of the most pleasing casual clothes from the model and picking out a pair of sneakers that best suited his feet, Shensheng picked up a baseball cap and put it on himself, then walked out through the broken window in a swagger. The police car was driving very fast when Shenfeng walked out of the Nike flagship store. The police car was already blocking the door. The policeman looked at Shenfeng sternly and shouted, "Don't move, put your hands up." Shenfeng raised his hand obediently. Seeing how honest he was, the police were a little confused, but he still went forward and handcuffed him. Then he said to him, "Get in the car." "Oh." Shenfeng said, "Oh." Then he walked to the car. Just as the police were about to take him to the back seat, he stretched out his hand and opened the front door. "Sit in the driver's seat." The police were stunned. Before they could react, Shenfeng suddenly stepped on the accelerator. He just drove away in the police car. Chase. Upon seeing this, the police hurriedly chased after them and contacted headquarters to dispatch support. Shenfeng sat leisurely in the car, and the handcuffs on his hands were easily undone by him as if by magic. He drove all the way, listening to the sirens wailing behind him. But he was not in a hurry, until the road was full of people. They were surrounded and blocked by the police. Shenfeng stopped the car. Seeing Shenfeng parked the car, the police surrounded him. But when they opened the car door with guns held vigilantly, but I found that there was no one in the driver's seat. Their faces were filled with astonishment and confusion. Shenfeng, who had quietly opened the door and left the back seat at some point, took off his coat and baseball cap, walked up to the pancake stall owner on the roadside who was stunned by the scene, and spoke gently. "Boss, give me a set of pancakes, sausage, and 2 eggs. You. The boss pointed at Shenfeng for a long time. Trembling, Shenfeng smiled, "I am in plain clothes. On a mission, and I didn't eat sorry." Oh. Okay comrade, wait a moment. The boss hurriedly made a pancake for Shenfeng. Shenfeng ate a pancake while walking and passed through a nearby street park. Next to the artificial lake in the park, a man and a woman seemed to be having a conflict. The man coaxed the woman humbly, and the woman seemed to be a little soft-hearted. Shenfeng chewed a pancake and stood by and watched for a while. Just when the woman wanted to forgive the man, Shenfeng said, "Sister, this brother is hanging you because he sees that you are rich and wants to spend your money. Look at his chat history on his phone. He was chatting with 2 or 3 girls. He even told one of them that you are a fat woman, and that it's great to have a fat woman who is willing to spend money to support you." The woman glared at the man when she heard it, and the man said in panic, "No, nothing." Then he rushed towards Shenfeng angrily, grabbed Shenfeng's collar and said, "Boy, can you stop talking nonsense? Are you looking for a fight?" Shenfeng smiled and ignored the man. Instead, he said to the woman, "Sister, go on." Immediately afterwards, the man saw Shenfeng throw something to the woman. That was obviously his cell phone. "My cell phone? When did you?" The man wanted to ask when Shenfeng took it away, but seeing that the woman was already trying to open his phone, the man could not care less and hurried to the woman and said, "Baby, don't listen to that psychopath's nonsense. How could he know my chat history? He made it all up. The password of his cell phone is 970,611. which means June 111,998, his girlfriend's birthday. But it seems it's not your birthday, sister. Chen Sheng took another bite of pancake and said. The man became even more panicked when he heard this, and tried desperately to get the phone back. When the woman saw his expression, she knew that he was hiding something from her, and she kicked the man aside mercilessly. Then he opened the phone according to the password Shen Feng gave him and looked at the man's chat history. Her face turned from white to blue and then to red. Finally she angrily threw her phone into the artificial lake. And she pressed her massive body directly on the man and chased him and beat him up. As more and more people came to watch, Shen Feng left the scene hiding his merit and fame. He had seen this man and this woman quarrel thousands of times. And when he had nothing to do, he would steal the man's cell phone to study it. When leaving the street park, Shen Feng had finished eating his pancakes. After throwing the bag into the trash can, Shen Feng looked at the time. At a clock. It's quite early. Thinking that the artificial intelligence robots he saw a few days ago were quite interesting, Shen Feng took a taxi and went to the factory headquarters of Fenglei Technology. Of course, not everyone can enter this core technical area. So when Shen Feng arrived, he was stopped by the security guard at the door. Hello sir, if you do not have an employee pass or a company invitation, you are not authorized to enter the factory area. Shen Feng smiled and said to the security guard, I have an invitation, come and see. As he spoke, he pulled out his cell phone, as if the light was bad, and held it close to the security guard's face. When the security guard squinted his eyes, Shen Feng hit the back of his neck with a knife. Seeing this, another security guard nearby immediately pressed the alarm. When the alarm sounded, Shen Feng had already knocked out another security guard. Following the beat of the alarm, Shen Feng, who had changed into security uniform, slowly walked into the factory park and headed towards the tallest RD building. The sounding of the alarm caused many staff members in the park to panic, and many security guards rushed to the park entrance. Shen Feng pretended to calm the emotions of the panicked staff members, while comforting them and dispelling the suspicions of other security guards. He walked all the way to the entrance of the RD building. At the entrance of the RD building, there is a machine that opens the door by scanning your face. As soon as Shen Feng got closer, the facial recognition machine began to prompt, you do not have permission to enter this building. Shen Feng knocked out another staff member and pulled him over to scan his face. But the message still said, you do not have permission to enter this building. Shen Feng licked his tongue. He picked up the baton attached to the security uniform and smashed the casing of the facial recognition machine. After breaking the outer shell, he casually fiddled with the circuit inside, and the door of the RD building was opened. Shen Feng walked into the building and found that there were very few people here. Especially in the confidential research laboratory on the top level. There is only one person who is studying those sophisticated robots. Chief Engineer Lao Li frowned when he saw his door was forced open by a security guard. What do you do? Shen Feng did not reply to Lao Li, but walked to the unassemblable remains of the artificial intelligence robots in the laboratory and looked at them carefully. Then he reached out, picked up a screwdriver, and started debugging several circuits in the robot. Seeing this, Lao Li hurriedly shouted angrily, what are you doing? Is this something you can't move? That robot was originally a test subject with problems. Stop it now. He had just finished speaking. Suddenly, the sound of the system starting up was heard from the remains of the robot. Old Li was stunned, and subconsciously moved over to take a look at the robot. And he looked at Shen Feng and said, You fixed it? You know all this? A little bit. As Shen Feng spoke, he walked to the other side and observed other things in the laboratory. Old Li followed Shen Feng for a long time. Seeing Shen Feng's serious look, he suddenly had an idea and took the initiative to introduce the things inside to Shen Feng. Because he could feel that Shen Feng was not an ordinary security guard. He definitely knew a lot about this area. At first, the two of them introduced themselves to each other. Then they discussed with each other, and finally it gradually became Shen Fei expressing his views and Lao Li learning. The more Old Li listened, the more surprised he became. He didn't expect that the young man in security uniform in front of him was as good as him in research on artificial intelligence. Even worse than that. But just when they were chatting happily, a group of security guards and police rushed into his laboratory. How could the park not call the police after such a big incident? After that, when they checked the surveillance footage, they discovered that a suspicious security guard had run into the RD building. The police who came happened to be the same ones who arrested Shen Feng in the morning. Seeing that it was another acquaintance, the policeman raised his gun and shouted at Shen Feng. Don't move, put your hands up. Comrade, there is a misunderstanding. This guy, he is my friend. Old Li didn't know that Shen Feng had committed a crime in the morning, and still wanted to speak up for Shen Feng. Your friend broke into the Nike flagship store this morning by smashing the door and robbing it. He also caused a scene in the park, injured several staff members, and illegally invaded no matter who your friend is. He has violated the law. The policeman's words made Lao Li look at Shen Feng in surprise. Shen Feng smiled at Lao Li. Shen Cheng also had a very pleasant chat with old Li. The results of today's research are pretty good, and I have gained a lot. I will come to talk to you tomorrow about the upgrade of that test piece. I'm leaving now. Before old Li could figure out how Shen Feng, who was surrounded by people, could possibly come to see him tomorrow, Shen Cheng rushed to the window and jumped down. Hey! This is the 20th floor. With Lao Li's exclamation, Shen Feng opened his eyes again. He pressed the alarm, rubbed his neck, and sat up from the bed. Chapter 406. Feng Zi's Daily Life Part 2. July 312,021. Shen Feng's 7th cycle. When the familiar ringtone rang again, Shen Feng woke up suddenly from his sleep as if he had a nightmare. He sat on the bed, breathing heavily, listening to the ringing sound in his ear repeating over and over again. Shen Feng fumbled for his cell phone in extreme anxiety and turned it off. Shen Cheng held the phone tremblingly and looked at the date displayed on it. No,